I survived 1000 days in Minecraft Hardcore, pushing my build limits with villages and automatic farms to create my greatest ever mega base. And here we are in our brand new survival world. We've got the sun coming up in the distance over there, and we have spawned in a beautiful forest. As far as spawn points go, I think we've got quite lucky here. But enough admiring the scenery. We have a big yellow thing in the sky over there, which is going to go down pretty soon if we're not careful. So I'm going to pick a random direction and chop down this tree here. And with that wood, we can create the first crafting table of the world. I think that officially marks the beginning of our new journey. Let me just grab a wooden pick real quick. Then I'm just going to pop over here and dig this stone up. So that way we can craft some lovely stone tools instead. But even though I was off to a good start, I was definitely worried about the incoming first night. So I decided before anything else, it was a good idea to hunt for some sheep. So that way I could craft a bed and safely sleep through the first night. Not going to lie, I was starting to get a little bit worried there. Sun was getting kind of low, but we made it, so not bad. And bada bing, bada bum, we got a bed. So I had safely avoided the first night, but was already struggling to cook my food. Therefore, I figured the best course of action was to locate a nearby cave opening to quickly grab some coal for our furnace and maybe even a little bit of iron for later. And I'm pretty sure I just heard a zombie, so it cannot be far. Oh, here we go. Yep, we got it. Let's get rid of you. Alright, this looks quite scary. There is a skeleton down there too, which, to be honest, I don't really feel like I'm ready to fight just yet. Oh, there's an enderman over there too. I think we should be fine, as long as we don't look at that guy, and as long as we don't venture too far into the tunnels. Don't really see how this can go wrong. But we do have coal, so going to make some torches, pop them in my offhand, and that is a lot better. We got some nice light already. Alright, maybe this is a silly thing to do, and I hope I don't regret it, but I am going to creep down the tunnel a little bit, just in hopes that we can find a little bit of iron. I don't need much. I'll take 2 or 3 pieces. Okay, so we couldn't find iron in that small little cave just there, so I'm going to keep looking around the area for another opening. Oh, hello, what is this? Oh, there we go. That's looking more like it. Okay. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. It is only day 2. We're still running around with 0 armor, so things could go wrong pretty quick. Oh, but there we go. Iron. Okay, let me yoink this. 1, 2. Oh, we got 4. Alright, I can see a little bit more, but I don't want to get too greedy, so we'll grab this, and then we're going to head straight back up to the surface. Yeah, so as soon as I finished digging that up, I seen this little bugger heading straight towards us, so I am going to kindly take that as my sign to get the hell out of here. Oh, it looks like we got some spiders blocking the way out, but you know what? Hey, I'll take the string. Oh, nice, we got 2 bits of string of that. Oh, I think if we kill this guy as well, that'll be enough for a fishing rod, right? Alright, 3 bits of string. That'll do me. Let's get out of here. Hang on a second. This is not the way out. Oh, God, am I lost? What is that noise? Oh, wait, I think that's wolves on top of us. Oh, God, it's nighttime. Tell you what, rather than go upstairs to a creeper, we are going to sleep in the cave tonight. Okay, rise and shine, and time to get out of this little hole. Now I am praying that creeper doesn't just meet us at the top of this hole, which it hasn't. Okay, great. Bruh. Leave me alone. Nope. Oh, God. Please no, please no, please no. Whew. That was a close one. I think that was nature's way of telling us to move on. But it looks like we have come to the edge of the forest here, and we are met with another lake. Oh, but look, I can see a village over there. We do, however, have a big lake to cross, and I don't fancy getting my feet wet. So I'm going to craft this boat, and that should get us across nice and dry. All right, looks like we're coming up to the back end of the village here, and gotta be honest, seems like quite a small one. But hey, you know what? I'll take what I can get. I'm sure there's some good resources there. So I'm just going to park my boat on the side here, and let's head up. So it looks like I was right. It is quite a small village, but we can't hit the jackpot here. Look at all these hay bales. I love finding hay bales early on. So we'll pick all of this up and pop it in a box for later. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem that there's a blacksmith here, but I will take this smoker. That's going to come in handy later. So I think other than a few hay bales, we've not really gotten much from this place. But hey, it's free food. It's hard to complain. Oh, but hold on a second. Right at the top of that cherry blossom biome, I think I can see a little bit of bamboo poking out. Yeah, I'm going to head over and grab that. Then we can start growing it nice and early. Oh, wow, this place looks unreal. This is so pretty. Where's that bamboo, though? I think it was over here, right? Yeah, there it is. All right, yoink and yoink. All right, bamboo acquired. Let us head back over to the village. Ooh, Actually, hang on a second. I didn't really pay too much attention to this island as we were going past by on the boat. That could be a pretty strong contender for a hardcore home, right? I'm going to head up to the top of this hill here and see if we can get a better vantage point. I mean, it's big, it's definitely secure, it's surrounded by water, and it even comes with animals. Yeah, you know what? This really ain't too bad. We've got a little private beach area over here. Nice little bit of elevation going up that way. Oh, it does look like we've got caves though, but they don't seem to go too deep. This one's flooded with water, so we know that ain't going to be an issue. Oh, looks like we have another little passage here, but again, I mean, one torch, maybe two torches, and that's all lit up. That's already safe. Yeah, you know what? I think we have just found our home. Let's make it official and mark our territory with the crafting table and furnace and bed. And while we're at it, we might as well stick a chest down. So I finally found a place to call home in my hardcore world. But it was obvious I wouldn't last long without some sustainable food. So I decided I would create my first food farm on the side of the island. I'm just going to come around the side here and get all this area hollowed out. Now I'm not sure how many wheat seeds we have. We have a grand total of 2. That ain't going to get us too far. Good thing we've got all this grass around us though, so I'm going to grab some extra seeds while we can. There we go, we've got 9 wheat seeds now. So let's get all these planted, and that should just about do it. Oh, we have one spare. Okay. That should just about do it. Alright, so we got a little crop farm going, but we cannot stay just living under the sky forever. We're going to need to put an actual roof over our head at some point. But it's kind of hard to do that when all you have is 1 oak plank to your name. So I think now would be a great time to head back into the spawn forest, where we can chop down some trees to grab a load of wood. Then with all our freshly acquired wood, we can hop back in our boat and head back over to our island to begin our first build. And for our first build on the island, I think it would be a good idea to go for a little fisherman shack over here. For one, I want to make use of this beautiful view, so it'd be nice to have a little dock coming out the side here where we can fish. So I'm going to get rid of this top layer of dirt here so that we've got enough room to get this thing built. Right, so you can see here that we do actually have a decent little bit of space. And what I've done is marked out 4 corners of the fisherman shack. Like I said, this is not going to be anything too big, but if we just pretend that we're walking through the middle here, we do have room for some nice chests around the side, plenty of space for a bed. So yeah, I think this should do perfectly. So what I'm going to do is raise the sides up by 3 so that they're 4 tall, and I am quite a big fan of stripped wood, so we'll go ahead and strip all of these logs. And I want to make sure we just keep things nice and simple to begin with, so I'm going to go ahead and just make a nice triangle roof. And how about we add a little bit of interest in the middle here by adding some upside down stairs, followed by trapdoors, a slab on top of both of them, and then an upside down stair to finish it off. Yeah, you know what? I think that adds a nice little touch. But we don't want this entire thing to be made out of spruce, so why don't we just go along the middle of the roof section here and add in some oak. Yeah, now that I'm looking at it, I think we definitely made the right choice with the oak there. It's quite a small build, so I think all the little details do make quite a big difference. And speaking of details, I actually want to go around the bottom of the corners here and add in some nice barrels. I do love a good barrel. It just makes everything look so much better, doesn't it? And for the walls, I'm not going to do anything too complicated here. This is just a little fisherman shack after all. So let's just go ahead and fill it all with oak planks, and we'll just cut some nice holes in the side for some little windows. Now, since we're still quite early on in the game, we don't have any glass, so we're just going to have to fill these holes in with fences for now, but to be honest, I kind of like it. Gives a bit of a rustic vibe. Now, this is quite sad, but I am so poor that I do not even have enough planks to fill in the floor properly, so we're going to have to go with half slabs here and just put a layer across the top like this. Alright, this is kind of embarrassing, but yeah, I was not kidding about being so poor that we couldn't even fill the floor in. I am pretty much completely out of wood at this point, so I've just came over to the forest here. You can see our little shack in the distance there, and this time I'm going to grab way more than I need so we don't have any more interruptions. Okay, we definitely have enough wood now, so I'm going to finish the final details on this build and I'll bring you back when it's done. Okay, so I may have gotten a little bit carried away, but our fisherman shack is all complete. I'm really happy with how this thing turned out. We've got a nice pathway coming down the side here, and I moved our crops from down the hill there up next to the shack. I just thought it would be a nice little touch, and yeah, brings a good bit of life to the area. We got some fences and leaves coming around the side here, leading towards the dock area. I really like this thing. I love how well it frames those mountains in the distance. And of course, last but not least, we have the fisherman shack itself. I did just keep it all wood intentionally, you know, it is just an early build, and I think it represents that quite well, but we got some nice details in here, and I'm especially fond of the chimney. I decided to leave the campfire at the top exposed because I just like the animation of the flames. It just gives the build a little bit more life. But of course, this thing does also have an interior, so if we have a walk on side, we didn't have too much space to work with, but I think we've done pretty well here. here. We got a nice section for storage over here. We got a few stations here that are all going to come in handy. Little bit of greenery with some plants. And of course, it wouldn't be much of a fisherman's shack without a fishing rod, would it? So I figured I would just keep that above the bed, and anytime we want to go fishing, we can simply just pop it off. And to be completely honest, I think now would be the perfect time to go fishing. I feel like a rest was definitely well earned. We'd finally set up a safe base to call home, and it was nice to have some time to relax. But the island itself still has a lot of work to be done. So I called it a night so I could get an early start on cleaning this island up. What I want to do is find all of the areas in the island like this and cover them up. But before we do cover it up, we're going to have to put some torches down so that mobs don't spawn underneath us. Now luckily a lot of these little caves don't tend to go too far, so we shouldn't be using up too many torches for this. And now that the torches are down, we can just bring the dirt across like this. Alright, that was actually pretty satisfying. You can see how much space we've filled in here by all of the bits of dirt. And yeah, the island is already feeling safer. But we do have this pretty big one here just round the back of the fisherman shack. So let's go ahead and get all the torches in first. I'm just going to grab all of the ores that are down here too, because chances are we'll probably not come back here. I'm actually super glad we did that, because we have almost a stack and a half of coal now, which is definitely going to come in handy. But now that we've gotten everything we can out of the caves, it is time to tidy this thing up. And just like that, we are done. That is looking so much better, and most importantly, it is looking a lot safer. But now it is time for what I would probably consider to be the hardest bit. We need to decide what we're going to build and where we're going to build it. This spot at the top of the island over here seems pretty obvious to be the best place for a house. You know, it's got the nice little natural elevation, and we can oversee the whole of the island from here too. But that's only one build, and we have got a very big island here. So what I've done is crafted a bunch of shovels, because I want to go all around the island creating little dirt paths like this. And the reason I want to do this is so we can just have a nice outline of where everything is going to go. Almost like a little bit of a blueprint or a sketch. You know, we get the outlines in first, and then all the details can come in afterwards. And I think this will just give us a nice indication of where everything's going to fit, and it should make our lives a lot easier. And I'm all about that. Okay, so the paths are in, and already the island is feeling much more cohesive. What I've done is left a big circle kind of shape in the middle, and we can use this space for a large animal pen later on. But then all the paths kind of feed around this central point here. We've got a little branch going off in this direction, and at the end there I'm going to put a nice big windmill, because all of these grassy bits that we've left in are going to be crop fields. And then of course, like I said, we're going to have the house over here, so it only makes sense that we leave a little bit of space here so that we can put something down like a horse stable. And on the other side of the house we have this path here, because at the end of this one I would like something cute, like maybe a greenhouse. I think all that would be really cool. And of course we do have our little pathway heading down to the fisherman's shack there, so it all connects up nicely. But if you take a look at my hotbar, you'll see I've crafted a load of spruce slabs, because next up I want to go around the areas here and mark all of the crop fields in. And just like that, we have all of the outlines for the crop fields in. Now again, I've left a big blank space in the middle, because I do want to put a big animal pen there later on. And you'll notice that certain pathways, like the one to the fisherman's shack, don't have any wood outlines on the side here. And that's because I want to mix it up a little bit. I do like the look of this here, where the crop fields are just like on the side of the pathway with no outline. So I'll be doing that for some parts. But yeah, we have got the entire island covered here, all the way to the back there. But the one bit that I am struggling with is the top part here on the stones where the house is going to go. I was trying to work on bringing some of these crop outlines up on a little bit of a incline, but I realized that it's not going to work until we pad this area out with either dirt or stone. And since we're still in the early game and I don't want to smelt all of the cobblestone down into stone, I did grab a bunch of dirt. So I think what I'll do is just bring the top layer up by one more using all of this dirt. We'll get a rough shape on the outside here. Yeah, something like this. I've just kind of followed the edge of the cliffside here and brought it around nicely and smoothly. Looks pretty natural for the most part. So I'm going to get this filled in, and then we'll work on connecting the pathway up to the main area there. And that is just about done, I think. It's looking cool too. I'm really happy with it. But I think now would be the perfect time to actually get some of these crop fields planted. I'm going to have to make sure I remember to stay on top of all this if we are to plant this entire island with fields. And there we go. That is our first little miniature field all sorted. And we're just at the other side now planting the potatoes. Quite a small farm this one, but hey, every little helps. And there we go. I think this is a solid bit of progress. We have the entire island mapped out now, got the build areas ready, and we've got our little crop farms doing their thing. My island was finally seeing some good progress, but I didn't have all the crops needed for my soon-to-be fields. I still needed carrots, and our local village didn't have any for us. So I decided that I needed to tame a horse and go exploring. So for the next few days, I went fishing for a saddle. Okay, so we're going to approach one of these guys. Is there another one over here? There is. Oh, there's more. Oh, there's loads up here, actually. There's a guy over there. They all look pretty similar. But you know what? I think I like the look of this guy the most. Okay, let's try and tame this guy. Oh, and yeah, thrown off immediately. And thrown off again. Okay, this could take a while. I'll see you in a second. Oh, there we go. Nice. Best friends forever. How about that? All right, let's stick the saddle on you. All right, please don't be a slow horse. Nice. Oh, okay, this guy's actually pretty quick. Yeah, this guy's sick. Okay, I do have these leads from a wandering trader who appeared earlier. What we're going to do is go straight past our island, and we'll bring up to the side of the mainland here. By the way, if you want to name this horse, feel free to leave a comment in the description, and I'll pick the best one for the next episode. But now that we're over here safely, I'm going to jump on my little unnamed horse, and we're going to head in this direction and begin the hunt for carrots. So there are a couple of different ways we can get carrots, but I want to keep things nice and simple and just see if we can find a village. We are going to have to venture out a little bit, but hopefully not too far. Oh, and look at that. There's a village on top of that hill. And look at the view up here. That's crazy. Oh, there's an abandoned nether portal down there too. Maybe we can check that out later. This is the weirdest layout for a village I think I've ever seen. Pretty cool though. It sprawls all the way down this hill, but I'm starting to get a bit of a bad feeling that these guys are not farming carrots. To be honest, I don't think these guys are farming anything. How are you guys alive? Yeah, there is no crop fields here. Oh god, unless they eat the horses over there. Yeah, alright. I guess that one's a dud. We may as well check this nether portal while we're over here though. Come on, give me something good. Ah, golden apple. I'll take it. I will take a golden helmet of protection 4 though. That looks a little bit silly, but hey, it's hardcore, you know? You can never be too safe. And we have been walking around in the complete nude up until this point, so... Right, off to the next village. Okay, this is quite a big one. Yes, we got a little crop farm. We got beetroot and carrot. Nice. Oh, these guys have spoiled us. Okay, so we did manage to pick up 6 carrots, 30 hay bales, and of course on the way here we also got some melon slices, which is great, and we did get some beetroot too. All in all, pretty solid trip, but we now have 2,500 blocks to get back home. But as long as I'm with unnamed horse, I think I should be fine. And there we go, home sweet home. Hey, you know what? That ain't looking too bad from up here now. Alright, I'm going to drop you off here where the imaginary horse shack is. I'm going to hit you to this post for now. I promise I'm going to get a pretty cool shelter built for you soon. But first things first, I want to get the carrots planted in this section here. So with the carrots acquired and firmly planted into the ground, we now had a new resident on the island, but he had no place to call his own home. So I figured before doing anything else, it would be best to build this guy a nice horse stable. And since we've got the path coming in this direction here, we probably want one of the corners to start around about there. Then we can leave a nice wide gap at the front, but the sides, they don't really need to go back as far, so let's say we'll put one there and we put the last one here. Yeah, those dimensions seem about right to me. So from these corners, I want to go around and place a granite wall on top of each one, and then from the walls, I just want to go up by 3 with a spruce fence. And next up, I did craft these dark oak trapdoors because I want to run them along the top here, so it's like a little roof line. So we're just going to bring these all the way along, and then we'll have it sticking out by 1, just like that. And you're probably thinking, well, it looks a little bit silly because it's so thin. But if we go to the top here, then we can stack another layer on top of the ones that we've just put down. And then you're left with this kind of really cool half block, but not quite a half block kind of look. I really like it anyway. I think it looks great. And then what I want to do is to create a nice little archway of slabs going up to the top. And I think this is the center block, so we'll put one there. And then we can just create the same on the other side. So yeah, we've got a nice shape like that now. But I think you've seen enough and can probably tell where I'm taking this thing. So let's skip ahead. There we go. We are just waiting for this area to grow in now. But I do hope our friend likes his new home. Once we get some lanterns, we can eventually hang them from the ceiling here. But right now, we're kind of broke. But hey, look, this is actually starting to come together a little bit. We've got the fisherman shack, we got the horse stable, we got the farms coming in. And yeah, all in all, pretty good progress. But building this thing meant I was neglecting my own island duties. And I still had a lot of things to get done. So I turned my attention to the middle of the island. And as I've said a few times already, I just want this big kind of patch in the middle to be one large animal pen. Now, I don't want to put too much thought into this. I want to keep it kind of random. So I'm just going to go around the outside of some oak logs first. Luckily, the path here already kind of gives us our shape. And I'm just leaving gaps in the middle here because we'll fill them in with things like spruce fence and spruce logs, which I'll probably strip as well so it matches the oak a little bit better. And there we go. We've got a pretty decent shape in. I'm quite happy with this. Goes all the way around and comes over the top and then all the way back down to form the circle. But without anything on top of these logs, animals are going to be able to get out quite easily, and we definitely don't want that. So I crafted a bunch of slabs and a bunch of stairs as well, so I can just run them across the top. And again, I'm going to keep it all fairly random so that we can come back in with the spruce slabs as well as the spruce stairs. So it'll look something like that. Hey, that's much better. And I did craft 2 fence gates because I feel like this is just kind of the natural entrance to this thing. So this is officially the front. And there we go. We are mostly finished, but I am just going to clear clear the little bits of grass off the top here, I'm thinking that we should just run a fence along here, and then that just kind of gives us a really nice divide through the middle of the pen. And then what we can do is we can just have the top half here for cows, and then the bottom half down here can be for something else like sheep. Now luckily we do have plenty sheep wandering the island already, so we can just let these guys in. Now I did definitely see some more earlier, but I think they may be hiding from me. Oh, there he is there. I think he was trying to make a run for it, but you left it too late, mate. You are getting imprisoned for life, unfortunately. I would say, you know, as far as animal conditions go, I mean, these are going to be free-range sheep, right? It's a pretty big space, and they'll probably get fed more stairs until I forget about them, so yeah, it could be worse. Let me just grab one more bit of wheat from the farm here. Now, this is growing in nicely, by the way. This is already starting to look really cool. But yeah, anyway, we can feed these two, and drum roll. We got a baby. Alright, but that, I would say, is the easy part. We've got the sheep in, but now we need some cows. Now, unfortunately, I don't think we have any cows on the island, but there are plenty over in the spawn forest that I spotted earlier. Okay, now, I do remember them being quite close to the shore. There's one. Oh, we're not really going to get very far with one, though. Got to be another one around here. Ooh, dogs. Hang on. Pretty sure I've got bones in my inventory. How many bones does this usually take? Please don't be more than 3. 1, 2. Oh, yes. Alright, lovely. You can come with me. Nice little bonus. And there is a second cow over there. Come on, this way. You dopey This way to the boat, ladies. Let's just make our lives a little bit easier and jump over here. Beautiful stuff. That wasn't too difficult, was it? Then we can just feed these guys, and second battery farm is complete. So I have asked everybody to leave a comment to name the horse, but I want to name the dog myself. I've got a fluffy guy of my own in real life. His name is Del, and this is us together. So it only feels right that I name this little guy after him, but we don't have enough iron to use a name tag, so that will have to wait. With all the new farms, this island was finally feeling fully sustainable, which meant it was time to build myself a house. But I wanted to use Deepslate, and I needed some better tools to dig it up faster. So it was time to build our first mineshaft, to find a cave, get some upgrades, and solve this problem. So what I'm thinking of doing is just making a little entrance here, and then at least it's not getting in the way of anything up top. So I'm just going to go ahead and clear out a small space in the hillside, and then what we can do in each corner is pillar up a little bit, and then we'll just do a log running across the middle here, get it all nice and stripped. And you're probably sensing a pattern here, but what is a nice wooden build without some barrels? That looks pretty cool so far though, but I do want to have like a little archway across the top. So I'm just going to roll with a design that I use quite often, which is basically just a mix of stairs, slabs, and trapdoors. Get some on the sides here too. Alright, not going to lie, I kind of got a little bit carried away here, but I didn't do too much. I basically just covered the walls and covered the ceiling and connected it all up with some spruce signs. I thought it kind of just looked, well, a bit more of a mine really. But I did leave some space in the middle, and this is where I want to dig down and create a ladder chute. We'll probably change this at some point in the future to be a bubble system, but for now, this will do. And then what I'll do is extend it out so it's too wide, and then we can very safely go all the way down. All right, we are pretty low down at this point. We're on -43, and I keep hearing skeletons rattle through here, so I think we're just on the edge of a cave. Ooh, okay, cobblestone. Hang on, is this a spawner instead? Don't really need a skeleton spawner, but I do kind of want the loot. So what I want to do is kind of sneak around the sides here and just grab the loot chests. I think we're right on the edge of a chest here. Yeah, we are. Okay, what have we got? We got 2 name tags. Nice, a little bit of gold. Some iron, not bad. I'll take the bones. Ooh, and a golden apple. Nice. But there is one more chest, so I'm going to try going around this side, and hopefully we can do the same little sneaky approach. What we got? Oh, we got a music disc. Horse armor. Love to see it. We can give that to unnamed horse. Pumpkin seeds. Don't really need them, but I will take the extra iron. I'll take the extra bones. Go on then. I'll have a little bit of bread as well as my golden apple. I suppose we could use this later on too if we need the extra bone meal for our farms upstairs. But okay, now that we are fully in the Deepslate level, we still need some iron tools to dig it up. I'm going to head back up the ladders, and I'm going to go to round about, I would say, Y level 12. And then what I'll do is make a little offshoot here from the main ladder. Then I'm just going to strip mine in this direction until we hit a cave, and I'll just keep going as long as it takes. Oh, nice. I think we got an 8 vein. Not a bad start at all. I will definitely take that. Oh, some lapis too, and possibly a cave. I think now would be the perfect time to make ourselves a little shield. Okay, apparently that's not how you make a shield. There you go. Let me just plop that in the offhand. And what we should really do as well is make ourselves a nice sword to go with it. Our inventory is kind of full and we have come down here to get more stuff. So we are going to need space. So I'm going to plop a crafting table down. Let's make ourselves a furnace that we can put here. And we've got 8 bits of spruce left over, which we can use for a chest. All right, that definitely clears our inventory up nicely. And why don't we melt this raw iron down too? Because I think I would like a little bit more armor before we go in here. So that has given us a grand total of 22. Now, I'm not sure how much iron it takes to make a full armor set, but I think we must be pretty close. My poor little stone pickaxe looks like it's about to break though. So I think we're going to start off with a nice iron pick. First one of the world. Now let's see if we've actually got enough iron for a full armor set here. Oh, I don't think we do. All right, so we've got a chest plate and we've got iron leggings. Now we have 4 bits of iron left, so we can actually make some booties. And since we've already got a protection 4 golden helmet on, it's a little bit mismatched, but that is a full set of armor. All right, I'm feeling a lot more confident now, but we still need to find a safe way to get down here. I can hear a skeleton over there too, so I think that he's going to fire at us as soon as we go down here, so we've already got a fight on our hands. Let's just place some water down here for now, then at least we can safely get to the bottom and bail if we have to. All right, he hasn't seen us. That's good. I'm going to slowly move up, but I want to be careful of all the ledges here, because if a creeper drops down on us, it is pretty much game over. All right, looks like this ledge is... Oh, ah! There he is. Oh, I don't have food on my hotbar. That could be trouble. It's going to have to pick a moment. Okay. Ow. Whew. I know it doesn't seem like much, just one skeleton, but when you're in hardcore, everything just feels terrifying. At least we know this ledge up here is safe for now though, so I'm going to put some torches down so that it stays that way. But look at all of these ores in the walls. This is exactly what we needed. Got a skelly and a zombie. I wonder if we can make them fight each other. There we go. Oh, because I'm back in. That guy's got an enchanted shovel. Let's get rid of this guy. Alright, there's now 6 creepers up there. Oh great, and we got a 7th one spawn. You know, I'm not going to bother trying to fight these guys. We're just going to get them all to blow up. Alright, let us do what we came here to do and get some iron. And I think that is the last piece. We got 59 bits of iron. That really ain't too bad. There's still a few little bits dotted in the ceiling, but it looks like too much effort. We got some up there too, but yeah, I'm just going to leave it. I'm pretty satisfied with 59. That will definitely give us more than enough pickaxes to mine all the Deepslate that we need. But I, for one, am absolutely sick of looking at caves, so I think it's time to call it a day and head back up to our island. Oh, the sun. I can see the sky. Oh, that really does feel nice, doesn't it? Coming out of the dark, dingy tunnels into the super nice and bright sky. Before we do anything though, I did get a present for this guy while I was down here, so... to add the iron horse armor to him, and you are looking pretty swanky, my friend. So after a fairly successful trip to the caves, we do have 61 iron ingots in total, which is going to be so helpful to get Deepslate for our house. But before we do that, I am going to craft a hoe. So I think I've been neglecting all the fields around here. They're looking a little bit barren. We have grown in a decent amount of wheat by unnamed horse, but I did forget about these carrots over here, and we do need quite a lot of these for what I've got planned. So I'm just going to make an infinite water source here, and then I think before we do anything else, we're going to plant as many crops as we can, starting with this one. And there we go. I've harvested everything around here, and we've essentially doubled up on what we had planted before. Now, eventually, this is all going to be carrots, but for the sake of growing everything as fast as we can, it's kind of got a mix of everything. But with all my new iron acquired, and all the crops tended to, I still needed to gather all the resources for my soon-to-be house. So with the shopping list of Deepslate, tuff, and calcite, I went straight back underground to dig up all of the Deepslate. I also grabbed a bunch of tuff, and then I mined until I finally found myself a geode for all of the calcite, and it was finally time to get building the house. Now I've gone ahead and laid out the pallets that we're going to use for this build. For the main body of the house, I wanted to go for a nice mix of stone, andesite, and tuff. I'm going to use this for the ground floor, I'm going to use this for the top floor, and then I've got a nice mix of white blocks here that we can use as a tower coming out the top of the house. And these Deepslate blocks over here, these are going to be to fill the roof in. So now that we have a plan, I'm going to get rid of all of these blocks because they're in the build site, and then we can get started. Now I like to work with odd numbers when I'm building houses. That way there's a nice center block of each little part that we build. So I'm going to start here, and I'm going to come along by 7. So this is going to be one side of the house. Then what I want to do is have a middle section here, and then we get this nice protruding bit on the front of the house to add a bit more interest. And if we just pop into free cam for a second, you can kind of see what I'm going for here. So we've kind of got 3 sections to the main house. We've got the 2 bits on the side and a little bit at the front where the entrance is going to be. All right, the next bit should be nice and easy. We're just going to round it all off and get it connected around the back here. And there we go. Nice and simple. Very symmetrical. I know some people wouldn't be into that, but I kind of like it. Looks satisfying to me. And then all we got to do is decide how tall we want this thing. And I'll be honest, when I'm building stuff like this, it's pretty much always 4 blocks tall. So I'm just going to stand all of the corners up by 4 blocks and then we'll see what we come out with. Yeah, you know what? I think that really kind of fits. Okay, so the next step is to separate the ground floor from the top floor. And to do that, I am just going to run this spruce plank platform all the way around the outside here to connect all the corners up. But the reason I've done this is because it gives us nice points on our corners here to build up our struts for the second floor. Okay, there we go. It's kind of starting to come together now. I think we've kind of picked like the perfect height for this as well. It's going to look really cool. And for the roof, what I've done is crafted a bunch of dark oak planks, slabs and stairs. And I want to start with the front bit here. So because I want a nice gradual slope going up, I think the best way to do it would be to start with a slab. And I've just brought it out an extra couple of blocks so that we get a nice separation from the edge of the roof to the edge of this wall. And then next we'll go up by 1 full block, but instead of going up by another full block, what I'm going to do is place a stair there instead. And if we just go into free cam here, you can already see that's quite a cool looking curve. It will look more pronounced as well as we gradually make our way up to the top. So because this roof is going to be quite steep, I'm going to bring this section up by 2 full blocks. So it looks like this is the center block, so this is the halfway point of our roof, which again is why I like building in odd numbers. Now I'm just going to head to the bottom here and see what that looks like. Yeah, that is a really nice slope. It always looks a little bit strange when you're missing the other half, but I'm going to get that half and the back section done and we should have a nice roof outline. You know what? That is looking pretty sick. It's quite a little bit bigger than I thought it was going to be, but I think it kind of works. But I think I finally know what we're working with now. So let's finally build this house. And there we go, the house is finally finished. Or at least the outside of it is. It still doesn't have an interior. And oh boy, that took a long time. I've just spent half of my Saturday building this thing, but hey, what else are weekends for, you know? Now this house is inspired by my friend Blockdown from his hardcore series, who I did gain permission from before, ripping it off. So big thanks to him and check him out if you haven't already. I'm really happy with this thing. We got some nice details in there with the signs, plenty of barrels of course. We've got this nice little overhang which, to be honest, I'm not quite sure what we're going to put into this yet, but it'll be something. And my favourite bit is definitely the tower coming out of the top there. I love that. We got some nice little cozy windows in the roof, and overall I think all of the blocks ended up working super well together. But like I said, this thing has 0 interior and it's going to be so nice to finally have a place to put all of our things. I'm going to show you exactly how bad the storage situation has got and exactly why we need this house right now. So as you're aware, the fisherman shack, it's got a few barrels, got a few chests. It's fine, gets the job done. But I have been so overflowing with junk that I've had to make a little hole around the back of the hut just to cram chests in. I actually find this very embarrassing. It's not organized whatsoever. It's a complete mess. So yeah, having this gigantic house is definitely going to alleviate that issue. Oh, and another thing, I have been tending to the crops while building this thing. So we've got a nice field of carrots now. The wheat is obviously grown in quite nice, and we got loads of potatoes over here. So that's our little update. I still need to do the interior on this thing. I still need to move all the chests over from the little hole in the ground over there. So yeah, I'm going to get to work and I'll bring it back when I'm done. And that is the interior all finished up. I did also put an extra crop field at the front here to fill up the grass. And over here under our little gazebo, umbrella, whatever you would call this, I just decided to chuck some barrels and chests down, but quite simple, and I think it looks pretty cool. But let me show you what we've got going on inside. So, first things first, when you come through the front door here, you start off in the living space. We've got a nice dining table in the middle here, you know, got my dinner right there. Nice loaf of bread. We got some ornaments dotted around. We got a nice arch on the roof here, which I think came out really well. And then, of course, at the back there, we do have the kitchen, which is semi-functional. You know, we got some furnaces, we got storage, crafting table, tools hanging on the wall, you know, all the good stuff. And we do have that beautiful view out the back there of the hills. But if we come away from the kitchen area, we do have a little storage room here. It is quite small for now, but I do plan on maybe extending it by a little ladder going down into a basement section there. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. And again, just got some nice decorations laying about. And we've got another furnace furnace, a blast furnace, a smithing table for later on, and another crafting bench. Then over in this direction, we've just got some storage on both sides of the wall. Got some nice greenery in the corner there, and this is the spiral staircase that goes up to the second floor. So if we just pop up here, we're taken to a nice landing area, where again, we've got more storage, some more very scenic views out the windows, and then we have this doorway here that takes us into the bedroom. This is probably my favourite room of the house. I just love how spacious it feels. We got the triple deluxe king size bed there, and then straight opposite, we've got a nice little study area, the lectern in the middle, and again, we got more views. I'm quite a big fan of how the ceiling turned out on this one too. I know it doesn't make too much sense to have struts on a peaked roof like this, but hey, it's Minecraft, it doesn't really matter. And then we've got one final doorway leading into a big empty room. But it won't be empty for long. I do plan on putting a full enchanting station in here. But currently as it stands, I don't really have any tools to do that with. So I think that will be for a later adventure. Kind of gives us something to look forward to though, so I'm quite happy with just leaving this room for now. But I must say, I think this one's probably got the best view out of the whole house. So that is the house. We've got the outside done, and we've finally got the inside done. And I'm not kidding when I say this has literally took all weekend. I don't know how it's took so long, but it has. But I am quite slow at Minecraft, so no surprise there. So with my house all complete, it just made me realise that we still have most of the farming areas empty. But I wanted to change it up a little bit and add flower fields instead of crop farms. So I ventured back across the river in search for rose bushes, peonies, and lilacs. Oh, and I've already spotted some peonies over there. So we're off to a pretty good start. Let me just park the boat and run over here. All right, that gives us 11. Oh, no, it doesn't. It gives us nope, it gives us 14. And immediately I've just spotted some lilacs over there too. Oh, there's quite a lot here as well. So it looks like we've got over 20, which is pretty cool. I'll take that. So all we really need now are the rose bushes, and there they are, right in front of us. I was actually hoping I would get like maybe a few minutes worth of content out of this, but yeah, that went a lot quicker than I thought it would. Thought maybe we'd have a little adventure. Now you can probably understand the issue I'm about to bring up here. We don't even have half a stack of each flower, and we have got a lot of space to fill in here. And the quickest way to resolve that is by getting bone meal. And I know what you're thinking. There's a lot of wheat around here. We can quite easily shove this into a composter, but I don't really want to do that. What I want to do instead is go back down to that skeleton spawner that we found earlier on in the adventure and turn it into a fully functional bone meal farm. Alright, first things first, we want to make sure we can get some torches in there so that we don't get overwhelmed. If we can minimize the spawns before we even go in there, we should have a better chance of not dying. I really should have brought a shield as well. Do we have any wood? Okay, I can't even craft a shield. And I ain't going all the way back up there for one either. So, let's just hope for the best here. Oh, I don't even have a sword. Okay, guess we're using an axe. Come on, this way. Easy. Okay, we are in. Feels pretty sus. I don't really like it here. Let's make sure nothing creeps up on us. Okay, area secure. So I'm just going to knock these walls back and make a nice spawning chamber. Okay, 9x9 space has been dug out, so looking good. Right, we need to create a water source that goes from this end to that end. So let's do that here. And yep, that stops one block on the edge here, so that is perfect. So then next, I will just dig out this little section here. Then just one more bucket in this direction. And this is probably a really bad idea, but I am just going to dig straight down. And hopefully we don't fall into any. Oh god, that was blah, 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 blah. And then next what we can do is take our chest, plop it down there, stick a hopper on top of that, and just to make sure we're nice and safe, get a nice stone slab separating us from the mobs. Okay, that is pretty much done, so I'm just going to craft some ladders so we can get out of here. Bruh. I've dug into diamonds and we only have a stone pickaxe. This is an absolute nightmare. Okay, we got this though. We just have to craft a furnace real quick. We don't even have any coal. Alright, screw it. Spruce logs will have to do. Stick some raw iron in there and we should be good. Why do I always feel so underprepared for everything? Come on, baby. 3 iron ingots, there we go. Then we can craft a iron pickaxe. All right, let's get these diamonds. I can't even pick them up. My inventory's too full. You know what? We'll come back for it. Let's just hope we don't have any lava fall down on our heads. Okay, I didn't even intend for this. Like, this looks like it was planned out, but I swear it was not. This is actually lined up perfectly with our ladders. We've just put them on the wrong side of the walls. So we can just continue to come down our usual ladder and take us straight down into there. But now for the scary part. I need to reach that torch. And actually, you know what? We don't have to go too far. We can do. Oh, they're in there already. Is it working? It's working, look at that. Alright, let's seal you up. And even though I don't have a sword, look at this, it works. We got our very first mob farm. Hey, that ain't too bad at all. And if you're still watching at this point in the video, first of all, thank you. But second of all, comment the word marshmallow so I know who the real MVPs are. And just like that, we already have 3 bones. Alrighty, the bone zone is officially complete. But hey, this place is a little cramped, so I'm going to head back up to the surface, grab some resources, and give this place a makeover. And here is the reveal. I'm pretty happy with this. I think it's really kind of cozy. I didn't do much because, well, to be honest, it doesn't really need much. But we got some chests in the wall here, which I'm going to use for bones. And we've got some chests in the wall on the other side, which I'm going to use for anything else that they drop, like armor or weapons. And funnily enough, my favorite thing is the single lantern. I love the moody atmosphere that it creates down here because, you know, killing skeletons in a hole hundreds of meters underground is not really a jolly thing to do, is it? And we got a little crafty bench in the middle. So yeah, what more could a man need? So I'm going to put this thing to good use, and then we'll finally go upstairs and finish those farms off. Okay, I have been at this for quite some time now, so if we have a look in our box, you can see that we've got quite a lot of bones actually. That is about 13 stacks of bones that we've got. So I'm going to head back up to the island and grow myself some flowers. Ah, fresh air. I always love coming out of that tunnel. Feels great. Alrighty, where did I put these flowers? I'm pretty sure I just dumped them in this chest right here. Yeah, there we go. We got the rose bushes, we got the lilacs, and we got the peonies. Lovely stuff. Now, I do want to make sure that we get these in the right place so it looks cool. And so after having a little walk around the island, I think this patch right here would be a great place for these rose bushes. So I'm just going to plant one for now, and then that's kind of marked the area so we know that we're going to fill this whole thing in. And I really think it would look cool that when we're walking down to the fisherman shack, we are just surrounded by rose bushes on both sides. So I think I'm also going to place them on this section here, and then what I'll probably end up doing is just filling this area in down there with wheat. I think that'll be a really nice contrast. That'll look cool. Okay, so we've got these spots for the rose bushes, and next up I want to do the peonies. And I kind of think we've got too much wheat over here. So what I'm going to do is clear this one in the middle here, and then we can use this section for the peonies. I think that'll break the area up quite nicely. But if we come back around to this side of the island, there is this section here, which again I think is going to be a great place for some flowers. So since we've got the peonies in our hand, we will go with that. Let me just place one down. Great, there's another section marked out, and again that's going to wrap all the way around the side there. And I suppose that doesn't really leave us with many more places. So what I'm going to do is straight off onto the next section here, we will place the lilacs. We've got a nice large area. I think that'll look good. Oh, and actually, having the peonies, the lilacs, and the rose bushes right next to each other will probably look really nice. So yeah, let's roll with another rose bush section here, and I'm pretty sure that is going to be everything laid out nicely. Okay, so I'm going to come over to our little rose bush here, and it is time to start making some bone meal. I'm going to start with 3 stacks for now and see how far that gets us. But yeah, this bit might take a little bit of time. Okay, we have our 3 stacks of rose bushes from that, and to be honest, I think that should probably be enough. So yeah, let's start getting this stuff placed down, and hopefully it looks as good as I'm thinking it's going to look, because that's going to be pretty awkward if it doesn't. And oh my days, it actually looks better than I thought it was going to look. Look at how much life this gives the area. I love it. This looks brilliant. I haven't finished it yet. There's still quite a bit more to go, but I think what I'm going to do is just craft all of this bone meal up, and this seems like the perfect time for a time lapse. You know, I can hardly put into words how satisfying this feels. To finally see all of the crop fields placed down feels incredible. The flowers are doing exactly what I wanted them to do, and just adding a nice splash of different colours to the area. If we just go into free cam here as well, you can see the aerial view just looks stunning. I definitely think the rose bushes are my favourite, but I've got to say those peonies are probably close second. But we are not finished yet. I have left some empty space over here because it doesn't feel right growing all of these different types of crops and not having a windmill, so that is exactly what we're going to put here. there. Oh, and also while we're over this side of the island, how good do all these carrots look over here? Probably one of my favorite bits of the island. I'm a big fan of this. I think it looks great right by the water there. But yeah, like I said, Windmill will go here. And if we just do a little jump, we can see another patch of grass over there. So this is the front entrance to this little section over here, which is just right by the house. And I have marked out some logs for what I would like to act as a base for a nice greenhouse. Again, just kind of like the soon-to-be Windmill over there. I feel like it just naturally fits into this type of island, you know? What I'd ideally like to do later on when we've got silk touch is grab a bunch of bees and we can have them kind of living in this greenhouse pollinating the rest of the area. And since this is definitely going to be the smaller of the two builds, I think we should build the greenhouse first. So if we just pop back into our house over here, I've already got all the materials ready to go for this. We got some spruce logs, we got some dark oak, we got some glass of course, and there is a bunch of bone meal in here because I would prefer to make this glass white. I just think it looks a little bit better. Now these four corners here are going to be the main greenhouse, and then these two on the front will just be like a nice little entrance. So what we'll do is we'll start in these corners and I'll bring it up by, I would say about 5 blocks. We've got 6 in total. And we're going to do this in all of the corners. Oh, whoops, I think I've miscounted one there. Yeah. Got it. Yeah, there we go. Something like that is a pretty decent size. Nice and simple here. All we're doing is filling in each block left to right. And there you go. That is looking kind of cool already, actually. I really like that. Okay, even though I just said I really like that, I just went online to grab the connected textures texture pack. And now all of the glass kind of just blends into one big window pane. Right, I think we've got a pretty good baseline here. So I'm going to finish the rest off and I'll bring you back in a second. And I think we have done quite well there. That looks really cool. Kind of looks like it's just sitting perfectly in the crop fields over there. And it just looks cool from pretty much any angle that I look at it from, which is what you want, you know? You don't want to build that just looks good from one angle. So let me show you inside this thing. It is kind of small, you know? There's not much I can fit in here, but with the space that we do have, I think we've done all right. We're kind of limited on flowers too. I mean, pretty much just filled it with what's already on the island, but hey, as I venture out more and, you know, see the world, we'll bring back some exotic plants to store in here. And at some point, what I'll probably do is replace that top shelf with beehives. Like I said, I do want bees in here later, but for now, we don't have silk touch, so we can't carry the beehives. But yeah, this looks really nice. And it's a build that I think just makes sense. And it's definitely not super functional yet, but once the bees are in there, it will serve a purpose. But you know what? I just love how well everything has come together. We got the house, we got the horse stable, we got the animal farm, we got the crop fields, we got the flower fields, we got the greenhouse, and we got the mines over there, which I still need to make an entrance to. Oh, and we got the fisherman shack down there too. But yeah, to me, this just feels super lively. And it is finally time to build the final thing on this entire island. This has been a long time coming. Honestly, as much as I'm enjoying this, I'm kind of happy to be in the home stretch now so we can move on to more projects. But I've gone ahead and collected everything we're going to need for this. I don't know what they're doing in there. Let's ignore them. And that, yeah, okay. I might have dumped a lot of crap in here, but the most important thing is we have everything we do need for the windmill. So I think for the final time this episode, we are going to jump to another time lapse. And that is the final build of the island complete. And I am so happy with how it looks. I think it's really tied the area together. No matter where you stand on the island, this thing is always poking out looking cool. You can even see it down here at the fisherman shack, which I think is maybe one of the best views of it actually. But let's take a closer look because we do have an interior on this thing. So if we just come through the front door here, we are greeted with a storage room, which is where I'm going to be storing all of the crops from our island. These are all double chests as well. They go back one extra block. So ironically, that is probably bigger than my current storage room, but we do have a lot of crops. Now I've also got a ladder in the middle here, so if we go up this, it will take us to the middle floor, and outside we've just got a nice little walkway. Nothing too special, but we get a decent view. Nice view of the river there. And then if we go back into the windmill, go up another level. Again, there's nothing too exciting going on inside this thing, but if you have any ideas of what I can put in there, please let me know in the comments. But if we go out this final doorway here, we are greeted with the best view on the island. Look at this. You can see everything from up here, including that that little bald patch of rock, which looks kind of ugly. But ignoring that, we do have this stunning view of everything that we've built this episode. And I've just come back over to the fishing shack here because before we finish up on the island, there are just a few small touches that we need to finish. Like, for example, we don't have any stairs on some of the hills, so I'm just going to fill all of these with cobblestone slabs. We do also have some spots by the windmill that need filling, so going to get them done as well. And then finally, what I would like to do is create a few lampposts just so we can make sure that the island is all safe and scare off all of those monsters. And besides that, I think it's just quite a cozy thing to do. And I think that means we can get rid of these ugly torches on the horse stable and hang a nice lantern in the middle. There you go, that looks much better. And while I'm in the mood, I think it's finally time that we move all of this rubbish into the house. And of course, we're going to do this all super neatly. And you know what? That feels like a job well done. We'll call it a day there, and I'll see you on the next one. In this video, I'm going to build an entire district for 5 aesthetic and automatic farms because my upload schedule is too slow and I need to complete projects faster. And I already know exactly where we're going to build this thing. We have a lovely abandoned village just over the water there. And when I say abandoned, of course I mean we kidnapped all of the locals last episode and placed them in our village over there. But that's going to at least make my conscience a little bit lighter for the thing we're about to do. I think it'll be really cool if we have some farms on the bottom here, running along the hills, and also placing some on top of the hills too. But unfortunately, we do have all of these houses in the way, as well as all these market stalls. We've got plant pots all over the place. So unfortunately, we are going to have to tear this entire village down, but no need to worry. I have done a few checks and there are definitely no villagers left in this place. It is completely deserted. But of course, because we built our village in episode 2, we have all of these wonderful tools. I've got everything completely decked out to the max, so this shouldn't take long at all. And just take a look at how much better this already is. I feel like we've given ourselves such a nice canvas to work from. Now, of course, all the buildings have been removed, and I never really planned on removing all of the path blocks, although there are still a few left over that I missed. But I'm definitely glad that I've done it, because again, it just frees up so much space. But I must say, everything still just feels a little bit messy, so I think it'll be best if we do a nice little terraforming project here. I think I'm just going to straighten a lot of this out, and then maybe extend platforms like that across here, so we've got a nice walking space along the middle there. But to build those hills, I'm going to have to head to the mines so that I can grab some stone, cobblestone, and andesite so we can keep it all looking nice and natural. And wouldn't you know it, surprise, surprise, I think I probably went a little bit overkill again. But that's okay, we can always just use the spare later on. But now that we finally have all of these materials, let's terraform these cliffs and get them ready for our project. Okay, you have to admit, that looks pretty cool. And it really, to be honest, didn't take as long as I thought it was going to. I only spent maybe an hour on this, but why don't we head over there and take a closer look. So first off, I just want to say the texture probably isn't final, and I would also like some rooted dirt along the edges there, but currently I don't have any, so dirt and grass will have to do. But either way, can't really complain. I think it looks fantastic so far. And of course, I have gone ahead and marked the buildings out with wool. And I've also put a little sign over each one so we can see exactly what we're going to build. So this one, if you can read English, clearly says lava farm. I've never had a lava farm before, and I've thought, what better time to make one? And then just to the side here, I am going to have some stairs which will cut up to the second level. And right on the top here, we are going to have our melon and pumpkin farm. I'll have a nice farmhouse here with some fields of pumpkins and melons at the front there. And then if we just go to these stairs over here to go up to the next level, we get a nice walkway all the way along here. And if you're wondering what I'm going to do with all these empty spaces, I'm just going to fill it in with some nice little crop farms, as well as various decorations, and I think it'll look great. But yeah, anyway, if we keep going in this direction, we can get onto this platform here where we have another building, which is going to be the sugarcane and bamboo farm. I'm absolutely desperate for sugarcane, and I keep forgetting to harvest it, so this is going to be amazing. But if we then come along here up to the top level, we have two buildings. We've got one to my right and one to my left. The one on the left over here is going to be probably the most beneficial farm I will ever build in this world, the iron farm. I am absolutely desperate for some iron. And then, of course, the final building that I mentioned over here is going to be a sheep farm. So what I think I'll do for this one is just have a nice barn, which will be filled with sheep, and we'll get one of every single colour in here. And also, I would just like to add, the view up here is insane. We've got our lovely home island over there, and we've got our village that we just built in episode 2 all the way across the water. Once we get all of this built in, this world is going to really start looking insane. I'm definitely excited. And you're probably thinking, well, which one are we going to build first? And it has to be the iron farm, mainly because we're going to need iron to build a lot of the other farms, but I also just want to get the villagers stuff out of the way. That's right, to build an iron farm, we're going to have to get villagers all the way from over there to over here. Yeah, I'm sure that's going to be fun. And speaking of that, I've just ran over to our village because there is something that I want to show you. But before I do show you, I asked you all last episode to give a name to this new village. We had some great suggestions, but the clear winner for me was Humble Bumbleton. So I'm going to make it official, and let's get back to the episode. Now, you're going to have to forgive my lack of presentation here, but if we just go down this hole, you will see that I have made a villager breeder down here. We did have one on the surface on episode 2, but I've moved it down instead. But this one works super easily. All I have to do is click this button here, and that will scoop a villager out, and he's ours. So we clearly don't have any issue getting villagers, but the real problem is getting them from this village all the way over there onto the top of that little hillside. But I do think that I have a plan. So what I'm going to do is grab a load of dirt, and then I'm going to take this dirt and build a platform all the way from the village over to the other side of those hills. Then we can place rails on it and transport the villagers by minecart. Oh, what an absolute monstrosity of a build. But hey, it's going to get the job done. And you know what? I'm kind of getting excited to see this thing in action. And off he goes. Oh, God, that was faster than I thought it was going to be. Did it work? It worked. Look at him, he's off. And there he goes all the way up the top. And you know what? I think he's going to make it. That was actually a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. I think we need 3 villagers in total over there. So let's send number 2 on his way. See you over there. And finally, let us send number 3. Bye. Now I have gone ahead and moved over some stuff that we can build a farm with. And this iron farm is going to be super simple. It's this one here by Voltrox. And the first thing we're going to have to do is build a nice little compartment for these guys to live. So I'm just going to grab these blocks out of the chest to start with. And then all we've got to do is make a nice outline around the edge of the wall. Because I did do a little bit of research before starting this and made sure that this house outside of it is going to be the exact right size. So I'm just going to bring this up by one more layer. Then we can get some stone slabs across the top, and then we can just go fill in all of the empty spots with buttons. That way nothing's going to spawn where it shouldn't. And then on the inside here, I just need to place these barrels down, pop some buttons on top, and then we can place the villager beds down too. And there we go, their little house is kind of sorted now. How do you feel, guys? You excited? I would be. It's better than the villager pit anyway. So what I think I'll do is just wait until the sun goes down, then I should be able to just break the minecarts, and hopefully they will walk straight on over here. So yeah, back in a second, and it is go time. I think these guys should be seeking their beds right about now. I'm just going to patch this part up so they don't accidentally drop into the wrong section. And if we very carefully just break these mine carts, we'll start with you. That's a good sign. Come on. He's in. Nice. Okay, cool. Let us do this one and this one. There we go. Oh, you love to see it. We need to make sure these guys go to sleep as well. That is actually part of the farm design. They need to spend at least one night in bed for this to work. Come on, mate. I really need you to go to sleep right now. Why is this guy not sleeping? I don't understand. Oh, we got monsters spawning. Am I going to have to break this bed? Okay, maybe that. There we go. All right, lovely. That wasn't too difficult. And crisis averted. And next, I just need to make sure that all of the area around the little villager hole is spawn-proof. And then that way, we won't get any iron golems spawning where they're not supposed to. There we go. That is all sorted. It does look kind of rubbish, I'll be honest, but I do actually plan on replacing this with farmland. And then once we start getting all of the poppies from the iron golems in this thing, I'm going to plant them out front instead. And I think that's just going to look a lot more appealing than, well, just flat path blocks, you know. But we do need a collection system, so I'm quickly just going to dig this out. And then what we'll do is just place a chest right in the middle here, add a hopper into that, put a sign on top, stack some signs on the sides here like this. And then what we can do is place some lava on top, and that won't spill anywhere. Then we can just take some water, add it into 2 corners, and there we go. That is our collection system. And let's just test this works. It does not. Okay, I guess we need water in all 4 corners. So let's plop one there and one there. There we go. That is working perfectly. And the final step we're going to have to do is just to place a board down here. We'll get this lined up nicely with the bed. Should look something like that. Bruh, what's that noise? Oh, no! Oh, sorry guys. Don't worry. You're safe. It's okay. Calm down. Okay, so I just had to break a hole to get out, but these guys will all return back here at nighttime, so we don't really have to worry about that. But where did that zombie come from? Oh, okay, we got a little hole down here. All right, let's just block this up to make sure we don't have anything like that happen again. But looks like these guys are heading back to their beds. Very nice. Then all we're going to do is stay up a little bit later so that we can get a zombie of our own and move him into this compartment here. And then that way, he will be perpetually scaring the villagers, which will constantly be spawning iron golems for us to farm our iron. And I think I've just spotted a guy down there. There he is. Would you mind coming up, sir? All right, with me, sir, with me. Oh, actually, let's just break some holes in this in advance. We don't want to mess this up as we get inside. Break a hole on this side too. And we should be able to just walk along, hop over the boat, and he's in. There you go. Easy as that. And we got a golem spawn. Okay, I've just realized having our wool outline for the build is a spawnable block, so we're going to have to remove all this. But you know what? Why don't we go to bed and I'll do that in the morning, because there's quite a lot of mobs around here now. So I have cleared everything up, and I think the farm is working properly now. So if we just hold on a second. Oh, there we go. Nice, we just had one spawn. So the lava kills that guy drops iron, which then just goes straight into this chest here. That is so good. Nice, we've got 14 iron already. That is fantastic. So the important bits are finally done. We now have a fully functioning iron farm. This is genuinely a huge step for the world. Having an iron farm is just going to save so much time and make my life so much easier when making these episodes. I probably should have done this in episode 2, but you know what? Better late than never, eh? But of course, we're not just going to leave this out in the open here because it looks very ugly. So I'm going to run and get some blocks, and then we'll start on the build. Alright, so I have sorted all of the blocks out, and I think we've got a pretty nice palette here. I'm thinking we use all of these blocks in this section for the foundation, although maybe not the granite. That's probably going to go in the roof. And of course, we've got the classic spruces and barrel combo. Can't really go wrong with that. Got some nice deep slate and bricks, again for the roof, with probably this granite. And then I've got some lighter blocks at the side here, which we're going to use for a tower. And I was also thinking, because I use so many white blocks, I think at some point in this episode, I'm going to go hunting for some pale wood. I think an extra block added onto this little section would be great. But that is for later, so let's get started with this build. But you know me by now, and it wouldn't be a chopping build without starting with barrels in every single corner. And then what I'm thinking is just running a nice stone foundation across the bottom with cobblestone, andesite, and probably some normal stone as well. And there we go, we've got a nice little shape in so far, and luckily no iron golems have actually spawned on the top bit here either. So we've definitely gotten quite lucky. And I've left a space here for a doorway so that we can just walk straight in, and if I can... Oh, I fell in. Oh. Oh. You know what? Maybe this is not such a good idea. Alright, scratch that. We'll not have a doorway here that I can just reach over. I will think of something a lot safer. Anyway, I've got the general shape in. Let's just get the rest of this built. I think that has turned out really cute. It's so cozy, I love it. And usually when I do white wool walls, I tend to sprinkle in a little bit of calcite, or maybe even some diorite. But I just stuck with white wool on this one. Makes a little bit of a change, and I think it just looks clean, to be honest. I like it. But I love the chimney that we've got going on as well. This side section here looks great with a curved roof, and it's quite hard to get a good view of it, but we do have a lovely tower over there as well on the other side. And it all fits the farm perfectly. I kind of just want to hold on to make sure this actually works. Oh! And there we go. Nice. And that works beautifully. Look at that. We have got over 4 stacks of iron ingots already. This thing is an absolute game changer, I'm telling you. And just to be on the safe side so I don't fall in the farm again, let's just plop a door there for now until I get a better storage system sorted out. But yeah, I am really happy with this. And like I said earlier, once we have enough poppies from the farm, I'm going to turn this all into farmland and plant them outside so it looks a bit nicer than just, well, you know, dirt path. So all in all, I am really happy with this thing, and it's time to move on to the next farm. And since we're already working on the top level of this terrain, it makes sense to fill the rest of the area in and move on to our sheep shearing farm. Now I do have very big plans for this one. I want to make it into a large barn area, and then on both sides I'm going to have a row of 8 automatic sheep farms. I want to make sure that we have one of every single color, and I may be missing some, but Google said it was 16, so 16 is what we're going for. But of course, before we build everything, I think the most important thing to do is get the layout for the actual farm in. And this farm is going to include a lot of glass. So I think the best thing to do is to head over to our village area and trade some emeralds for glass. Hello, gentlemen. I am in the market for some glass. Heard you can help me out. There we go. 1 emerald for 4 bits of glass. That ain't too bad. Now, this bit should be quite simple, but it is going to use up a lot of resources. I'm just going to go with the classic sheep farm that I'm sure you've all seen before, where you basically just plop a sheep sheep in the middle here, and you have an observer and a dispenser that will just automatically shear them every time the grass block is consumed. I hope I explained that right. It'll all become clear shortly, but I'm just going to go ahead and get all of our little sheep prisons set, and then we can move on to the next step. And there we go, nice and simple. Although, to be honest, I didn't really think this through, because to get the observers and the dispensers in, we'll probably have to remove the glass at the back here, but whatever, we can cross that bridge when we get to it. But right now, I'm a little bit nervous, because we have to do something very dangerous that we've never had to do before. We need to go to the Nether, because we need quartz to be able to build observers. Anyway, I'm going to head all the way down our mines, so we can get obsidian for our portal. Alright, obsidian acquired. Let's head back up to the top and get this portal built. And I feel like I'm just going to build the Nether portal on the wall underneath the iron farm here. I just feel like it'll fill the space in nicely. We've got a lot of room here. So let's just break a few blocks out of the wall. We'll pop some stairs in there. And then if we just take these blocks out, we can have the Nether portal inside like this. And bada bing, bada bum. We have a Nether portal. Looks a bit rubbish though, doesn't it? Gotta be honest. So I'm just going to spruce it up a little bit here, quite literally. Nothing special, of course, just something to add a little bit of interest. And there we go. I think that is already looking much better. And of course, we cannot forget our golden helmet. That'll keep the angry piggies away, and we should be safe. Oh, I just remembered I don't have a shield, but you know what? I can't be bothered to walk upstairs to craft one. So we're going in without. Oh, Soul Sand Valley. Basalt Delta. This is not ideal. Let's get away from this edge before skeleton knocks us over. Right, we have come for one thing and one thing only, and I can see it over there. We've got some quartz in sight. So let's just get in and get out. And luckily all the pigs are going to leave us alone, so we should be able to just mosey on right over. And I believe you only need one bit of quartz per observer. So let's see how much we get off here, because we do have Fortune 3, so that's going to go a long way. And there you go, already we have enough for the sheep farm. But we are going to need more for the other farms as well, so I may as well just grab them all while I'm here, and then we won't have to come back. We got a full stack. That should be more than enough. Let's get out of here. I hate it. And I've also just quickly popped down to the skeleton farm, because we are going to need a lot of bows to make all of these dispensers. And I know a lot of these are kind of half broken, but all you need to do is combine them in the little crafty interface like that, and you get a full bow. So I'm going to do this for a little bit and we should be ready to build. And I think I was kind of right. This glass is just going to get in the way. But you know what? I think we've got enough spare that I can just knock it down and start over afterwards. Yeah, okay. This was a silly mistake by me. But as I've said before, you know, you don't always do things right the first time. Okay, so we need to start by putting a dispenser there. And yep, that is the wrong way. Okay, redstone is not my strong point. Okay, yep, that's not it either. How about that? Okay, yeah, there we go. So all we got to do is place some redstone here. Then we just got to dig a nice 3x3 hole in the ground. Place a double chest at the bottom there, just like that. Connect a hopper to the chest. Then we can place a rail down, put a minecart hopper on top of that, cover the hole back up, and then add a trapdoor on top. And then the last bit is just to place an observer on there like that, and then we can just fill the glass back in. And that's it. That's the whole thing. So I'm going to get all of these filled in, and I'll see you in a second. And after about 20 minutes, that is all done. I've not loaded the backs of these with shears yet, because I want to make sure we get all the right colours in first before doing anything. But now is time for the not so fun part. We need to get 16 sheep from down there and bring them all the way up here. I'm sure this is going to be completely stress-free, but we do have to take them over this river here. So to make everybody's life easier, I'm just going to make a little bridge that we can walk them straight across. Alright, something like that should do. Let's go get the sheep. Okay, would you guys like to come with me? We need 16 volunteers. 16. I can't really count how many is here, so tell you what, we'll just take the lot. Alright, single file please. Single file. There we go. Don't worry, Del. This is supposed to happen. Down towards the bridge, please. Down towards the bridge. Alright, so far so good. No one's fallen off. Well, I've got to say, this is actually going a lot smoother than I thought it would. It shouldn't take long at all. Right, I don't know if we maybe lost some on the way, but we definitely do not have 16 here. So I'm just going to make a nice little sheep pen around the side of the soon-to-be barn here, and we can just breed a few of them up and get them trapped inside. Suckers. Oh no! No! Ah, didn't think that one through. Oh, we got one on the outside. Actually, you know what? That works out. You can be our first sheep into one of these little contraptions. You would like to just come up here, sir? And done. Nice. So to get this thing rolling, I'm just going to shear this guy. Then we're going to pop those in there. And whenever he decides to eat the grass, that should trigger the observer to shear him. And hopefully we'll get his wool dropped down into our little compartment here. So let's just see if this works. Oh, here we go. Nice. And do we have the wool in here? We do. That is perfect. All right, that works. I'm going to get the rest of the sheep in here, even though we don't have all of the correct dyes yet, but we will circle back to it. But once the sheep are in, I will be able to build the barn. And how cool does this look? I went ahead and just put all of the respective dyes onto item frames. And the reason I've done that is because when a sheep is sheared, it turns white again, which is kind of confusing. So I can just look at the colors at a glance, although I am colorblind, so it doesn't really help. And I think this makes for quite a nice little system. But yeah, that is all 16 sheep done. So it is time to move on to the actual build itself. And as usual, before we go ahead and build something, I've just laid out a nice little palette, and surprise, surprise, it pretty much looks like all the other palettes I use in this world. Oh, but we are missing a block. Hold on a second. There we go. Now it's a pallet. But yeah, just the go-to stone blocks. We've got some nice wood variants in there, and we've got some white wool. I want to keep this one especially rustic as it's going to be like an old styley barn. But enough yapping, let's get this thing built. Just take a look at how nice this whole area looks now. Of course, we've got the barn all finished up, which I think's come out amazing. It definitely hits that rustic vibe I was going for, and I couldn't be happier. And of course, we do have the sheep in there, just getting sheared away. But yeah, something quite funny happened. So because we have a bit of redstone magic around the back here, it's interfering with these trapdoors, so they keep opening and closing. But I'm not really going to worry about it. If anything, it's kind of funny, so I'm just going to leave it how it is. Then, of course, at the front here, we've just planted a few little crops. Got a bunch of flowers down there too. And over at this side, we've just got a bunch of hay bales because, you know, it's kind of a farming district. I think it's a good fit. And the same over here as well. We've just got little farming pallets that may come in handy for any of the farmers moving in and out of the area. And our iron farm is still going strong, which has given me the chance to plant all of the poppies out the front. All in all, I couldn't be happier with this area, which means it's time to move on to something else. And since we finally have the entire top level complete, it's time to move down a level to work on the sugarcane and bamboo farm. Now this is where it's going to get a little bit complicated because neither of these farms are really going to fit into the footprint of this house. So I think we're going to have to do is dig downwards, maybe about 5 or 6 blocks. That's a bit more than 5 or 6, but that's probably about right. And then what we're going to have to do is dig out a nice space underground so that we can put the farms down here. And there we go. I think this should give us enough space. So we've got our little entrance hole here, which will just be a ladder. And then when we come down, as we look forward, there will be a row of sugarcane farms on this side and bamboo farms on this side. And then maybe at the end we can just place some extra storage because this stuff is going to produce quite quickly. But obviously the whole thing's looking a bit rubbish right now, and that's because I don't really want to get the decorations in until we fitted the farms. So I'm going to run up top and we'll grab everything we need to get this done. And we are going to need so many resources for this. I've done the maths and we're going to need 30 observers, and we're also going to need 30 pistons. So it's a good thing our iron farm's been made. Oh, and this thing is chugging. I like it. Okay, and pistons. And there we go. We have just enough for 30. That's perfect. I'm sure there's probably something I forgot, but I can get it later on. So I would like to start by laying out the farm first, and then we'll worry about all of the decorations afterwards. Now, first things first, we are going to need to put some mud blocks down so we can place the sugarcane. So let's just start by placing one here, and we'll run it all the way along till the end of the room. And there you go, we're making progress already. But now that's in place, let's get one on the other side here too. And I've just ran cobblestone along the back here because we are going to have to fill this in with water, but we'll not be able to see this block once the farm's all complete, so it doesn't really matter what we put there. Alrighty, next step, just got to get this all filled in, and then let's just get that all sealed up with some bamboo planks. I know this is going to be sugarcane, but well, we don't have a sugarcane block, so this will have to do. And I never know how to do pistons. Is it this side? It is. Okay, great. And just like the bamboo, going to take it all the way down to the end. And I'm kind of glad that we left a lot of room here because this is a lot taller than I thought it was going to be. But all we've got to do now is get the observers on here, place the redstone along the back, and I believe that should work. Let's just test this real quick. We can just stack you on top, and another one. Oh, yep, there we go. It works. God, I am such a redstone genius. And I am just digging out underneath here so we can set up our collection system, which is going to be really simple. Just going to put a chest here and just add a row of hoppers. And I believe that should be it, right? Let's just test this. Let's throw some bamboo into that end so that I've got sucked up into that hopper. And hopefully that's traveled all the way through to our chest. And it has. You love to see it. So I'm just going to go ahead and get everything all planted. Got the bamboo on one side and the sugarcane on the other. But it is definitely time to make this thing look pretty. And we do also have the outside building to do as well. So I think we should do them both at the same time. And that sounds like a plan to me. Let's go. Alright, I am so excited to show you this. I absolutely love this whole area. So if we just come up the stairs here, we do of course have the main sugarcane farm and bamboo building, which I think looks fantastic. Now over here, I've just built some pallets. We've got a nice mix of bamboo stuff in there. And because you can't really build anything out of sugarcane, I think the only logical thing to do is to just plant a bunch. So we've got this nice strip along here, and we do also have this along here too. But other than that, I've planted some nice crops around the side. Got some lovely rooted dirt in there. Very, very underrated block. And then of course, coming along here, just some more bamboo decoration, which I think looks great. But the main attraction is definitely inside. And I can't wait to hear your guys' opinions on this because this is one of my favorite interiors. And just coming through the front door of this thing, we do have a very cozy interior, which I'm super happy with. We've got some nice storage on both sides here. And I'll be honest, I didn't really know what to put in the middle, so I just kind of put bamboo pots everywhere. Looks like a bit of a shrine, but you know what? I like it. Not bad at all. And then up the top here, I've created like a little attic space. It is empty for now, but I feel like once I've got a good excess of bamboo, I'm going to start storing some things up here as well. But now for the main event. If we go all the way down here, get a load of this. I absolutely love this thing. It's so clean. We've got the sugarcane farm on this side, which feeds into this chest here. And don't worry, it is working. I've just taken a bunch out so I could trade it for these golden carrots. And then, of course, on the other side here, we've got the bamboo, which again is working, but I've taken the majority out of here for the decorations upstairs. And since these farms need sufficient light levels to grow, I did go ahead and grab some glowstone from the Nether. And I think it makes for a really cool look. I've also added a few up the top here as well, just for a little bit of extra decoration. And of course, right at the end here, this is where I'm going to be storing all of the excess from this farm. Oh, and of course we've got a little crafty bench in the middle here, and barrels, you know. Couldn't build a build without barrels. But genuinely, I could not be happier with how this has turned out. You may think this is a bit silly because we've already built some very cool things in this world, but this underground area here is by far my favourite. And usually I do plan my builds in advance, but that I just kind of winged. That was on the fly, and I think it's turned out really nice. But now that all of that section is complete, we do have this big long area along here, which is completely empty. And since that is the only build that is going to be on this level, I'm thinking we just decorate this whole area with crop fields, because if it wasn't obvious already, I do love a good crop field. So I think that is a good time to head back over to our main farming island so we can grab a load of crops. And I'm just trying to decide what type of crop that I want. We have so many wheat fields at this point, but the potato is kind of underrated. We don't really plant enough of this stuff. So that's what I'll do. I'm going to grab a bunch of potatoes, and then we'll head back over to the sugarcane area and get everything planted. All right, we got a pretty decent haul of potatoes there from the fields, but what I think I'm going to do first is make a nice path from this staircase all the way to the other one, and then once this is in place, it should give me a better idea of where I need to plant the potatoes. And there we go. I think that looks pretty good. Oh, let's just get the nether portal added in there too. And so now I've got a pretty clear idea of where all of the crops are going to go. I think I'll probably put flowers on this side and then fill all of this and all of that with some potatoes. All right, let's get it done. And that is everything just about grown in, and I think this looks great. It's so cozy. I think the flowering crop texture pack is doing a lot of heavy lifting here, but that's obviously why I use it. It looks great. But yeah, nice. So top level all done. Then we come down here. We got the mid level all done as well. But with those two levels complete, that means it is time for the next farm on our list, which is melon and pumpkin. But of course, we're going to need melons and pumpkins for that. And I do remember picking some melons up in episode 1. So hopefully I've placed them in our storage. Oh, okay, but this is my kind of food box, and I would have thought melons would have been in here. I don't know, maybe I moved some over to the village, but I can't really imagine why, so I'm just going to declare those things as lost. But on the positive side, Chestnut gets to stretch his legs, because I'm going to go have to find some more. But I am well aware that we do have a jungle just over these hills, so this bit should be fairly straightforward. Okay, we have arrived. Let me see if we can find any melons. I hope I'm not riding past some right now, because right now I don't actually see any. Alright, looks like I'm a little bit out of luck here, but that's okay because I know where a second jungle's located. Come on, Chestnut. Not gonna lie, I'm starting to get a little bit worried because we've been wandering around for quite a while here and I've still not found any melons. Got to be around here though, right? They've got to be. And look at that, I have finally found one. I've got to be honest, I was starting to give up hope a little bit there. The sun is almost down. But anyway, let's head home and I'll stop off in a taiga biome on the way to pick up some pumpkins. Alright, we are in the taiga, but I'm pretty sure if we keep heading in this direction, there's a village. Oh, here we go. And I'm sure these guys tend to have pumpkins just lying about the place, right? Maybe if we come down here. Ah, there they are, pumpkins, nice. God, I'm so good at Minecraft. All right, we got 12 pumpkins and 5 melon slices. Come on, Chestnut, it's time to go home. And we are back, but I am just coming down to the riverside here because I am going to need a lot more than 5 melons. So I'm just going to plant a little farm along the water's edge right here. We'll get some melons in and we'll get some pumpkins in. And then after a while, we should have plenty that we can just fit into a nice automatic farm. And just while I'm waiting for all of those melons and pumpkins to grow, I did grab a bunch of lovely stuff here so that we can go ahead and craft all the observers that we're going to need. And we're just going to do the same with the pistons as well. All right, I am pretty much ready to go. So it's time to come over to our little blueprint here and decide where we want this thing. Now, of course, you've probably guessed, but this is a little bit too small to have a full farm inside of it. So similar to the sugarcane and the bamboo farm, we're going to build this one underground. So let's just imagine that this is the front door to the building. I think it would be cool to come around here and have the ladder somewhere over this direction. So let's just dig down a few blocks, make sure we've got plenty of room. And I think that should just about do it. And then we can start hollowing a nice little space out. And there we go. We've got a nice little bit of progress going on here. Before I get to all of the boring bits though, I just wanted to give you a quick update and show you around. So of course we're going to have our little main entrance area here. I'm sure I'll put some storage in the walls. Then on the left we have our main collection system. You can see hoppers running all the way back there and they come all the way around to this point here. We've got a little redstone circuit going on at the back here, and then down in the main section, this is where we're going to have all of the melons and the pumpkins. We're going to have it so the system automatically breaks the melons and the pumpkins, drops them onto the ground, and then the minecart track, which is going to cover every square, will just zoom around and pick them all up on a loop. But yeah, this is going pretty well so far. So I am just digging out these sections here so I can just put a bunch of redstone torches down, and I'm just going to do that again over here, cover it all back up, and that's just going to make sure that all of these powered rails have a power source. And to get the farms in, we have to be a little bit clever here. It's not just like wheat. We need to make sure that we leave a space for the pumpkin or the melon to actually grow on. So I'm just going to go around like this, skipping a block each time, and then I'm just going to go around and get a nice checkerboard pattern. There we go, nice and easy. And it is finally time to head back over here and grab all of our pumpkins and melons. And how much we got? We have 31 melon seeds and over a stack of pumpkin seeds. This is quite a small farm, so that is definitely going to be enough. And let's just keep this nice and simple. I think I'll do a row of pumpkins, a row of melons, and we'll just alternate all the way along. Now, I know there's something to consider with the speed that these things grow. I think pumpkins grow quicker than melons, so this will technically produce more pumpkins, but I'm completely fine with that. Now for the claustrophobic part, we have to put pistons above each one of these dirt blocks. And that is all done. So I'm just going to clear this top layer off the top here. And then all I've got to do is place these observers facing downwards. All right, now this is all looking good. So the absolute final step I've got to do is just add a minecart with hopper on top of this. And there we go. I think, or I hope at least, that that is everything. But this place is definitely looking like a bit of a mess. So I'm going to tidy it up and I'll bring you back in a sec. Now, of course, still completely empty up here. We're going to build that soon. But if we just happen to hop down our little hole in the ground here, get a load of this. I think it looks really nice. Lots of spruce, obviously, but you know, I really don't mind that. So, of course, our farm is right in front of us working away. Oh, and there it is in action. So at some point, you'll see this little pumpkin disappear. Hey, and there we go. So that's just been picked up and carried to this chest over here, which we are so far flying in melon slices. So yeah, very happy with the output of this farm. And if you're still watching at this point in the video, first of all, thank you. And second of all, comment the word jelly bean so I know who the real MVPs are. But anyway, on this side of the wall, we've just got a load of different types of storage. We've got barrels on the walls, we've got chests, obviously we've got the main deposit box there. Then if we just turn around, we have just got some excess storage on the other side as well, which is just empty for now, but of course that'll be full all before we know it. And then for the decoration, I've kept it all fairly rustic. Of course, we've got some glowstone at the top there, and we've got some deep slate in the middle for the roof. And we've also got deep slate in the walls, I forgot about that. But yeah, all in all, I would say I am pretty happy with this. So I'm just going to leave that farm doing its thing, and it is time to come upstairs, because next up I want to build the actual farmhouse itself. But if we just look around these builds so far, we've got white wool in the top of that thing, we've got white wool in the top of that thing, and we've got white wool in the top of that thing. And I fancy changing things up a little bit. So I just updated my world. So I'm just going to head back over to the island, where we can pick up our good friend Chestnut, because I think now would be the perfect excuse to get pale wood. Instead of using white wool all the time, which of course means we're going to have to find a pale garden. And I've not come across one yet, so this is going to be fun. Oh, I can finally see one. I am not joking, that has took forever. In fact, let me bring my coordinates up. We are 5,000 blocks away from home. This has been a ridiculous journey. The worst part is I probably passed 2 or 3 already, but I just rode in a straight line. It looks like it's right on top of that mountain too. I'm going to have to try and find a good way up. Sorry, Chestnut, you know the drill by now. It is time to get in the hole. This is the first time I've ever come to a pale garden too, and I am loving the atmosphere so far. Although I've heard it is a little bit creepy at night time, so maybe we'll take off before then. I like the trees though. Plenty wood on these things. And that should just about do it. I've got just under 2 stacks, but we do have 20 pale oak saplings as well, so we'll be able to grow these things back at home. And speaking of home, come on Chestnut, we have another 5,000 blocks to travel. Oh, this is going to be a long one. And home sweet home. You know, I say this every single time, but it's never bad traveling far when we've got Chestnut. But we have exactly what we want now, so let's get ready for this build. So I've just gone ahead and laid out a nice palette for this build, and surprise surprise, for the foundation I'm going for a bunch of stone variant and a little bit of tuff. I'm going to get some brick, granite and rooted dirt sprinkled in there, probably for a tower or a windmill. And then of course we've got this nice combination of wood on the side here with the pale wood to finish it off. I think this is looking pretty solid. We've got our build, we've got our plan, let's get it done. And I would say that has come out so nice. I really like it. I am just going to leave that copper to oxidize until the final stage, so it looks a little bit rubbish right now, but soon that will be the color it needs to be and the build will be complete. But yeah, like I said, really happy with how it turned out. Got a nice cool windmill on the side of there too. The front's nice and cute, and I'm really happy with how the pale wood looks as well. Definitely a nice change up from the white wool that we've got on everything else. I added some cherry leaves at the front here as well, just for a little splash of color, and then round the side we've just got a nice little overhang with some pumpkins and melons. But of course this thing does have an interior too, so if we just come in here, again, with this just being like a farm building, we're going to need a lot of storage, so that's what the majority of this thing is. But either way, I think it looks really nice. I've got some melons kind of stacked up and tied to the wall here, got some pumpkins scattered over here as well, and I thought I would do something a bit different with the floor for once and added some tuff blocks in there, which I just noticed that I didn't actually finish properly, so there we go. But yeah, all in all, we've got this floor complete, and we've also got the downstairs complete, and by the way, this is working extremely well. But yeah, all in all, I would say that this is complete. But of course, we still have this entire level to decorate. Now, we don't have as much room as we did on the other 2 levels, so I'm thinking of just keeping it quite simple. But before we do anything, we should really get a path leading to the stairs over here. And there we go. I think something like this will do. Just left a little bit of dirt out front here so we can put some grass on it as well. Oh, and you know what? We may as well get it connected to this soon-to-be staircase over here. There we go. That looks a lot better. Okay, then now, in terms of decoration, what I'm thinking is, why don't we just put a nice manual pumpkin and melon farm outside of here? I'll never harvest it, it's purely just for looks, but it'll kind of give a nice indication of what's going on inside the building. And so what I'm thinking, because I don't want to use water, I'm just going to have to till all of this soil, plant all my pumpkin seeds, then I'm just going to bone meal all of the seeds to give them a head start, and then once all of these have grown in, we'll do the next row and keep alternating melons and pumpkins until it's complete. This is probably going to take a while. And there we go. I think that has turned out really nice. I love this texture pack as well, which has the bigger roots and stems. I think it looks great. So yeah, pretty satisfied with that, but we still have all of these blank patches around the side of the building and down on this lower level here. Now, if we come up to the higher levels, you can see we've just kind of went with either flowers or potatoes. So let's not overcomplicate things here. I think we'll just plant a bunch of farmland around here, and sometime later, this is all grown in nice. I've planted a few little potatoes by the house, again, some more by the melon and pumpkin patch, and yeah, all in all, this is looking fantastic. And that was the top 3 levels all complete. So it was finally time to move on to our final ground level to construct the lava farm. But there is one very important material that we need to create this thing, and that would be dripstone. Now, we don't have any yet, but on my travels, I have spotted a dripstone cave. So it's time to take Chestnut out one more time for the episode so that we can get building this lava farm. And I believe round about here should be the entrance. There it is. Okay, tell you what, I don't want Chestnut falling into this giant chasm, so it's time to get in the hole. I'll be back for you in about 10 minutes, alright? But yeah, let's get a closer look at this thing. So this looks yeah, a little bit dangerous, but we do have dripstone all over the place. That's perfect. So I'm just going to slowly work my way down. Now, luckily, we do have feather falling 4 4 boots, so if anything does happen, we should be okay. But I would rather avoid any accidents. But this is perfect. I already have 9 bits of dripstone, and to be honest, I can't imagine that we're going to need too much for this. So I think I'll just get a few more of these big ones. Kind of hit the lottery here, to be fair. This is very good. All right, and that should just about do it. That's a full stack, and it would kind of be rude not to grab some dripstone blocks while we're here. But you know what? I think that is going to do me. So let's get out of this cave. I'm sure Chestnut won't be too happy if we leave him in the hole much longer. Where is that horse anyway? Oh, there he is. Sorry, buddy. Hope that wasn't too traumatic for you. Thanks for waiting, though. Let's get ourselves home. Alright, so I am safely back home with my dripstone. But, of course, to make a lava farm, well, we're going to need lava. And, yeah, I could probably search underground in some caves to find it. But I think that's going to take quite a long time. And if there's anything I do not have right now, it's spare time. So I'm just going to pop over to the iron farm here. Then I'm just going to craft a bunch of buckets. And that's right, I am heading back into the Nether. But instead of going all the way down there, I think I'm just going to hop over to that basalt delta in the distance. And here we are, although a little bit dangerous. Hang on a second. Get rid of you. And you. Oh, there's quite a lot of them here, but they're pretty slow, they're pretty derpy. I don't really think we're in any danger here. Just going to kill the baby. And it looks like the course is finally clear, so let's just yoink all of this lava. That's all the buckets filled up. Nice. Alright, anyway, I value this hardcore world way too much to stay in here any longer, so I'm going to get rid of these little idiots, and we're going to head straight back home. Alright, now this is going to sound quite silly, but I have actually never built one of these farms before, but I think I kind of know how to do it, so I'm just going to do a little test over here. All I think you do is place a cauldron down, then a couple blocks above that, I believe you put the dripstone. Actually, let me just change that so it's a little bit lower. There we go. And I'm just going to put some trapdoors on the sides here like this. And I've just created a little section at the top here which we can place the lava in. And if I am correct, which I rarely am, this thing should produce lava. So I am not entirely sure how long this took because I've been getting resources ready for our build, but this confirms that it does work. So we've got our farm design. What I think we'll do is just dot a load of these around the inside of this building. And speaking of the building, because we're going to have a bunch of lava inside of it, it kind of only makes sense to me to just make it out of different stone and deepslate variants. And of course, just a little bit of spruce on the outside. Now, usually I've been doing the farms first and then the structures, but for this one, I kind of don't really have a plan. We're just going to see how many of these we can cram into one building. So I'm going to build the building first and then we'll do the lava farm. Let's do it. And just like that, we have a brand new building. And of course, I do love how this thing looks. It's quite a nice change having something made fully out of stone, which, you know, kind of makes sense given the fact that we're going to have a lot of hot things inside of this. Kind of needs to be flame proof, which of course the roof isn't, but hey ho, we can ignore that. But yeah, initially I was going to go with a big tower on the side, which kind of turned into a chimney halfway through, but I definitely prefer this. And as per usual, we've got a nice little overhang on the side, which I'm going to fill up with some appropriate things later on, although not quite sure what to put here yet. Can't really put boxes of lava down, can we? But I will think of something. And yeah, we got some nice decoration on this thing, a lovely chimney at the back there, and a nice big door at the front. Now, of course, the inside is completely empty as it stands, because I haven't quite figured out how many of these things I can actually fit inside. But I don't think it should be too hard to figure out. So I'm just going to make a bunch of cauldrons. I think maybe 15 should be enough. I'll be surprised if we use more than that. And then let's just have a wander inside here, and I guess we just start putting them down along the walls here like this. Do some on the side here too. And you know what? That has actually turned out pretty perfect. I think that's a good amount. And then let's just run a nice bit of deep slate along the top here like this. Get all of our dripstone attached to the deep slate. Now all we've got to do is contain the lava at the top here. But instead of using spruce trapdoors, I'm going to use iron bars instead. And then I am going to very safely place them all along the top here. Now I'm not entirely sure if wooden stairs typically catch on fire, but I do play with fire tick disabled, so this should be nice and safe. But anyway, look at this thing going, and already we have some buckets of lava here ready for the taking. This thing is going to be so handy for a super smelter once we eventually build one. But it is looking slightly bare bones in this thing, isn't it? So give me a sec, I'm going to work on an interior and I'll be right back. And just like that, the interior is all done. But let me show you inside real quick. So as you already know, we've got all the cauldrons down the middle here collecting the lava, and I really like the tough floor that we put into the melon farm building. So I've kind of done something similar here with a little crafting table in the middle. Then at the top for the ceiling, I've just covered all of those spruce stairs with granite. I feel like the spruce stairs just look like they were probably going to set on fire, so we've swapped it over, and I think this is much better. On the side here, we've got some storage, which we can use for all of the lava. But yeah, kind of all there is to this one. I would say this one is definitely function over fashion, but it gets the job done. and I'm happy with it. Still haven't decided what to put on the outside here, but I will get it fixed at some point. But since the building itself is all complete, I think I'm just going to go ahead and connect up these levels here with some nice spruce stairs. And there we go, all of our levels are now fully connected. And just look at the view of this thing. That looks insane. But I definitely need to do something about all of this blank space out the front of the lava farm here. Doesn't look right having all of this detail just suddenly cut off as soon as we come out of the final building here. I really don't want to complicate things, so I'll probably just put flour and wheat farms on the side here. But how about we have something a little bit more interesting out the front here? And you know what, since we've got a lava farm here, which I feel like kind of needs an emergency stop button if anything was to go wrong, so why don't we build a pond out here? We can have a nice bit of water out the front, so if I ever set myself on fire in this thing, well, we don't have to run far. Yeah, you know what, I think that sounds like a pretty good idea. Tell you what, why don't I just start by removing some of this dirt here? I think I would just like to get the area nice and flat, and it'll just leave a lot of room for some proper decoration. Although, you know what, on second thought, let's maybe not bring this too far back, otherwise we're going to have too much room to work with. But I have trimmed a bit off the edge here, so I think that's good enough. We'll just get this tidied up as well. And yeah, I think this leaves us with enough room. Alright, let's dig this pond out. And that might have came out a lot bigger than I was expecting there. Kind of looks like the thing's been hit by a bomb. Well, that's kind of done now, so no turning back, I suppose. What I think I'm going to do, though, is just cover the whole bottom layer here in sand. I think that'll look pretty cool. But, of course, I don't really have any sand. So I'm just going to dump all of my rubbish into here, and then I'm just going to pop over to that beach over there, so I can start digging up all this good stuff. Alright, I've got 10 stacks of sand, so I think that should be enough. Just going to go around the edges here and get the outline in. Yeah, see, I think that already looks really cool. I'm definitely glad I did this, because I wasn't going to have the pond this deep initially. But time for the long part now. Let's get this all filled in. There we go. That looks a lot better than the crater it was 5 minutes ago, doesn't it? I think it's already starting to come together quite nicely, but I'm planning on putting a lot of details around this thing. Now, I will save the water until probably one of the last things, because what I want to do first is just go around the edges here and delete a few blocks that we can replace with rooted dirt. I think the key here is to kind of make sure that we make it look nice and random, which basically means not putting any thought into it. And that's my type of build. Alright, that's looking pretty cool. Kind of hard to notice it from a distance, but you can definitely see it when you're kind of walking past like this. But I tell you what, why don't we just go ahead and add a few more holes like this, and then I'll just go ahead and fill all of those spots in with coarse dirt, just for a little bit more variety. And I think this always goes well with the rooted dirt. And I've got to say, you know, not too shabby actually. I kind of like this. But I did grab these mud blocks as well, because I feel like if the water is going to be on this level here, it kind of makes sense for mud to be underneath it and maybe spilling around the edges here too. So again, just like before, I'm just going to delete all of these blocks here, and then we can just go ahead and replace it all here like that. Oh, and that is a really nice bit of texture. Okay, definitely going to do more of that. I really like it. And I think that has made the biggest difference so far. Definitely a fan of this. And I think now is probably a good time to fill this thing in with water. I still want some more decorations, but I kind of want to put sugarcane around the edges, as well as some nice little seagrass at the bottom. And finally, with all of the water in, I can start decorating the outside. And I can do something that I've been wanting to do for a little while now. I can actually use one of the farms for our decoration. So I'm just going to come down here and yoink some bamboo out of this box. Okay, never mind, that's sugarcane, but I'll grab it. And then we'll grab some bamboo out of this box, which is full already. That's really cool. I should probably get a crafter underneath this and actually turn these into bamboo blocks. But that is a task for another day. And for the sugarcane, obviously we can't have it too far away from the water. So I'm just going to sprinkle it around the edges here. And I'll just keep it to small little clumps like this. We don't need the full thing covered. Once they're grown up fully, it's going to look a lot more complete. But I also want to put some bamboo down as well. And honestly, I kind of feel like this would just look nice if we put it in amongst the sugarcane here. And as for the water itself, I didn't really know what else to do, so I just grabbed a bunch of lily pads, which kind of look like Pac-Man now that I'm looking at them. And I think I'll just dot a few of these round with my amazing parkour skills. And yes, something like that should be good. And if I'm remembering this properly, I'm pretty sure we can just bone meal sand like that. There we go. That gives us that really nice seagrass. Honestly, this stuff is like a cheat code. If you don't know what to put under your water, just bone meal some sand, man. So easy. Alright, I am officially sold on this pond. This looks amazing. So I'm going to finish off the details around the pond, get the flower fields in around the area, tidy up a few details around the build, and let's get this project finished. And for everybody who's stuck around this long, leave a name suggestion in the comments for this new area, and I'll pick the best one in the next episode. And we're finally all finished. I love this place, so thanks for sticking around, and I'll see you in the next one. I recently built this perfect starter island, and in this video, I'm going to build the perfect cozy village with enough trades to last me a lifetime, all in Minecraft Hardcore. But we still need to find the perfect location for this new village. Now, I don't want to go too far away from our island, but there's already a village over there, and I'm not really fancying the beach, so I guess that only leaves this side by the spawn forest. And we do have this big patch of water at the front here, which we could probably fill in with dirt and have that as our platform for the village. Yeah, you know what? I think that sounds good. So with the build location for the village finally decided, I grabbed a bunch of dirt from my storage room and crossed over the river to begin the build. Okay, yeah, I think this is a pretty good spot. So what I'm going to do is start putting some dirt in the water, and then we'll just get it connected to the other side over there, and that should give us our nice shape for the village area. So I had my plan and got to work filling in the platform, which did take a lot more dirt than I thought it was going to. But it was quite relaxing doing this, so I didn't really mind. And after not too much longer, that is now all filled in, and it's looking great. I really like this. And with the foundation now laid for my own village, it was time to visit my neighbours to kidnap some of the locals, because I wanted to create my own villager breeder to populate the village. Oh, hello, victim sighted. Alright, who wants to be first into the boat? Oh, looks like we got a volunteer. Alright, we're just going to very slowly go over this hill and make our way towards the lake. Almost there. And there we go, sorted. That went a lot smoother than I thought it was going to. Alright, so we finally got two guys over here, but we still need to make the actual breeder. Now, we don't need much space for this, so I think I'm just going to do it on this hilltop here. And it has literally been years since I built one of these things, but they are quite straightforward, so I don't think we're going to have any trouble. And that should just about do it. Then I finally moved them into the breeder, and with that all up and running, it was time to move on to the village construction. So what I want to do is just dot a load of villager houses around this open field here. I don't really have any order that I wish to put them in, but I do think we should at least go as far as the villager breeder here, and maybe all the way back to that grass there, maybe even a little bit further. So what I'm going to do is just start over here, kind of by the villager breeder, and we're just going to start placing blocks down, just in the form of rectangles for now, and then that can serve as the base foundations for each home, and we can then build on it later. And there we go, that is not looking too bad. We've got how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 houses. I think that should be enough. I've made sure to leave plenty of room in the middle so we can make like a little town square. And this one over here, you're probably thinking, well, why have I done half of it with sand and half of it with white wool? Well, that's because I ran out of white wool. But sand will do. It's going to be a temporary thing only, and we'll be deleting all of those blocks at some point anyway. And I decided not to mark this out, but what we can do at the end is just wrap a nice wooden wall all the way around the builds here. We can tuck it in nice and tight on the edge of the water here, and probably add a dock area, you know, just like a nice stone platform coming out from the grass here. I think that'll look really nice. So that's the plan. These are going to be the houses. We're going to have a big wall around it, a nice town square with some crops, and even a nice dock area out the front. So I finally had a solid plan, but I didn't have any tools to make it possible. Therefore, it was time to head over to an enchanting station that I built between episodes and get the tools that we needed. But what I'm going to do is grab the lapis and the diamonds. We're then going to enter our brand new enchanting room, and I think this thing looks lovely. I really like it, although it could probably do with some carpet, but I'll get to that later. Now, you may have already noticed that we do have one diamond pick, but I do want another, and that's because I want one to be silk touch and I want the other to be fortune 3. Then what I think we'll do is craft one diamond axe, and I think a diamond shovel is probably going to come in handy too. Okay, now it's time for the moment of truth. Now, as I said, I am hoping for silk touch and fortune, but Unbreaking 3 is a pretty good start, so let's hope that's got some extra ones on there. Alrighty, what we got? Just Unbreaking 3. Alright. Well, you know what? That is why I brought this little guy. So I'll pop him in there. disenchant that, and then we'll roll it again. Back in a minute. Now that took a little bit longer than I expected, but we did get some good tools out of it. So let's have a look. For pick number 1, I've got a Silk Touch and Efficiency 4. On the second one, we got Fortune 2, Efficiency 4 and Unbreaking 3. Then I've got a Diamond Shovel with Silk Touch, Efficiency 4 and Unbreaking 3. And finally an Axe with Fortune 3, Efficiency 4 and Unbreaking 3. But now that we've got some decent tools, we can do pretty much anything that we want. Now I don't know about you, but this whole area seems pretty flat to me. And I think if we just build everything the way it's currently laid out, we're going to be left with something that looks a little bit boring. So what I have decided to do is build a hill. A nice big hill at the end here, which I'll be able to place both buildings on top of. And I think it will just split the village up nicely. But hills don't build themselves, and it is going to take a lot of materials. So with my newly acquired tools, I'm going to grab some tough cobblestone, as well as a bunch of other resources so we can get this thing built and get the village moving. And what I've done is place a big double chest down in the village over here, and we're just going to use this as our little project box. So everything that we build in the village will just go into this, and I mean, we'll probably need 2 or 3 more, but hey, this will do for now. And like I said, because I want both of these houses on top of the hill, we're going to start somewhere around about here. And what I want to do is just run a fairly random shape along the front here, just something like this. And of course, we will come back around and tidy it up afterwards. And what I've done is left a little gap in the middle, which we can eventually use for some stairs. But the only problem I'm kind of having here is I don't really know what to do on the edges here. I don't know if we should wrap it around or if we should keep going. And I think part of the problem is I don't really know where the end of the village is going to be. Like, we will eventually put a wall around the back here, but right now I don't really know where that's going to go. So what I'm going to do is just build up a few layers of the wall, and then we can get a nice grass platform on the top. And I feel like once we've got the platform on there, it'll be a lot easier to know where the wall's going to go, and then that'll probably help us figure out where the sides are going to go. And okay, this is actually starting to look pretty cool now. So I've got it all filled in, and I think just this shape around the back here is where we're going to put the main wall. And I did also bring up the house foundations to the top level here, but I think this is definitely going to make a huge difference to the village. We've now got 2 very distinct sections. You know, maybe we can put the rich villagers at the top. They can look down at all the peasants over there. I was super happy with this hill, but it was difficult to build without an outline around the village area. So I grabbed a bunch of logs from my storage and began construction on a much needed wall. Now I really hope I've got enough logs for this, because we need to cover the outside of this entire area in logs. And to be honest, the wall is going to go pretty tall at the back of that hill there, but we'll see how it turns out. And what I'm doing here is just skipping 1 block each time, so then I can just fill in the gaps with oak logs and we'll get them all stripped. Alright, so I got the first layer in, and already I am having such an easier time visualizing where everything is going to go. We really should have done this first before the hill. This was definitely a bad move, but hey, you know, that is just the way it goes sometimes. You don't always do everything perfectly the first try. So yeah, the next stage is to bring these up to the height that I want them at, and of course we need to get them all stripped as well. But I think this will make quite a nice time lapse, so I'll see you in a minute. And oh my days, this makes such a massive difference. Yeah, I have no idea why I didn't do this first, but I am so happy with it. We do have one little problem though. The villager breeder is kind of right in the middle of where I wanted to wrap it around. So I think towards the end of the episode, we're just going to delete this, or we could move it. But I tell you what, while that we're over here, why don't we check to see if there's any villagers? Now I haven't actually made a proper way down yet. It's kind of just a hole in the ground. But if I just drop down, I'm not quite sure how we're going to get these guys out of here, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be an absolute nightmare. But I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Alright, see you later guys. I will be back later. But nice to see that that thing's working. And going back to the wall, I have left a hole over here. And I think this would kind of be the perfect place for an entrance. But I think we've kind of used enough wood here, so why don't we build it out of something different? Alright, so I have just crafted some materials, and I've also had to make a second project box because this one is already full. I feel like that's going to get way worse as the episode goes on. Now, I really don't plan on making anything too big for this. You know, we want to keep it small, rustic and cozy. So I think what I'm going to do is just go up by 3. No, maybe 4 actually. Yeah, that's a bit better. So there we go. We got a nice little stone foundation. And then I think what I want to do is try and create like a little archway here. And then in the middle here, how about we just add some slabs, and then we can fill these little corner gaps in with more trapdoors. And then right on the top, let's just finish it off with a stone brick wall and a spruce fence. And there we go. Like I said, nothing too extravagant. This is all intentionally the way it is, and I think it fits. And with the walls coming along very nicely, it was finally time to visit a mangrove swamp on our horse to gather some mud for the village paths. But before we do that, I asked you all last episode to name my horse, and after so many amazing suggestions, I've decided that the winner was Chestnut. So I've just come over to the fishing dock here to grab ourselves one of our name tags that we fished up earlier. And if we just pop back over to the house, I have smelted up all of the iron that we've got, which is a grand total of 46. And there we go, our very first anvil. Not quite sure where to put this thing, but I feel like it should belong in this room, so how about we just dump it here? That'll do. Alright, let's get this name tag in here. And Chestnut. And well done, Chestnut, you finally have a name. So, thank you to everybody for all of your suggestions. But now that that's sorted, me and Chestnut hit the road and before long found the mangrove swamp that we were looking for. Alright, looks like we got plenty of mud, which is exactly what we came for. And I tell you what, one of the best things about coming to a swamp biome is literally for the flowers. I love these ones. So I'm just going to grab as many of these as we can while we're here. Alright, that is enough flower picking for now, so why don't we do what we actually came here to do and grab all of this mud. And just like the flowers, since we're not going to be here for a while, I may as well just grab as much as I can possibly carry. We are going to need a fair amount of this if we're to path the whole village with it. Well, this mangrove forest was beautiful, but I've kind of decimated it now. I've got water running weirdly all over the place. We've got trees half cut down. But on the positive side, we have more than enough mud. I did also grab some propagules so that we can grow mangrove back at home. But let's get Chestnut out of the hole and head home. Alright, we finally made it back, although with our good friend Chestnut, it didn't really take too long. So I want to turn all of this mud into packed mud. Okay, I guess that's not how you do it. Wait, what? How do you make this stuff? Packed mud. Wheat. Alright, fair enough. I guess it's back over to the island we go. But if there is one thing we are not short on in this world, it is definitely wheat. I'll just get as much as I possibly can here. And that leaves us with quite a lot of mud left over. Right, so I pretty much want this entire ground level to be made out of mud and mud bricks. And the only way we're going to be able to do that is by removing this entire top layer. Time for a time lapse. Now, I've got to be honest, I really thought this was going to be a quick job. But I had to pause my recording 3 times just to run back to the mangrove swamp to collect more mud. But of course we got finished eventually, and I even added some extra details. I think this already makes it just feel a lot more lived in, you know, like dirt that's been trampled over a million different times by people. Only the people aren't here yet, but they will be soon. But yeah, apart from the mud floor, I have separated another tier of the village over here. We did already have the outlines for these builds down initially, but I've just moved them to the correct level, and this is how it will all look once it's finished. Now over here, I kind of had this idea when I was digging everything out to mark in the farms first. So at some point we will get crops into each square segment here. As you've also probably noticed, I did put flowers everywhere. Now I'm using a texture pack that makes these flowers clustered, and I think it just makes for a really nice effect. So I've kind of just dotted them all over the place, and I think it brings a nice bit of life to the area. And you're probably wondering, what the heck are these white squares in the middle here? Well, I thought we could do some market stalls in the middle. There won't be anything complicated, but I just wanted to mark them out in advance so nothing gets in the way before building. And finally, I've just added some stairs up here, and I've left this all grass for now. Oh, and actually, one last thing, I did just put a little bit of texture into the wall, and I'm really starting to feel the vibe of this place. I think it's going to feel amazing once we get all the buildings in. And to be honest, I think now would be the perfect time to do that. So what I've done is lay out a nice block palette here, because I want to make sure that all the buildings in this village have a similar type of theme. You know, we don't want things looking completely mismatched. That would be a bit weird. But we also want to keep a nice bit of variety in there, and I think all of these blocks should do that with no problem. And so the village space was officially prepared, but I still needed to get started on some structures. So I took a quick trip down to the sheep pen as well as the mines, where I grabbed everything that I needed, and it was finally time to start building. Alright, so I finally have a box full of goodies. I innocently thought I could just put one little project box down and that would be the end of it, but no. We've now got 4 double chests. We will have to move them at some point though, because they're right in the way of one of the farms. But that is enough yapping, so I'm going to grab some resources and we're going to get started on our very first villager house. So if we just come to the top of the hill here, I really want to do this one. I don't know why, I guess it's just got kind of a cool outline. You know, we're going to put a tower here, we're going to have a little nice lean-to on the right, and I think it's just quite a cozy size to start with. So looking at our little palette down there, I think we should start the foundation with stone. So I'm just going to replace the corners with stone, so that way we don't lose the general shape. But now that our corners are in, we can safely remove the wool and line the sides with stone. And for this tower section, I actually like how the stone looks against the wool. So if we look at blocks a similar color to the wool, we have diorite and we have calcite. So I'm going to remove this little outline and we can replace it with calcite, and that can be our main block of the tower. Typically when building structures like a house, I tend to like the foundation to be 4 blocks tall. So that's what we're going to do here. I'm just going to go around and randomly put some texture in, and then we'll have a look to see if that looks any good. Okay, yeah, so what I've done is go with the usual 4 on this side, but then for the little side part, I thought we would change it up just a little bit and do 3 instead. I think that'll look quite cool once we've got the second floor on there. But yeah, anyway, this is going to be the base of the second floor, and we are going to do the same on this side as well. But before we do that, my inventory is an absolute mess already, so I'm going to create another project box for this individual project. Now we've got project boxes inside of project boxes. It never ends. Let me just dump all this stuff in here, and that is so much better already. And it is officially time for my favorite part of every single build. Barrels. It's barrel time. I'm just going to go ahead and place one on the edge of every corner like this, and we should be left with quite a nice shape. And if we just pop into free cam here, you can see this is actually coming along really nice. Now for the roof, I want to make sure we have a nice little curve. So for the top block, I'm going to start with a slab. Then we can come over with a plank, but instead of doing a second plank, what we'll do is add a stair. Then we can just come up by one block, and I believe this is the center point, so let's add another 2 on top of here. And you know what? That is looking really cool, but I think you get the idea now. So why don't we finish it off with a nice little montage? And I am really happy with this. It actually turned out a little bit bigger than I thought it would, but let's take a closer look. This is the inside. Now, I know you were probably expecting some nice flashy interior, but I've had to kind of keep this one empty. And the reason why is because it's not just going to be the home of one villager. We're going to have multiple in here, so we need plenty of room. But once we got the villagers in, I will probably decorate a little bit, but I just want to make sure that we've got enough space for, you know, the important bit first. Then if we come upstairs, I've kind of done the same thing. I've left it all kind of open so that if we want any extra ones up here, it should be nice and easy to move them in. So the first house was finally built, but it still doesn't have any residents. So I crafted some rails and began moving villagers from the villager pit into their new home. Right, now we need to do this in a way that they don't all just come running out as soon as I do it. So let's just section off this part first. Then let's just make a little staircase shape out. And then what we'll do is replace this middle block here with a block of redstone, and running some powered rails over it like that should be good. Right, we're going to carry the rails through this way, then we can place another powered rail on there, and I believe if we put a button here, I should do something. Right, I mean, I guess we'll find out. Look, I'm going to be honest, redstone is by far my weak point in this game. I'm not good at it whatsoever. Oh, it moves. Oh, bro. Okay. Right, well, it just sucked one out. Didn't expect that, but hey ho. Right, now hopefully I should be able to just do this, and yep, that was quick. Okay, that works. And let's just be honest here, the first trader has to be mending. So I'm just going to keep cycling this until we eventually get one. Hang on a second, hold that thought. What's the point in getting an expensive enchantment like mending if I don't even have enough emeralds to afford it? It makes no sense to make this first guy mending. What we should make this first guy is a stick trader. Like, look, we are surrounded by forest. Literal money trees. Alrighty, so oak planks, flint, fletching table. If we do that, oh, there we go, stick trades. Nice. Let's lock that guy in and done. All right, my friend, you have officially got a job. Now the next challenge is deciding exactly what the best path is going to be to get that guy from over there all the way to that house. With 27 bits of rail, I don't want to blow all of my iron on this. So I think we're just going to do it the old-fashioned way. And what I mean by the old-fashioned way is we're going to push him, and we're going to get him to the end, and then pick the rails back up and do this over and over until we finally get him in our house. And there's the first villager in. You know what? That really was not as hard as I thought it was going to be. I am going to get rid of the minecarts eventually, but until they're all in place, I'm just going to leave them in there. All right, let's get you some friends. And there we go. That took quite a while, but wasn't too stressful, so I don't mind. But anyway, we have 4 Fletchers in here right now. I think this will be enough for what I need, but like I said, if not, we've always got the upstairs as well. Some of them are a bit expensive at the minute because I did kill a villager, but that's what happens when you escape the pit. But eventually they'll cool off, the prices will go back down, and we now have unlimited money. But I'll be honest, I kind of want a little bit of a break from dealing with villagers, so I think I'm just going to do something a little bit more relaxing, like plant these crop fields out the front. So I suppose we best start by removing our big line of items here. Oh, and that means we're going to have to move the chest monster as well. I don't really know where I want to put it because I feel like I'm going to use up all of the land here. All right, look, don't judge me. I promise I will clean this up afterwards, but for now, I know this is really bad, okay? But please just don't judge me. I don't need to be judged right now. I need you all to be very nice. I'm actually really bad at organizing, but I'm trying my best. This can be our horrible little secret. Okay, so farms. Now, first things first, I want to get rid of this little path layer here. I kind of want to replace it with something a little bit more sturdy, and that is just about done. I really like stone bricks. They're kind of old school. All right, all the water is secured. I've even put some waterlogged leaves in there just to make sure that we don't fall down. But this land ain't going to hoe itself, so let's get to work. Okay, looking kind of rubbish because obviously it's empty, but it is done, which is, you know, the good thing. So I have come back over to the island again so we can grab as many crops at Chestnut? Chestnut? What are you doing in here? I must have forgot to tie this guy up. You don't belong with the cows. Come on, you got your own home. Alright, you stay there. But like I was saying, I have come back over to the home island just so I can grab some crops and take them back over to the village. But I did want to show you something. So I've installed a new mod where as long as I'm holding a seed, or a carrot in this example, and right click on a crop, it will harvest it and replant it at the same time. I absolutely love it. You know, we're still doing the work, but you know, it's just removing that little tedious part afterwards. And the second crop that we're going to plant in the village is wheat. And you may be asking, Why? When we've got so much of it here already, why not grow something like beetroot or netherwort or anything else? And the answer truly is just because I like the way that it looks. And I think that is as good of a reason as any to do things in Minecraft. Alright, let's get these bad boys planted. Now originally I was just going to have everything kind of flat like this, but when I looked at it from up here it just looked a little bit boring. So I figured we would dig up this outer layer on each farm, then we can just go around and replace it all with grass blocks instead. And then on this grass layer we can just go around and add a nice oak fence. It's definitely not much, but I do think it's going to make quite a lot of difference. So if we take another view from up here, yeah, see? I like that. I like that. All right, I'm going to get to work on the rest of the farms and I'll bring you back when it's done. And I would definitely consider that a job well done. I'm telling you, man, crop fields are just OP. It's such an easy thing to add to any build and it just makes so much difference. But yeah, these are going to take a little while to grow, but I'm sure that once they do, they're going to look amazing. But while I've been working down here, I keep looking at this empty space over here in this corner. I've been thinking of a few things that we can put in here, and to be honest, I think the best idea is a bee farm. I think first we should probably decide how many beehives we want. Now they're not going to take up much space. I do kind of want to fill the area in, so let's say we put one here, then we can leave a few gaps and probably copy that 2 more times like that, and that'll give us 9 beehives. I think that is more than enough. So I think I'm going to venture into this forest behind our village and see what I can find. And you know what, now that I'm thinking about it, this is probably going to take quite a long time. So I've got a better idea. Good afternoon, Chestnut. I'm afraid I can't be bothered to walk through a forest today, so you're gonna have to help me out. Oh, that is so much better. We are going to find beehives in no time. Hey, we got one. The only problem is I can't tell if they're inside. I mean, I can hear them, and I know that at nighttime they do return to their nests, so I guess we just wait a minute or two. Oh, okay. Yeah, so a guy just went in there. And believe it or not, I just spotted another one right there. How'd I miss that? Now, I'm not entirely sure if I need to put a campfire under this thing now, so I'm just going to do it anyway because we don't want angry bees when we get out. But let me know in the comments if I actually need to do this step. And then with our silk touch pickaxe, we're going to pick you up. And we're going to do the same with this one. Oh god, it's getting dark. Chestnut, where's that horse gone? I thought we were friends, he left me. Seriously, where is this horse? Oh god, we've got monsters spawning in. I'm literally running around in iron armor. I don't have a shield. Where is that horse? Oh, he's there. Chestnut, you absolute moron. Oh, actually, I had a bet on me the whole time. I guess I'm the moron. All right, that was a little embarrassing. All right, well, we've got 2 beehives anyway, or as they're actually called, bee nests. And I've got to be honest, I would like a few more, so I'm going to keep looking. Oh, and I've just found this lovely birch forest. Now, I'm pretty sure beehives are a bit more common in birch forest, right? Or they're at least easier to spot on the birch trees. Oh, and there's one there. Nice. Right, we've got the bees kind of just floating around. So yeah, I guess I'm going to wait until nighttime to let these guys return back to their hives. Then I think it would be good to take them back to the base and start breeding. And just before the sun goes down, look at the view from up here. Kind of crazy that we're living in a timeline where Minecraft looks this good. But the sun is fully down, so it's time to grab these beehives. And I think this is going to be the last one. So come on, Chestnut. Let's go home and move on to the next step. And we are back. Okay, so as we have established, these are bee nests, and what we need are beehives. But we can't get beehives without honeycomb, so we're just going to put these down temporarily. We've got 4 in total, and we've got plenty of flowers around here too, so these guys should be happy enough to take the pollen back to the nest. Yeah, this guy's happy on the carrot farm, so that's good. And then what we'll do is just place the campfires underneath and then just surround this bottom bit with trapdoors. And there we go, that is looking quite cute. So because there are campfires under these things, I believe I am safe to just harvest the honeycomb like this. Now, how much does it cost to make a beehive? Wow, it costs 3. Okay, that's quite expensive, but that does work out quite nicely because that allows us to fill all of our squares in. And I'll just get a campfire under each one of these, and let's just finish these off with some trapdoors again. Oh, this is looking really cool. I love areas that just have a lot of movement. Kind of makes it feel alive, doesn't it? But anyway, I am currently surrounded by bees because I want to start breeding. The sooner we can get all these nests filled, the better. And let's just hope the villagers don't mind bees. Otherwise, they're not going to be too happy here. And speaking of finishing the village, this side is looking pretty cool now, and it kind of is a little bit unusual that we've still got this big rectangle of white wool amongst all of this finished stuff. So I think this is the perfect opportunity to get a structure in here, and I want to go with a nice horse stable. So let's cut to another montage, and I'll see you in a few seconds. And that is the horse stable just about complete. And I think it looks really cool. It kind of fits into this area super naturally, which is exactly what I was going for. And again, we're just carrying over the rustic feel from the island and our house. And yeah, I think this is a really great addition. But for a horse stable, it sure is missing a lot of horses, isn't it? But just on the outside of the village there is where I actually found Chestnut for the first time. And I'm pretty sure at the time there was like 50 horses. So I'm going to have a venture over and see what we can find. Oh, there we go. We got one. Yoink, you're coming with me. Let's go. He's like, okay, I guess I don't have any choice in the matter. And currently I only have the one lead, so we're just doing one at a time. Come on, don't fall in. Oh. How are we even going to get you out? I guess I'll just grab some dirt blocks. All right, come on, before the villagers get out. Come on, just jump up, please. Nope, stay away. Get back in the hole. Oh, God. No. Get back in the hole. Oh. You know what? I don't want this horse anymore. We'll just get rid of this guy as well. Alright, sorry about wrecking your farm. There you go. Oh, well, that was absolute chaos. I'll get you a new friend shortly. We'll just bring one up from the pit. Well, that couldn't have gone any worse. Alright, well, we got another horse, so that's all that matters. And I think this time we will go around the villager breeder. Okay, we're going to put you in this side. And there we go. Home sweet home. Okay, I'm going to grab one more horse, and then we are done. Oh, there's a donkey. Should we do a donkey? Yeah, you know what? Let's do that. And there we go. Our horse/donkey stable is complete. And now that it's all done, why don't I give you a full tour? First of all, I'm really happy with the use of the hanging signs here. This is the first time I've ever put them into a build before, and I think it just looks really cool. And I've just finished off the interior as well. Now, of course, we don't have a lot of space to work with here, so we kind of just got some things on the shelves. A little lectern here so that when horses are taken from the stable, somebody can write it down. And yeah, just got some greenery dotted about with some workbenches, and I think that is pretty cool. And with our new horse stable, this side of the village was looking amazing. But there was this big blank space near this wall, so I decided to build a glowberry vineyard. But I don't have any glowberries, so me and Chestnut hit the road again in hopes to find a lush cave. Alright, well done, Chestnut. You have earned yourself a nice stay in a hole. Enjoy. And you know what? Come to think of it, while we're here, these flowering azalea leaves will be perfect for the village. Okay, now I believe if we just dig straight down carefully, we should be able to find a lush cave. Oh, moss. Could this be it? I mean, we've definitely come down far enough. Oh, yes, that's it. And if you've come this far into the video, first of all, thank you. But I want you all to prove it by writing bubblegum in the comments. Then I'll know who the real legends are. Oh, yikes. There's lava right beneath our feet. Okay, that could have went horribly wrong. Oh, but look at this. Glowberries, and a lot of them. You know what? I really do not like the look of that lava. Let's get some water down there. Suppose we may as well take a ride down. Okay, we are looking kind of safe. Don't mind this. Alright, well, at least there's no monsters around here. But look at this. This is beautiful. Now, I'm just checking the area out to make sure it's all safe before we start digging glowberries up. But we've kind of hit the jackpot here. So let's get rid of some of this lava. I doubt we'll come back down here so we can just knock all these things off the wall. And of course, while we're here, it will be silly not to grab a little bit of moss and we can just grow this back at the base. Alright, I think I am quite happy to get out of this place now. Kind of terrified something's just going to pop out of nowhere and send us flying down a chasm. And that would not be very productive, would it? Alright, so we're back home and we've got the glowberries. Now, how exactly am I going to do this? I want to see if you can put glowberries on trapdoors. Oh, you can. That's so good. Okay. Well, that pretty much decides our farm design. All right, what I'm going to do is add a few more of these in, and hopefully this should look pretty good when it's done. Okay, I did not expect this to look this good, but it does. I changed a few things up, because I feel like the spruce was just clashing with the wall too much here, and I found these really cool designs online by somebody called Dio Rods. So I popped a few of those down, and it has just completely transformed this area. It looks so nice. I added a few lilacs and flowers in the background too, and yeah, all in all, I am really happy with this. But I would say that is probably all done. And look at the view from up here. That is unreal. Now, quite clearly, this side has had a lot more love than this side. So I think we should work on getting one of these buildings up. And I kind of just had a thought. So let's just pretend that we are the villagers who are going to live here. We are pretty much confining them to a full vegetarian diet here, which, you know, nothing wrong with. But for those villagers who want to get a little bit more protein in, we should really have some type of farmhouse with an animal pen. And we do have this nice patch of grass here that, to be honest, I didn't really have any plans for. If anything, it was just going to be like a little garden section, but it would kind of make sense to put animals here instead. I'm not totally sure on which animals we would put there, but I don't want to do the same that we have over on the island, which is cows and sheep. So I guess that kind of leaves chickens and pigs. But before we do that, I would like to build the house. We've got copper, so at least that's one block of the palette. Let's go with a deep slate foundation. For the second floor, we'll use white wool and calcite, and for the roof trim, we will do dark oak. Alrighty, I've got my plan. Let's jump to a time lapse. And I am, again, super happy with how this one turned out. I think we've really nailed the cozy vibe with this. Looks really nice. And if we have a mosey on inside, it is completely empty. That's right. Again, kind of the same thing as we done over there. There's no real point of putting an interior in this thing until we at least get the villagers in there. But even then, I mean, there's not really much room to do anything else, right? We do also have a second floor, which for the time being, I'm going to keep empty until we need more villagers. But we can get the villagers in this floor and we can still make it look pretty. But we're not going to do the villagers straight away because I want to bring my attention to this section here, which I did say that I would like to use as a small animal area. But first of all, let's just sort this area down here because it's quite messy and the mud doesn't blend very well into the grass. So let's just fill this in with mud bricks and then we'll put a little bit of coaster in the middle here like that. Then how about we just run some fences along here? All right, the only issue I've kind of got now though is I don't know how to put a fence gate on this thing. Tell you what, let's do it the old school way, shall we? And boom, there we go. A little bit silly, but does the job. And to be honest, I can't be bothered to use my brain to figure out a proper way to do that with fence gates. So the alternative works for me. And why don't we pop some nice big hay bales in the middle here, and then we can just dot a few nice flowers around and a bit extra short grass. And there you go. I think that is really cute. All right, I've just grabbed some carrots so we can lead some pigs back down here, and let me just pick up some wheat seeds as well. There we go. That way we can get the chickens too. Oh, there we go. We got some pigs. Nice. Hey, we got 2 with me, gentlemen. Oh, hang on. 3. You know, I might as well get them all. All right, this way, fellas. This way to your new home. There you go. Here's some carrots for your troubles. All right, we've got the pigs in, but we do have 2 very good looking ladies here. So let's just get you girls over the fence and bada bing, bada bum. We got chickens. But now is the time to decide what villagers we want in this thing. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. Shopping. That's a farmhouse. Surely you're going to have farmer villages in there, right? Well, that's a great assumption, but no, you're wrong. Because this is actually going to end up being one of the largest buildings we have. I think I'm just going to have my main enchantment guys in here. Like unbreaking, feather falling, you know, that good stuff. But you know what? This is probably all going to take a very long time. So I'll see you when it's done. Oh, sorry. All right, so after a very, very long time, we have the library full of villagers now. So if we just take a look inside here, we don't really have too much room for decoration because these guys are taking up all the space. But we do have all of the good stuff like efficiency 5, we've got silk touch, unbreaking 3, one of the most important ones in hardcore, I think at least, feather falling 4, and of course we've got mending, plus some others. And you'll notice we do have a staircase going up, and this is kind of just the same design up here. I haven't filled all of these slots yet because I've kind of got all of the important ones that I need now. But on these guys, we've got stuff like sharpness 5, fortune 3, and protection 4. Another very important one. And you've probably noticed the prices are a little bit high. Yeah, I may have killed a few of them by accident. But you know what? That doesn't really matter. Between these guys with all the paper trades and those guys over there with all the stick trades, we have enough emeralds so that I don't even have to worry about prices. And now that I have all of these amazing enchantments, you're probably thinking that I'm going to get decked out as soon as possible. Well, no, actually I'm not. What I'm going to do instead is buy Luck of the Sea 3 and head back over to our island's fisherman shack, where I'm going to grab one of the very first fishing rods we ever had and get this baby enchanted. Because I have to admit, organising all of those villagers kind of took the energy out of me and I was feeling a little bit frustrated. So I think it's important in times like this to not get angry at the game and just do something relaxing instead. And after a nice evening fishing, I definitely felt refreshed. But it got me thinking, our villagers don't have a place of their own to fish. So I decided to build them a nice dock area on the outside of the village. Now I think we want to just make this out of stone, so I'm going to grab all of the stone we've got as well as some andesite variants and cobblestone as well. So what we're going to do is just come along to the end here. I would say about here is good. And the good thing about this is we don't really have to think too much about a shape because just like the wall, it has already kind of been outlined for us with the land. So what I think I'll do is just connect a stone block to each bit of dirt along here and we will bring it out by about 5. Yeah, I think this seems like a nice enough length to walk along. So yeah, I'm just going to repeat this for each one. And then what you'll find is when the land starts to curve, we'll get little bits that come out like this. And I think it's going to make a really nice shape as we go all the way along. So I'm going to get to work and I think this will be quite a quick job. And while this did take me longer than expected, I did eventually get a really nice dock that I was happy with, as well as some good fishing spots for the villagers and a few extra details. But as you can see, I've just dotted a load of good stuff around the dock area. We've got some bookshelves, we've got some full composters, we've got a beehive up there because it looks kind of cool. We've got a lectern here so the villagers can keep track of what is coming and going. But yeah, other than that, I've just kind of dotted some hay bales around and just try to make the area feel a little bit more alive, kind of like a load of deliveries have been dropped off or a load of stock from the village has been set to one side, ready to go off somewhere else. And I think this area is feeling really cool. But all in all, I would say the dock area is complete, and I am very happy with how it turned out. And I've also put a little hanging sign outside the village here, but I'm going to leave that empty for now, and we'll come back to it later. And you know what? I kind of forgot that we're running around in iron armor with no helmet on, which is a very silly idea in hardcore. So I think it's maybe a good time to upgrade this. How about instead of going digging for diamonds, we set up one of these buildings to have armor smiths in? That way we should be able to just trade for diamond armor every single time we want it, which to me sounds a lot easier. So I'm just kind of reminding myself what kind of builds I had planned for these little plots. And then this one by the entrance I think was going to be like a little bit of a guard tower. That's why we've got this little corner tower on the edge here like that. And I'm kind of thinking, you know, guard towers, armorer, they probably need to wear armor if they guard and everything. I mean, yeah, it's kind of a good fit. And if we just come on the inside of the plot, we do have a decent amount of room in here. The good thing about armorers is that we don't really need too many of them. Yeah, we could have maybe 4 or 5 just lined up around the outside, and that should cover us really. But of course we need to get it built first, and I think it should be a lot easier to build than all the rest of these. Alright, I've just laid the pallet out, and I think we've got a nice selection there. And so I got to work on our new guard tower, and this one felt great to build because it was just so straightforward. But that was kind of the point. I don't know what it is about this thing, but I really like it. Put some little windows around the side here with fires and fence gates. Oh, and I also finally put those azalea bushes that we found earlier to good use. But yeah, I don't know, I just really like how the edges look on this thing. And we've got a decent amount of room in here, so we should be able to fit some villagers in, no problem. So I think it's about time we got our first armorer into our new guard tower, which means it is time to visit the pit. Hello, my friends. It's somebody's lucky day. Tell you what, you can hop on the track and off you go. Bye. Now, with my extensive search online, aka Google, I'm fairly sure that every single armorer will eventually trade a full set of diamond gear. So this guy should be all set. And off he goes. Alrighty, and that is all done. We got this guy in here, and I've leveled him all the way up to master, and look what he's selling. Diamond boots, leggings, chest plate, and helmets. Now these do already have enchantments on them, but I'm going to disenchant them, and then use our library over there to get the enchantments that we want. Alright, Iron Gear, you have served us very well, but your time is over. And look at that, we are dripped. Oh. Ignore all those helmets in the corner. That's what I was just using to level that guy up. I feel like we are making some real progress here. I haven't got too many emeralds left, so I'm going to wait a little bit before buying all the enchantments we need. But this is coming along so well. We do still have a little extra room in here for maybe 1 or 2 more villagers. And then I would say this building is complete. Okay, for this one, I just went with 1 extra guy. I decided on a weaponsmith. I just figured this guy would be a good way to get emeralds once we eventually set up an iron farm. And once he's master level, we should have some decent tools in there as well. But at 20 emeralds per 1 trade, this guy is way too expensive to level up right now. But for now, I'm going to call our guard tower complete. But there's actually something really cool that I want to show you in the library. So I've been using paper trades to get emeralds off these guys. And I forgot this happens with master librarians. So I've leveled this guy's trades up, and if we come all the way down to the bottom here, we have got name tags now. That is so good. The last time I got a name tag in episode 1, it took about 2 hours of fishing. So I'm going to go ahead and buy one of these because we have something very important that we need to do. As I mentioned in episode 1, I have an amazing dog in real life called Dell, and I wanted to name our Minecraft dog after him. And since we now have unlimited name tags and our very first anvil is in the world, I feel like now is the time to do so. And there we go. Hello Dell, welcome to my Minecraft world. Oh, he's such a good boy lying down like that. I am going to keep you here though, because if I take you on an adventure and you get blown up by a creeper, well, I'll never forgive myself. And you know what, while we're here, we may as well get some more food. But I'll be honest, I am getting a little bit sick of having to depend on cows for food. So how about we head back over to our village, which by the way is looking amazing, and then maybe we can sort out some trades for food. And I guess the best way to do that would be to have a bunch of farmers like this guy. So maybe because our original farmhouse got converted into a library, we can turn this building here into the actual farmhouse. I think you've heard me yapping about builds enough this episode though, so let's just jump into a time lapse and get this one done. And I couldn't be happier with how this one has turned out. Quite easily, my favourite build of the whole village so far. I really like the dark oak trim around the roof line, and the oak trapdoors just look really cosy as well with the little azalea leaves underneath them. We've got a cute little overhang here at the front too, and then round the side we've got this lean-to, which once I've cleaned this area up towards the end, we'll get some nice things put down here and maybe even a little farming area there. But then of course we have also got the windmill, and I wanted to keep it super simple. I know we've got a windmill over there, which has a lot lot more detail, so I'm quite happy to just leave this the way it is. But then of course we've got that peak tower on top of the windmill, which looks great. But of course this thing does have an interior, so let us take a look. I did go for a similar layout with the villagers. I find that this just looks really smart and gets the job done. It holds the villagers in place, they can't really jump out there, and it gives us plenty of room to just walk up and talk to them. Now on the left of the house here we had a little bit of extra room, so I just installed a little kitchen because, you know, these guys are selling a lot of food, so it kind of makes sense to me to just have some storage up there, some nice food dotted about the kitchen top, and we got a smoker as well. But if we come over to the farmers, you can see that they are all fully maxed out to master farmer level. Same with this guy and same with this guy, and that is so we could get these bad boys, the golden carrots. I'm just going to grab some emeralds out of our chest here, and then I think we can just go ahead and buy some, and just like that we've got 42 golden carrots already. And if you didn't know, golden carrots are probably the best food in the game because they keep you fuller for longer. So yeah, could not be happier with this one. Like I said, probably my favorite build of the whole village, which is kind of saying a lot because we have some beautiful builds here. But for our next job, I think I want to bring my attention to these sections here in the middle. I think I've already mentioned by now that I want to make market stands in the center of the village, just to kind of add that extra bit of life, especially when you're walking through this main entrance here. I want like a nice section there that you can just see straight away. And what we'll do is get villagers to stay on the inside of the market stalls, so that way they just kind of look like traders to anybody visiting the village. And as usual, I'm just going to knock all of the corners out and place some lovely barrels there. And we really don't want to complicate these middle sections too much either, so how about we just do something nice and easy, like a stair, and a trapdoor. I think that looks nice. And we've got a bit of a longer section here, so I'll tell you what, we'll just double up on the trapdoors. And again, let's just keep things nice and simple here on the corners and just build up with some granite and spruce. But now that we've got the general shape and height in, it's time we actually put a roof on this thing. And I've grabbed some bamboo mosaic slabs and spruce slabs for this. So what I'm going to do is place one there, and we'll bring it along. And then what we can do is just connect these up like that, and that gives us a really nice shape. Then we can just grab the spruce slabs, bring it along like this, and you can see what I'm going for. All we would do is just repeat them along and get a nice little pattern like this. Okay, so this is looking really nice, but how about we take it one step further? What we can do is add some banners just like that, and then on all of these gaps along the top, how about we add some hanging bamboo signs? These things are definitely on the expensive side with the amount of chains we have to use for it, but I do think it's worth it. Look at that. I'm going to quickly create these other two. It'll just be the same thing as this, but with some different color variations, and then we'll get right to decorating and maybe moving some villages in too. And this was super refreshing as they were such a breeze to build, but even though they're quite simple, they transform the area in a really brilliant way. I then went round adding a load of details, and for the final touches, got villagers inside of the stalls. Okay, maybe this is my favorite part of the village now, but let's just do a quick recap of what we've got done here. Of course, I built the 3 market stalls. Now, something I wasn't super keen on doing was adding these spruce fence gates along the side here, but that was the only way I could think of keeping the villagers in without disturbing all of these signs at the top here as well. But to be honest, I don't really think it looks too bad. Kind of makes the whole stalls a bit more sturdy looking, doesn't it? But I just dotted some pretty things around like plants and lanterns, and of course we did get a few villagers in here too. Now I'm hoping they don't know how to open trapdoors. I don't think they do, otherwise it probably would have happened by now. So hopefully everybody stays where they are. I do have a little lonely guy over here too on his own, but he seems happy enough. I do really like all the colour combinations as well. I think it just adds a nice bit of variety into the area, and yeah, I'm really happy with it. I think at some point as well I may even put some item frames down, and perhaps we can put some items inside of those, but for now I'm quite happy the way it is. Then coming away from the market stalls a little bit, we've just got a few extra details, nothing much. We've got the classic design with logs and rails, just to make it look like they've kind of been tied down to the ground so they don't roll off, if squares can roll. But yeah, and I've also added some dried kelp blocks. Kind of looks like little packages with ties on them. Super underrated decorative block. Definitely recommend using these if you don't already. And I did put this little cart in here with some hay bales on top. But around the back of that, we've just got a nice little double chest. And all in all, I think this looks great. I feel like it just creates a nice little town square, and it just looks so nice from on top of this hill too. But as complete as this thing is looking, we are still not done. We have this house here to build. And I've been thinking, I don't really have any more villagers that I want to trade with. We've got all of our food supplies in here. We've got all of our weapon and armor enchantments in there. We've got our toolsmiths in that one. Got some nice stick trades over there for currency. And right now, there's kind of just nothing else that I need. I'm sure there will be at some point, but right now I'm kind of set. So call me a little bit greedy, but I am going to make this house for myself. I know I've got a big house over there and it's lovely and we really like it, but I feel like if I'm going to be traveling through this village a lot, I kind of want a place to rest. There's not many beds lying around here, so it'd be nice to have a place to call my own and maybe maybe as we branch out in the world, it'll be a good place to just store some items as a nice little checkpoint when moving through the land. And personally, I think that just sounds really cool to have multiple little bases scattered through the world that we can call our own. So for the final time of the episode, let's jump into another time lapse. And that is the final building, finally complete. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. We still have other things to do in the village, but I would say doing the last structure is definitely a milestone. Actually, you know what? It's kind of hard to get a good view of it here because we can't move too far back for the hill. So if we just pop into free cam for a second, we can get a much better look at it from here. I am really happy with how this one turned out. I know I say that about everything, but this one definitely suits the cozy village aesthetic. I like how we've got a bit of greenery on there, lots of oak trapdoors, which I love, plenty windows, nice simple roof, and I've actually got copper in the roof on this one as well, which I think looks really nice. But yeah, we've also got the little curved roofs on the side here too, which I think make a big difference. And all in all, yeah, pretty good. And if we take a mosey on inside, we will see that it's mainly storage. Like I said, I kind of want this house to be a little stopgap if I'm moving through the world, so it kind of needs to be functional over pretty, although it's a bit of both. But we do have the nice storage area in the middle. We got a triple king size deluxe bed in the corner here. Then over on this side, we've just got a crafting bench, furnace, and a smoker for whatever we're doing. So yeah, nice and simple, but like I said, functional. So that's going to come in really handy. But now that we've got both houses up here, we've got this large grass area to sort out. We've got a big patch around the side here as well, just to the right. And I'm kind of just thinking of planting some crop fields here and there. So I think that's exactly what we're going to do. So I've just head back over to our farming island. That way I can just grab a load of carrots, and I'll also grab a bunch of potatoes. And I'm just going to pop into our house and grab a load of bone meal because I want to grow these crop fields without water. And I think as long as you plant something without water, the farmland won't just bounce back into dirt. I'm hoping we can just bone meal this like that. And then yeah, hopefully the crop should just stay like that. And then I guess we'll just kind of have to wait and see what happens. But nothing's popped out yet, so that's probably a good sign. But either way, I think this thing looks pretty cool. And I did bring all the bone meal because I'm pretty sure this won't grow on its own. Not without the water anywhere. Or if it does, it's going to be extremely slow. Okay, yeah, that one long row looks pretty cool. So I'm going to start some new rows. I'll maybe do one here and let's say one from there. Okay, I'm going to get all this planted and I will be back in a sec. I am really liking this. It looks super cozy and it does fill the gap in very nicely. So what I think I'm going to do is just grab some decoration blocks like maybe coaster, a load of flowers, then we'll get the edge of this all filled in nicely. And there we go, that is much better. So I just ran some coaster along the edge here, put a bunch of flowers on it as well as these little cherry blossom biome thingies. I don't know what these are called, but I really like them. Then I've just added a bunch of grass around the back of the houses to fill in the blank spots on the grass. And of course we have the path running all the way along the middle connecting the two houses. Oh, and the bees are happy. Look at him, he's so cute. But this has completely transformed the area up top here. I think we've done really well. But the next step I'm going to do may be one of the most painful ones. I want to get all of our villagers out of the pit from underground and release them into the village to live their own little happy lives. Okay, I'm going to dismantle this villager breeder, then we'll get the wall all patched up and release the prisoners out of the pit. And that is the wall just about done. Now we just need to think of a stress-free way to get these villagers out of the pit and into the village. So I think the best way to do that would just be to create a small tunnel. Then we can just put a little hole in the wall here and hopefully this should just walk straight on over. Alright, let's test this theory. Alright everyone, you are officially free. No, really, yeah, you're free to go. No tricks, just a free ticket out of here. Alright, come on gents, one at a time. There you go. And we officially have a village full of villagers. Look at this. He's literally jumping for joy. Oh, this is actually really cool. This place feels so alive now. Not gonna lie, the noises are kind of irritating, but we can forget about that. As long as our villagers are happy, we're happy. What the hell is going on in here? Whatever, okay, you guys just you guys enjoy yourselves. It's your life. Since you've stuck with me through the whole episode, I want you to give your suggestions to name this village, and I'll pick the best in the next episode. And just to finish up, I added a few extra details to fill in some empty spots. And our village is finally complete. I'm going to walk around and take it all in. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode. In this video, I'm building the ultimate underground storage base, equipped with fully functional rooms to help me survive in Minecraft Hardcore. And I want to make sure that we build this thing nice and close to our house. So yeah, I'm thinking maybe somewhere around this spot for the entrance. Everything is a nice distance away, but it's still close enough that it's not too far. And I'm just going to dig down nice and far so we've got plenty room to work with here. And yeah, I think something like that should be far enough. And I've gone ahead and just made a small little base here that we can work from, because I am planning on taking this wall back and just building a giant 50 by 50 room. But I've got to dig it out first. So let's get it done. And I give up. This is a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be. So this is just one tiny section here, and it's going to go all the way back there. I'm going to have to dig out all of the stone in the middle, and then I want to dig up, I don't know, 10 to 15 layers above this as well. I desperately need to speed this up. So the best thing I can think of right now is to get a beacon. Now we did build our iron farm last episode, so if we just have a mosey on over and check inside, let's see what we've got. We got a pretty good amount here. So I'm just going to craft all of these into blocks of iron. Yeah, we have almost 6 stacks now of iron blocks. That is definitely enough for a beacon, but to complete that beacon, we're going to need a nether star, which unfortunately means heading back into the nether because we need to find a nether fortress to get wither skeleton skulls. Oh, this is going to be a long one. Let's just find a fortress and get this over with. All right, I am just about coming up on one now, but this has not been a nice journey. I mean, look where we are right now. One bad move and it is game over. Bye-bye world forever. So as you can imagine, I am taking this extremely slowly right now. And I've made it. My underpants are a little bit heavier than they were 5 minutes ago, but if we want to beacon, this is just the kind of rubbish we have to put ourselves through. All right, we got some blaze on us. You know what? We're just going to ignore you because what we're really after are wither skeletons, and here's one here. All right, we didn't get a wither skeleton head, but that's to be expected. All right, second time's a charm. And we got nothing. All right, this is probably going to take a while. I'll see you in a second. Oh, and that's 3. My God, that took forever. But that's finally over, so let's get home. All right, now hopefully we never have to go back into the nether ever again. Anyway, I now have everything that I need to spawn the wither, but this world is way too beautiful to fight this thing above ground. We don't want it blowing everything up. So I'm going to be a complete coward about it and head underground to find a nice safe tunnel to do this in. And I can never quite remember how to do this, but I think it's like a T shape like this. Okay, yep, that looks about right. And we'll place the skulls on the front here. Alright, maybe not. But if they don't go on the front, they definitely go on the top. Oh! Move! This should be fun. Is this a problem? He's kind of got stuck. Alright, you know what? Not ideal, but it's going to work. Oh, there we go. That's what we wanted. And bada bing, bada bum. We have a... what do you call this? A nether star. All right, let's get back upstairs and craft this beacon. And I've got to be honest, I am very excited to do this. And there we go, our very first beacon. What do you think, Chestnut? Pretty exciting, right? He doesn't care. But we're not finished just yet. We still need to construct this thing. So I'm just going to yoink all of the iron we picked up earlier and head back into our hole where we can make a space for this thing. All right, I've got my little 9x9 hole, which should be enough room for this beacon. So time for the fun part. Just got to go around and actually construct the pyramid. Okay, so primary power, we're going to select haste, and secondary power, we're going to select haste too, of course we are. All right, let's get up into position. Oh my God, that's so good. I'm a very happy guy right now. Okay, so that is finally working. I'm going to get to work and dig out this entire space ready for our storage room. And while I'm digging, don't forget to subscribe and like the video. It really helps. Okay. I'll admit, we may have took this a little bit too far. This thing is absolutely massive. Even with the beacon, this thing took several hours, and we need to fill all of this in with chests. I don't even think there's enough wood in the world to do this, but it's done now. That's the big part out of the way, so it's time to finally move on. So I've come back over to my lovely trading village because I need to buy some new enchantments so that we can make a second diamond axe, because we have to gather a lot of wood to create all of our chests for the storage room. This is probably going to take a while. Oh well, it ain't gonna chop itself. I think I may have just committed a crime against nature here. This was once a beautiful forest. In fact, this was the beautiful forest that we spawned in, and it's gone now. But on the plus side, look at all this wood. And look, the best part about this is that we can just replant them again. All right, now before we head back down into the hole, I have something that I am very excited to show you. So I've downloaded another mod, and this one is called the woodcutter. Look at that. Now this thing works super similar to a typical stone cutter. It gives us everything that can be made out of wood on quick access. access. That means no messing on with slabs, no messing on with sticks, none of that rubbish. It is going to save us so much time. Now, I've got some barrels here, and I'm just going to mark out a 5 wide space, and this will kind of act as the frame for where all of the chests are going to go. So it'll look something like that. Now, of course, this is only one section, but I'm going to have it all the way around this room. So for every 5 spaces, I'm just going to put a barrel down like this, and that'll give us a nice outline for the layout, and I'm sure everything is going to become a lot easier after that. Alright, so I have got the general outline in, and looking pretty solid so far, but what I am yet to decide is how high I want these chests to stack. But this is one of them projects where I kind of want to build a storage room and never have to expand it. So this is probably a little bit overkill, but I'm thinking, how about we go up by an extra 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Maybe? So it'll be 6 double chests times by 5. That's going to be 30 double chests per section. Okay, I've done a quick count, and I think we've got 27 sections here. So 27 times 30 is 810. And yes, I did use a calculator for that. So 810 double chests. You know what? That is so stupid that I'm actually completely on board with it. Right, this may take a while. Time for another time lapse. I don't think I've ever seen this many chests in one place on Minecraft before, but there's no way I'm going to remember which item's in which box, so I'm going to have to label these things with some item frames. But of course for that we need a lot of leather, so I've grabbed a bunch of materials here, so we are going to go up to the surface and create our first cow crammer. But before we do that, last episode I asked you all to name our new farming district, and I really liked Helper Hill, so that's what we'll call it. Anyway, back to the cow crammer. Hello ladies, I know it's been quite some time since I popped over this side of the island. Hope you're all doing well, but it's your unlucky day. Some of you are getting downgraded from the nice free-range animal pen to a horrible 1x1 square forever. But these things are simple enough to make, and I think we may as well just build it right in the middle of the cow pen here. So all we've got to do is stick a barrel down here, get a hopper attached to that, add some upside down stairs over the barrel, make a little zone they can't jump out of, and that's it. All we've got to do is get some suckers inside of this thing. Alright, now for the last bit, we'll just cover this up with a fence, add a little bit of water in there, and that's done. But this is going to take a little while to start producing leather. So I'm just going to grab a few bits off the cows here, then we can head back down to our storage room, just so I can create a couple of item frames to get a nice little template in. So we'll put stone on this one, and we'll put cobblestone on this one. Alright, it's time to decorate around the chests, but I want to keep it simple. So all I'm going to do is take some oak wood, and we'll go all the way to the top here like this, and then what I can do is bring it up by one more and have a strip of oak logs just going across the top here like this. So that gives us a nice general shape, and you can see the chests are all kind of sat inside nicely now. But of course we aren't just going to leave it like a big rectangle. So all I'm going to do is take some spruce stairs, pop them in the corners like this, and then we can add some spruce trapdoors on both ends of the stairs. And just look at the difference that makes. It creates a nice little archway, which in my opinion looks a lot more interesting than just the regular old box. But I do think we can add some more to this. So I think what I'll do at the top here is add another log on each corner, then we can add some oak stairs underneath this, and then we can just repeat what we've got here but using oak instead of spruce. And you know what, I'm actually going to add some oak trapdoors underneath this part too, and then for a little bit of extra detail we'll just pop a stone button at the top here on those corners like that. And there we go. I think that works really nicely. I'm going to go around and get all of the rest of these filled in with the same design, and let's start making some progress. And so far, I am really happy with how this looks. But I did have an idea while I was building this. So what I'm thinking is the center section of each row should be its own unique thing. So let's just empty out these middle sections, even though we just filled them up with chests. And I can already tell this is a good idea because it just instantly breaks up the giant walls of chests. But of course, we need to decide what we're actually going to put in these sections. And I think I've already got my ideas. So the one directly in front of the entrance here, I think we should have as a giant map wall. And then I think over here to the left, we could definitely do with a giant nether portal. And finally over here, something that this world is absolutely desperate for is a super smelter. So that's it, our 3 new sections, which I think is going to add so much more personality to this room. But they will have to wait until later, because I want to build some different things in here. And something I really want to get done is the top floor. I am going to make it all out of wood again, so I'm going to head back up to the surface, because we need to decimate another forest. But for once, I'm actually going to change things up. Oh, I fell in the hole. Oh, It's the old villager pit. And we've still got a villager in here. What are you doing in here, my friend? Go on, my friend, you can be free. If you can find your way to the village, you can live there. But why do I have a feeling you're just going to stay out here and get killed by a zombie? Oh well, anyway, like I was saying, I am going to change it up a little bit with the wood that we're going to use. I feel like we're maybe going a bit too heavy on the oak. So I'm going to grab as much birch wood as I can. And thankfully with this tree chopping mod, shouldn't take too long. And then we'll get started on the upper section of the storage room. I'm basically just going to do a fairly similar design to this on the top level. But before we do that, I am going to craft a load of spruce slabs because of course we're actually going to need a floor up here, and we're going to need a floor that is made out of half blocks. That way when we put them above the chests here like this, we can still open them. And this is where the birch wood is going to stand on. But of course we are going to get that stripped, and I don't have the materials for it yet. But what I'm thinking is, instead of chests, because we've quite clearly got enough of them, I'm thinking a nice library up here. So we'll maybe put some barrels across here, and then on the back block we can have a load of bookshelves. And you know what, I wouldn't mind getting one of those kind of arches in again on this top one here. So I guess that would just mean running an oak log across the top here like this. And then yeah, I can probably just go for something similar like this. And I think same again on the corners here, we'll just bring the oak out like that. And I tell you what, why don't we just double up on the little spruce arch here. Like that. Okay, yeah, that is looking pretty good. But of course, I can't get the rest of it built until we put the floor in. So I'm just going to go around the top here and get all of these spruce half slabs put in. And that's definitely going to make my life a lot easier up here. It is all slowly starting to come together. But if I am to replicate all of this, I'm going to need a lot more spruce wood. Because right now, I have a total of 32 logs to my name. But I do have my little podzol patch over here. So I'm just going to plant some saplings for a little bit, get them all bone mealed up, and use our lovely tree chopping mod to instantly get the wood. Alright, I've grabbed a bunch of spruce. I've even went ahead and got a load more birch logs. So I think it's time to get the outline of this top part done, which means time for another time lapse. You know, I always look at these things and expect them to take so much longer than they actually do, but this thing is flying up. It's looking good though, I really like it. Definitely breaks the bottom section up nicely, but we're left with these kind of big, chunky stone corners here, and I think once we change those out, this place is going to look a whole lot better. So I'm going to head back up to the surface. Oh, lovely fresh air. And I'm going to travel over to this beach in the distance, because I really want to get some sandstone in that underground build, and I think those chunky corners are the perfect excuse for it. Alright, looks like I've got 5.5 stacks, that should be enough. So I'm going to head back down into our hole, and if I just grab some cobblestone out of our chest, I can craft a bunch of furnaces, grab a load of coal, and get all of this sand smelted up into sandstone. Hang on, wait a second, what am I doing? This makes glass. Am I stupid? What am I actually playing at? So how do you make sandstone? Oh my god, it's literally just craftable like that. And we've only got 56. That's not going to be enough. Okay, back to digging. Alright, that's definitely made top 10 dumbest things to ever happen in Minecraft. You wouldn't think I've been playing this game on and off for about 10 years, would you? But I've got 2 stacks now, so I'm just going to remove the front layer here like this, and then I can just go ahead and replace this all with sandstone. That looks nice. That kind of goes really well with the birch wood, doesn't it? Alright, cool. I'm going to get the rest of these corners filled in. Alrighty, and that is all done, and I really like it. It's pretty cool. But we should probably get these sections filled in now. And I am going to go with a library up here, so this is all going to be full of bookshelves. But yep, you guessed it, we don't have any books. But that's okay, because what we do have all the way in the distance over there is a trading village, and I have a lot of villagers that can sell me books, but they're not going to give me them for free. So I'm going to head over to our sugarcane and bamboo farm here and grab all the sugarcane that I can. Although I can't carry it all in one go, so that's going to get a little bit annoying. It's going to be quite a few back and forth trips here, and to be honest, the inconvenience of this is kind of making me realize I'm getting a little bit desperate for shulker boxes, because all of these trips back and forth between villages and farming districts, it really adds up. I mean, just take now for instance, I couldn't find my boat, so I've had to swim all the way across here to our village, and this whole trip from our sugarcane farm has probably taken about 2 minutes. And of course, multiply that by however many times we need to come here, and we are looking at quite a lot of wasted time. And you know what, after all that yapping, I think I've just convinced myself that we need an Elytra and shulker boxes. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Now I've placed place all the sugarcane in here for now. We'll come back to this. I need to prep for a dragon fight. And you know what? While we're in our trading village, I may as well get equipped with a proper bow. Now, I did just pick up some string, so I can craft this straight away. And this wasn't the intention with this sugarcane, but I'm actually going to take it, turn it all into paper, grab as many emeralds as we can. And with those emeralds, I'm going to buy Infinity, Unbreaking 3, and Flame. But before I put those enchantments on the bow, I'm going to head over to our enchanting station and see if I can get any extra on this thing. And I do always love an excuse to come back to our farming island. Oh, I just remembered I need lapis. See, this is exactly why I need an elytra. I'm going to have to head all the way over to our village and then back to our house, which again is just going to take up so much more time than it needs to. All right, lapis acquired. Let's see what we get here. Oh, okay. Looks like I was going to get infinity anyway. Maybe I should have done this first. Oh, power 4. I completely forgot about power. All right, you know what? That is actually perfect. Okay, and let's just put the rest of the enchantments on this thing. Unbreaking 3, and we've got flame. You know what? That is a pretty good bow. All right, now all I've got to do is head back to the nether where I can kill some blaze, grab a bunch of blaze rods, then hopefully find a bunch of endermen in a warped forest, murder a bunch of the locals to grab some pearls, and we do also have a bunch down here because they've been spawning in this big space, but I'm going to craft these rods into blaze powder now, and then we can combine all of them to create Eyes of Ender, and I think 18 should definitely be enough to get us there. But there is just one last thing we need to do before then. We need to stay up through the night and find as many creepers as possible, because if we're going to get an elytra, we're going to need gunpowder to use it. Alright, I basically had to jump back downstairs to take cover from all the mobs up there, but I've managed to get 27 gunpowder, which I think is pretty solid. And bada bing, bada boom, we have firework rockets. That's going to enable us to fly off the elytra, which means we are finally ready to get going. Alright, fully prepared. It's time to throw the first Eye of Ender and find out where this stronghold's located. So let's go. Oh, okay, looks like we're to the left. This is probably going to be quite a long journey, but let the adventure begin. Okay, so I've got a little bit of a hunch that if we throw one now, we're going to have to turn around, and I hope that's the case. It is! Alright, cool. Looks like it is somewhere under this forest. I'm going to come to maybe the middle section here and throw another one. Alright, let's see. Does this turn us around again? Oh! It's directly under us. Alright, let's just dig straight down. Oh, okay. It looks like we're into the library. Wait, this is perfect. We literally need books for our own library at home. Alright, I need to make space in my inventory for this stuff. Oh no, I left my Silk Touch axe at home. Alright, you know what? Never mind. We'll just do it very, very slowly with our Silk Touch pickaxe instead. And a very long time later, that is all done. It's kind of crazy. I've never seen a stronghold library emptied like this. But we got a buttload of books. I got 3.5 stacks, which is definitely going to save me some time back at the base. But enough of that. It is finally time to find ourselves the portal room. And I've got to be honest, I usually hate doing this. It takes so long. Oh boy, I am just hitting dead end after dead end here. Any luck? Nope, another dead end. I think I'm just going to keep heading down. That's usually a good thing to do, right? Alright, you know what? This has taken a very long time. So I'm going to keep searching for this portal room and I'll bring you back when we found it. And after way too long, I have finally found it. Let's just get rid of that real quick. Okay, it's nice and safe. But the good news is while looking for this thing, we did find another library. And I've managed to get so many more bookshelves. But let's have a look. We have been left with 3 Eyes of Ender in the portal already. So I'm just going to get the rest in here like this. And there we go. Our Elytra and shulker boxes await. Okay, let's do this. And there she is. Hello, dragon. Sorry to barge into your home like this, but I'm gonna have to destroy all of your pillars. Alright, pillars down. Let's slay this dragon. Come on, almost got it. Yes, we've done it. Grab all my XP. Thank you very much. And of course, we can't forget the dragon egg, so let's just pick that up. Alright, anyway, that is the easy bit out of the way. It is time for the hard part. We now need to go through that portal over there and hunt for some shulker boxes and an elytra. And this is probably the only thing I hate more than the nether. Crouching over the void like this in hardcore is not a nice feeling. And then let's just throw a pearl from here. Okay, nice. We are on a platform miles away from anything. Okay, lovely. I'm trying to think, what is the safest way to go? It's probably across here, right? If we just hop over those islands. Yeah, let's do that. Alright, gonna have to pillar out again. Feels absolutely awful, but can't be avoided. Oh, that guy just fell off. Oh, hang on. Right on the edge of our render distance, there's a city. You can kind of just see the edge of it glistening. Oh boy, I'm getting excited now. We are so close. Now, we won't be able to get an Elytra from this because it doesn't have a floating ship on the side of it like they usually do. But I don't really care. I'm still going to be able to get shulker boxes. And once we've got them, we can find a different city for an Elytra. Right, come here, you little devils. Shulker shells, yes. Oh, they're so beautiful. And there we go, our very first shulker box. Oh, that's so nice. Get all of this rubbish out of my inventory. Oh, and what is that I see in the distance? Another city? But the question is, does this one have a ship? Oh, it does. All right, come on. Straight under the butt. Let's go. Oh, and there she is, the Elytra. Get rid of this idiot. Oh, how I've longed for you. Now, before we do anything else, let's get an anvil down and let's enchant this thing from Breaking 3 and Mending. And you know what? To celebrate such a huge step, I'm going to let you guys decide the name of my Elytra. So drop a comment down below and I'll pick the best one in the next episode. Alright, here we go. Let's swap this out for the chest piece. Let's get to the highest point we can. And yeah, let's fly. Oh, that's so good. We're at almost 800 days in this world, and walking around for that entire time has been an absolute slog. Now, this will put Chestnut out of a job, but I'm sure he'll enjoy the retirement. Anyway, I'm going to grab a few more shulker shells, and then let's head back home. And that's it, we're home already, but how cool does all this look from the sky? Alright, that's enough excitement. Let's go home, where we can go to sleep, and tomorrow we'll get right back on track of what we were doing before we went to the end. Alright, now before the sidetrack, we were working on getting these bookshelves up into the top section here. So I'm going to get as many of these filled in as I can, and we'll see how much more we've got left before we have to start trading. We've got one empty section on the back here, but that is covered over 3/4 just from what we found in those 2 libraries. But I've done the maths here and we need just over 2 stacks of bookshelves. So I'm going to craft a bunch more shulker boxes. I think 5 should do. Then we can head up top and return to our sugarcane farm. Alright, let's get one of these placed down and just yoink everything we can and put it into here. Now let's just fly on over to our trading village. Hello, gentlemen. I heard you guys are selling bookshelves. Alright, I'm gonna get trading. I'll see you in a sec. Okay, I have just under 2.5 stacks. So I'm just gonna fly over back to our storage room and let's just pray that I actually got my maths right and fill the rest of this in. And to my own surprise, I actually did get my maths right. I'm quite impressed with myself. But look at this. This is looking so nice now. Oh, but you know what? I've just remembered something. I wanted to make the outside of this walkway lecterns for like a nice railing. So I actually need to trade for a lot more bookshelves. And to be honest, I kind of have something planned with the bottom floor, which is going to require a bunch of lecterns as well. I guess we're going back to the village. But at least we're saving time on our trips with this Elytra. Anyway, let's get the last of these bookshelves. And all I'm going to do now is just place these lecterns facing forward. And then what I can do is take a spruce trapdoor and just have a nice layer on top of the lecterns like this. Oh, and you know what? I am super happy with that. It's kind of brought the top and bottom layers together, hasn't it? But one thing that I'm not really keen on while I'm walking along here is how this oak wood kind of sticks out along the edge. But that is a very easy fix. So all I'm thinking we do is head over to our farming district where we can come to our sheep farm. And yep, you've probably guessed it by now, but I'm going to make a load of carpet. And I do really like red carpet, so this guy's coming in clutch. Anyway, carpet acquired, let's get to it. Alright, yeah, that is so much better. It feels really cozy up here now with the railing in and the carpet. Now, I want to make sure that every part of this storage room is functional. And that includes these top bookshelves here too. But what I'm thinking is every so often, in some of these sections, we'll replace a normal bookshelf with a chiseled bookshelf. And then that can be a place to keep our enchanted books. So I've got an Unbreaking 3 here, which we can slot in there. Then just imagine this is full and we've got a little sign above it saying Unbreaking. We can just come over to our bookshelves, pop it out, and that's it. So we'll have like a main enchantment in each section of the bookshelves. But of course, I don't have anywhere near enough enchantments for that, so that'll be later on in the world when we've got a bit more of a stockpile. But now it's time to put all of these spare lecterns to use. What I would actually like to do is dig out this entire middle section and have some stairs going downwards into farming areas. So what I'm going to do is craft up a few barrels, and then I'm going to make sure that we're lined up with these pillars and place some barrels down, just like this. So this is going to act as an outline for the middle section that I'm going to dig out. And this is where the extra lecterns come in handy. I'm just going to use the lecterns to fill in the gaps between the barrels, and then we'll be left with another railing section, just like on the top floor there, to separate the ground floor from the middle section. And hopefully you can visualize what I'm talking about a bit easier now, but I am happy with how this has turned out. So really all I've got left to do now is dig out this centerpiece. Let's do it. And if you're still watching, prove it and comment the word peanuts. That is a pretty big hole. A lot bigger than I was expecting as well. Sometimes I just get carried away and I can't help myself. But of course we are going to have to fill it in. And I think it makes sense to just start with the stairs. So I'm just going to come over to our trusty woodcutter here. And you know what? I'm actually thinking a mixture. I'm going to get a load of spruce stairs and I'm also going to get a load of oak stairs as well. Okay, now I think what we'll do is just raise the ground up by one first. And then what I'm thinking is we'll remove this stone here, place a spruce stair on there, do the same on the other side, and then we can have the middle section here oak stairs instead. And okay, yeah, I think that looks pretty nice. But I do kind of want to frame it nicely, so what I'm thinking is we'll just come to the corners here and we'll stack all the way up with some oak logs like that. Do the same on the other side. Yeah, something like that. I think it looks a lot better. Alright, cool, that's one staircase in. Let's get the other three sorted. So this is looking really nice so far, and you can kind of see these big squares on each corner. That's where I want to put the farmlands. Now we don't really want to go straight from spruce into farmland, so I've grabbed some cobblestone and I just want to go around the edges here like this, and then that's going to act as like a nice frame. And I've also went ahead and grabbed some glowstone that we can just put as a little 2x2 in the middle here, and that should be enough light for all of the crops. And I'm just going to head back over to our home island so I can grab a load of wheat seeds to plant in our storage room. Oh, and I just realized I forgot to feed all the cows. Bro, this is going to take so long. Alright, really need to stay on top of that if I want all my item frames. Alright, I've got plenty wheat seeds now. I just need to grab a bunch of dirt for our farmland, and then I'll go plant all my crops. Alright, so I did run into a little bit of an issue here, and that is the fact that this glowstone here wasn't actually enough to light all of the crops adequately. So I've had to kind of spam torches everywhere, which is very ugly, so we're going to have to do something about that. But I think we'll just leave that for a little bit. But yeah, anyway, that is one section done, but we still have to do something about these walls behind them, because right now they're kind of ugly. But luckily we've still got our beacon up, so at least removing them isn't going to take long. And I'm just going to craft some spruce planks, and we can just run that along the top here like this. But we should probably have something different underneath it. And when I'm looking around this storage room, I quite like those little sandstone accents at the top there. So I'm just going to head over this direction, because I think there's a beach on the other side of this hill. And I'm hoping if we go far enough under this, we should get some sandstone. Oh, that is literally sandstone. Okay, cool. Alright, I'm going to grab a load of this and then we'll head back. I'm just going to start by running normal sandstone along the bottom here like this. And I've actually gone and crafted some cut sandstone too, which I don't usually use. But I think that would look nice if we put it along here. And then I guess we can just cover the top in here with normal sandstone again. Oh, but actually, I'm going to try something else. Yeah, you know what? I think I prefer that. Alright, let's get the rest of these in. Big fan of this. And just like we thought, it does go nicely with the sandstone in the top corners there. And I definitely went a little bit overkill on resources. I thought it was going to need a lot more. But hey, that's okay, because we've got a storage room now, so I can just dump all this into here. But I think now I want to add something along these cobblestone outlines, which means we're going to have to get rid of the torches, which means the crops aren't going to grow properly. So I'm going to make a quick trip back over to the iron farm, grab a bunch of iron, head back to our storage room, and craft a bunch of lanterns. That way we can just put one on every barrel here like this, and that should mean we can just safely remove these torches now without any of these crops popping out of the dirt. Oh, but hey, that's looking loads tidier. Yeah, I really like those lanterns. Alright, anyway, I'm going to come over to our woodcutter and craft a load of spruce fence gates. Then all I'm going to do is connect the barrels up like this, and then we should have a nice enclosed farming area, which by the way is starting to grow. Look at that. We got a full crop already. And I've also decided we're going to do something very cool in the corners of these farm areas here. I basically want to put a big 2x2 quartz pillar going all the way up into the ceiling. We'll have one pillar in each corner, and then about halfway up the room we'll connect them with a nice archway. But that is going to take a lot of quartz. A lot of quartz that I don't have, unfortunately. So it's time to go back to my least favorite place in Minecraft, the Nether. I'm sure this will be fun as always. And after half an hour of digging, I think we've got enough. So what I'm going to do is just come into the inner corners of each farming section here. And I think all I really want to do is a simple 2x2 right in the corner here. And we're just going to build this fairly high. It's not going to go all the way to the ceiling, but it's going to get pretty close. Alright, not bad. Not bad at all. This is going to look so good when it's finished. But I did mention earlier that I kind of want to connect them with an archway. And I don't want it to be too thick. So I'm probably going to make it out of slabs, and I think smooth quartz slabs are going to be the block we're after. So I'm just going to line some furnaces up here, and this should definitely speed things along a little bit. And if anything, this is just clear justification that we need our super smelter built ASAP. But while this is smelting, I'm actually going to go back up to the surface because I want some trapdoors on those archways too. And I think pale oak wood will be a great addition. The only problem is I can't remember where I put the pale oak saplings. I know they're around here somewhere because we used them last episode, but it could be anywhere. But you know what? This is exactly why we're building a storage room right now, because I just have boxes of junk scattered all over this world, and it takes absolutely ages to actually find anything that I need to use, which I know is completely my own fault. Like, why do we have the ender dragon head in a random barrel in the sugarcane farm? Feel free to judge me, I deserve it. Alright, maybe I'm just being an idiot, which is definitely a possibility, but I have checked literally every single chest and every single barrel across my village over there, my home base, and the farming district, and I cannot find these pale oak saplings anywhere. But you know what? That is exactly why we've got an Elytra now. I already know where a pale garden's located, so we're just going to fly on over there instead. Oh, and I think we're coming up on it right now. Oh, this place looks so crazy at nighttime too, but I think that's it over there. It's going to fly up here real quick. Oh, that's a creaking. Alright, maybe not. Alright, well, we got a tree chopping mod, so should be able to get in here pretty quick. Ugh, this thing's creepy. Gimme, 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 gimme. I have no idea if we picked any saplings up there. Oh, we did. We got 5. Nice. That was a little bit scary, but we're going to go in for a second run because I would like to get a little bit more than 5. Let's try this. All right, we got 15 pale oak saplings. That'll definitely be enough for a nice little farm at home. Well, I was going to plant some pale oak saplings, but to be honest, I think we probably picked up enough wood there. And it looks like all of this is just about finished smelting, so we should be able to get going. All right, I've got a bunch of smooth quartz slabs, smooth quartz stairs, and pale oak trapdoors. Let's build these archways. Oh, this has totally changed the area, man. Have a look at this. It's so good. But of course, it is looking a little bit strange having them just cut off so far below the ceiling there. And I was kind of saving the ceiling until last, but basically I'm going to split it into 2 sections. We're going to have a ceiling in the middle part here, and then we'll have a separate ceiling a little bit higher on the outside. But I think I want to work on getting the outline of that middle ceiling in and at least getting the pillars up a little bit higher and connected properly. And we are going to need wood for that. So I'm going to grab some spruce saplings out of this chest, yoink all this bone meal, and then I just want to grab a few giant trees worth of wood, and I'm just going to head back over to our local forest where we can just go ahead and grab a bunch of oak wood as well. And I've crafted some spruce stairs and spruce trapdoors, so let's get up here and see what we can do with them. What I'm actually going to do is bring these pillars up a little bit more, but use stone blocks instead, because what I want to do is kind of make it look as if the pillars are going all the way up into the ceiling, but I want to try and mask it with some trapdoors and some spruce stairs. And obviously it's not worth wasting any pillars if it's just going to be hidden. But yeah, let's just continue this on each side like this. All right, that's looking cool. You can kind of see how I just want the pillar to kind of branch out a little bit at the top, which of course means we're going to need some blocks on top of these stairs as well. And I am feeling some good old spruce logs, and of course we'll get those all stripped. And actually, how about we mix it up a little bit? We put some oak logs on top of that as well. All right, let's see. How's that looking? That's actually quite nice. Yeah, I really like that design. So I'm going to go ahead and just get that same thing replicated on all 4 corners. And while I was putting these in, I was thinking, why overcomplicate things? So all I'm going to do is bring these oak logs out like this, and then we'll just follow it all the way along the ceiling until eventually we meet up with one of the other sections here like this. And let's just double up here with some spruce wood. So I think this is starting to look a lot better now that it's all connected up. And I've decided to section it off into 2 different compartments, which is why we've got that nice spruce beam running down the middle there. Although, let's be honest, it's a bit dark up there. But when I was in the Nether earlier, I did actually use my brain for once. That's right, I seen this coming, and I collected a bunch of glowstone. And I think it would look great up there. I've also grabbed all of this wood, so why don't we go ahead and build this entire ceiling. hold on a second, we may have just made a banger. This is hands down the coolest ceiling I've ever built in Minecraft. The only thing that's bugging me is this beacon's now completely in the wrong place. I'm not going to bother fixing it yet, but at some point before the end of the episode, we're going to have it right here so it goes up directly into the center there. But okay, now that that is done, I feel like this part of the ceiling just has to get filled in now too. So I'm going to head back up to the surface again, and we're going to go somewhere that I haven't been in quite a while. We're going to travel along this river and pay a visit to this dark oak forest. We haven't used any dark oak yet, and I think it's going to be a great addition to the storage room. Alright, let's finish this ceiling. And it's done. That is basically the hardest part of the build complete, and I'm really happy with it. But we're kind of onto the easy parts now. I think now would be the perfect time to start filling in these sections here. And we may as well start with the easiest one, which is going to be in Nether portal. And there's no point doing a small one. I wanted the entire size of this thing here. But you guessed it, we don't have any obsidian. So I'm just going to fly around until I find a lava pool. And I think I can spot one down there. Let's just safely land this thing, and we can just drop our bucket of water right on top of that. I'm going to grab as much of this as I can, and then we'll get building that portal. So like I said, I want this as big as it could possibly be. Now unfortunately we can't break into the wood there, otherwise that'll affect the floor of the upstairs, but we can bring it all the way around and down here. And yeah, that's a pretty big portal. The only problem is I don't actually think I have any flint to light this thing with. I guess we are nearly 800 days into this world and don't have a single bit of flint to our name. Surely we've got some flint in the house. Okay, maybe we don't. Not a single bit of flint. And I feel like everybody is just starting to see how bad my storage has been. Again, this is exactly why we're making the storage room today. Oh, flint. Nice. And now we can actually light this thing. And I'll just add some spruce stairs at the bottom here like that. Oh, actually, hold on a second. I think we're using half slabs at the top here, aren't we? Oh, okay. Nice. We can actually make it taller. We can just put carpet over the top layer. All right, let's break this. And then, yeah, let's just bring this up by one extra level here. Put the carpet back across the top. Nice. That looks so much better now without the dumb bit of obsidian at the top. And that means we're ready to move on to something else here. And I think the super smelter will be next up. Now, it goes completely without saying why I'm so excited to have a super smelter in this world. I mean, just take one look over here and you can probably guess why. And the best part is these things are just so easy to build. I'm just going to knock some space in the wall here and we'll get started. And that should just about do it. I've made a nice long tunnel down here, which is where we're going to store all of our furnaces. And at the front here, I've hollowed out a nice space and I've left it wide enough so we can have a little bit of extra storage. Not that we need any, but yeah, this should be more than enough room. But okay, it is time to make an absolute buttload of furnaces. So let's just run these all the way along to the end. Then we just have to run some furnaces along the bottom here, as well as across the top. Alright, now for the only hard bit of this thing. We need to find enough gold to create powered rails that'll go all the way along this thing. And right now I have absolutely zero. Time for a mining trip. Alright, I got 2.5 stacks of raw gold now. I think that should be enough. Okay, and let's get these all crafted into powered rails. Oh, I still need gold ingots. I still need to smelt these things. Ah, this is exactly why we need this super smelter right now. Okay, tell you what, while we're waiting for all of those things to smelt up, we may as well get cracking with this. We still need another layer of hoppers on top of these furnaces here. And let's just remove these center blocks here. And then we can just go ahead and put a double chest in here and run some hoppers into the back of it there. And then this can be our collection system, which is already working apparently, and it looks like all of our furnaces are finished cooking. So let's see how many powered rails we can get out of this. Alright, 2.5 stacks, that is definitely enough. Alright, now it is finally time to get the rails in here, and I've just crafted some levers so that the powered rails have, well, power. So unless I've built this thing wrong, it should be working. So let's test it out. We're going to make our minecart with chests. Let's place one here and let's place the other one here. And off they go. Look at that. Oh, that feels good. Ladies and gents, we have a super smelter. But of course we're going to have to decorate it a little bit, aren't we? I think I'm going to call this complete now. I am so happy with how this has turned out. But alright, that is a success. It's time to move on to the next project. And the final section that we have to create is the map wall. And I'm really looking forward to this one. So let's just remove this. And I think I want to create this wall out of smooth sandstone. And I think we'll even run some spruce stairs along the front here like this. And that's basically it. We're just going to put the map on top of this thing. Now we will need a little bit of space in the corners here, so I'm going to have to remove these trapdoors. That gives us a giant 5x4 area that we're going to be able to put our map on. But we're also going to need item frames to hang the map. But I don't think our cow farm is producing any leather yet. No, not even close. Well, I don't really want to kill the guys in the pen, so I guess I'm just going to have to go hunting for some leather instead. And looks like we got some right here. Alright, leather in the middle, sticks around the outside, and there we go. We now have 20 item frames. So I'm just going to hang these in each square of our wall over here. And alright, let's craft up these maps. So first of all, we're going to need 20 compasses. Oh, we need paper. Of course we do. But that's okay. I do love an excuse to go to one of our farms. And yoink, now we can make 20 empty maps. So I'm going to get into the middle of this island here, and we will create our very first map. And looking good. Let's go place this on the wall. Okay, now because of the way this is laid out, we don't really have a center block, so I guess we just put it there, right? Because then we'll have the coastline on the top row here like this. Alright, let's get the rest of these squares filled in. Time for a map making montage. Alright, it's official. This is my favorite thing in our entire world so far. I have always wanted a map wall in Minecraft, but for some reason I've just never built one. And I think this is the perfect world to do it in because I've got such massive plans for this entire area. But now that's complete, we're essentially done with all of our little compartments. Oh, who's he? Sorry sir, unless you're paying rent, you're not allowed in here. We don't need him moving blocks around. But anyway, we are kind of getting into the home stretch now. And one thing that absolutely needs sorting out is this floor. But this is going to be nice and easy. I'm just going to take all of our oak logs and turn them into planks. And then I'm just going to remove one layer around the outside here and then get that all filled in with the oak planks. But then I'm going to skip 2 blocks and I'm going to do it again here. And the reason I'm skipping this is because we're going to put red carpet on it instead of wood. Alright, let's get this layer sorted. And I'm just making one last trip over to our sheep farm here, where for the last few days I've been trying to stockpile red wool. Alright, I think that should definitely be enough. So I'm just going to go ahead and fill this entire room with carpet. Look how much cozier it is now. I love it. Oh, and actually, I've just realized I missed out these little bits here near the stairs. But there we go. All done. Oh, and also, let me show you this real quick. I did add in some oak fence gates just running along the top of the stairs here. And I think it looks really nice. It's just a little bit of extra detail, but it goes a long way. I mean, just look at this place, man. It's looking insane. But it's not done. We've still got a few finishing touches to make. And this one I am probably most excited about. Now, I mentioned earlier that I've kept some spare glowstone, and that's because I want to make a load of redstone lamps. Oh, sorry, I told your friend the same thing. If you're not paying rent, you can't stay here. But anyway, what I want to do is just come to the bottom of each chest section here and remove a couple layers of stone. Then I'm just going to place 2 redstone torches down like that, and we should be able to just run redstone lamps all the way across, which will light the bottom of the chests up. And I think that looks amazing. So yeah, I'm just going to go around each section and get these all filled in. Alright, I am absolutely loving the lights. This is exactly what I was hoping for. Just gives off such like a nice ambience, doesn't it? Especially when you're looking at chests from a distance too. I love seeing the light just rise up from the bottom there. Oh, and also, I don't know if you can notice, but I've gone around and replaced the stone that was originally behind the chest with spruce wood. Oh, hang on, you can actually see that I forgot to do them on this one, but that's a good example. Look, we've got the spruce wood on there, and then we've got the stone on this one. Quite a subtle difference, but I like it. And also, I did finally move the beacon. We've now got it right in the middle of the storage room, and I've placed some red stained glass in there to match the carpet, which of course changes the colour of the light beam as well. But yeah, all in all, pretty good changes. Very happy indeed. Now we've still got this row of stone on the inside here, which I've got a super simple plan for. So just going to remove all this, and I'm just going to take a quick trip to the bone meal farm so I can grab a load of bones from the chest here, turn a load of that into bone meal, and then I'm going to fly over to our little farming district and grab as many tall flowers as I can. And what I'm thinking is we'll just fill in all of these empty spaces here with some grass blocks, and then we can just go around and fill it all in with some tall flowers. Honestly, honestly, I just keep thinking this place can't get any better, and we just add something like this and it just transforms it again. You can probably tell I'm a little bit excited about this place. I've also crafted a load of lanterns so we can finally get rid of some of the torch spam. So how about we just remove the torch from each chest compartment and get that replaced with a lantern instead. And that looks much tidier, doesn't it? And that only really leaves this last little bit. We need to make a proper entrance / exit for this thing, and I'm thinking we're just going to do a simple bubble column up here for the ladder, and we'll probably keep our little puddle thing the way it is. First things first though, let's get all of this tidied up. And look, this is going to be the last time I just chuck random stuff into boxes, okay? We'll do it just this one more time, and then I'll tidy them all up. Let's just remove the floor and get it all replaced with spruce planks. Now I'm not thinking anything too crazy here, but since this one's going to be the water elevator, I do quite like it when there's a glass chute so you can see the bubbles going up it. So I'm just going to remove this, and let's put our super smelter to use. I'm just going to drop all of the sand in there, send them on their way. I don't think I'm ever going to get used to how good this is. Look at that, it's just flying. Alright, anyway, yoink. Alright, let's just get those in all the way there, and we may as well do the one next to it too. And there we go, we've got a matching set. And then I think for the corners here, we'll just do some barrels, get some spruce pillars in there, and then we can just add some stairs at the top for like a little mini archway. I'm just going to add a few more details, and I'll see you in a sec. Alright, so I've done a little bit of decorating, and I really like this. But of course we don't have our bubble elevator just yet, because I'm going to need some kelp for that, and I haven't collected any in this world yet, but I can see some already under the water, so let me just yoink a load of this. Now I'm just going to scoop some water out of our river here, and just go ahead and pour it straight down our chute. And if we come to the bottom here, oh, I just remembered I need soul sand. Okay, I'm pretty sure I've got some over here. Soul soil? Will that work? I think it should work. I mean, we're about to find out. So if I just place this at the bottom here, and hopefully we can plant this kelp on it. Okay, a moment of truth. Are we going to get bubbles? We are not. Okay, great. Luckily, I don't have to travel too far for some actual soul sand. So let's just go ahead and place that at the bottom instead. And bubbles. Bubbles! There we go. So if we stand in this thing now, we should be shot straight up to the top. And with that, the storage room is officially complete. Look at what we've accomplished today. This is amazing. Now, surely you didn't think I was just going to leave these 2 holes in the ground and call it a day, right? No. I'm going to make loads of more work for myself and build a giant tower on top of it. And then we'll have to also decorate the area outside of it. Alright, I've saved the best till last, and it is time for the final time lapse. In this video, I'm going to build an entire mining village fit with minecart systems, an outpost, and everything else I could possibly need to mine infinite diamonds. But where are we going to build this thing? It feels like we're starting to run out of room in this world, but we've got a nice spot behind the house here. Now, it definitely needs some work, but I think this is going to be perfect. Uh-oh, the back of my builds have been exposed. Let's just ignore that and get terraforming. And as usual, I think I've gotten a little bit carried away. But we have loads of lovely flat land ready for building. I've nestled in the area with these nice custom cliffs. And most importantly, we now have a massive outline for what is going to be the entrance to our mine. And since all of this land is now ready, I'm going to fly on over to our wool farm, where we can grab a load of wool with which we can create outlines of where all of our builds in the area are going to go. And just like that, all of our outlines are locked in. Up here by the cliffs, we're going to have our mining outpost. Just off to the side here, we are going to have our auto crafter factory, plus a crane down by the water, a mining workshop, a mining equipment facility. But before all that, I'd like to build the mine. Let's get to it. So I've just popped down to my storage room because we are going to need to pick some materials for this mine entrance. To be honest, I'm kind of thinking we just use a lot of oak wood, get some spruce wood in there, and maybe even some dark oak too. And I'm just going to head over to our current mine here because I would also like some Deepslate. So this is what the palette is looking like. Nice and simple. We've got some nice barrels transitioning into different wood types, and we'll top it off with a little bit of Deepslate. Let's build this entrance. And while I build this, please subscribe and hit the bell. Oh, I think we're onto something good here. I've got a feeling this is going to be a banger. But yeah, that is the main structure of the entrance complete. But I do also want to sort out this mound of dirt that it's currently sat on. So I'm just going to grab some stone from our storage room, turn a bunch of them into stone bricks, and let's just go ahead and remove this top layer of grass here. Then we can just go ahead and get this all filled with stone bricks instead. Alright, that's looking much better already. But let's pay a visit to our super smelter, because I think it would be pretty cool if we got some cracked stone bricks as well. Oh, look at the super smelter go. I love this thing. And while we're down here, why don't we grab some cobblestone as well? And now we can go ahead and just add in some nice variations here. I've added a new connected textures mod, which just makes everything blend in super nicely here. So I'm definitely going to take advantage of that. Oh yeah, that makes a massive difference. I'm also just going to get rid of all the dirt around the sides here, replace it all with stone, run some spruce slabs across the edge here like this, add a nice staircase in, and then let's just replace this grass border with some nice logs instead. Oh, and that is looking so much better now. I really like this wooden border. It's so simple, but it works. But we do have a lot of empty space above them right now. So let's head over to our farming island and just go ahead and grab a load of wheat seeds. Let's also grab some extra water too, so we can just go ahead and turn all of this into farmland, plant all of our wheat seeds, and I think we are good to call this complete. Look at that. Once all these have grown in, this is going to look so nice. I know you don't tend to associate mines with pretty crop fields, but I didn't really want to do a super industrial area, so you're going to have to live with it. But now that's complete, you're probably thinking, well, the next logical step is to do the mine, and I would love to, but we are going to need some good tools for that, and building this entire area kind of destroyed mine. And I'm a little bit sick of using the skeleton spawner for an XP farm. It just takes too long, so we're going to upgrade with an Enderman XP farm. But the only problem is that I forgot where the end portal is. No, seriously. So I need to head back to my storage room, and hopefully I can find some Eyes of Ender. Oh, there they are. Nice. And okay, let's go find this end portal again. Oh, and if I remember rightly, I do believe it was below this forest. I wonder if I can find the hole in the ground I dug the first time I was here. Oh, hello, what is this? Looks like we found it. Looks like there's water down there at the bottom too, so we should be safe to jump right in. Nice. Anyway, I do believe the portal is just through here. Here we are. Let's get straight in. And okay, let's build an Enderman farm. And if you're enjoying yourself so far, please like the video. And we are finally done. Look at this thing. It looks so cool from this angle. But most importantly, it does work. So if we just put our very broken diamond pickaxe in our offhand and start hitting these Endermen. Oh, that's a lot of XP orbs. Okay. I love this thing. And just a couple minutes later, everything is fully mended. Okay, let's get back home and build a mine. Now, I want to make a nice big room here at the entrance. So let's just grab a load of stone from the chest. And I think we'll start by just making a 9x9 space. Yeah, there we go. That is looking real nice, actually. And I've got to say, having a beacon has been an absolute lifesaver this episode so far. And yeah, this is pretty much exactly what I wanted. Of course, we need to throw some decorations in, but this will eventually have a minecart system going all the way down to some tunnels. But let's head back over to the storage room where we can grab a load of oak wood and a load of spruce wood. Now, I just want to try and keep things as simple as possible in here. And whenever I think of mines, I always associate it with support beams. So I'm just going to run some spruce logs along the side here like this. Then we'll go ahead and get them all stripped. Add some lovely barrels in the bottom here. Because you know me, I do love a good barrel. And let's just knock some random holes in the struts here. Get them replaced with oak logs. And then for a final bit of detail, let's just craft some spruce signs here. And what we can do is kind of just wrap them around the struts here like this. Looking good, looking good. Let's just sort the roof out now. Just going to go with a nice simple archway, something like this. And then let's just run another log across the top here like this, which we can connect all of the pillars up with. Oh, this is starting to look really cool. But I guess now is the easy part. All we've really got to do is break a bunch of holes in the walls, and we'll just get them all filled in with different stone variants. Alright, what do you guys think of this? I really like it. And I also added a little archway on the front here, so it's got a bit more shape to it. But of course, I have left this wall blank because this is going to be the staircase down to Deepslate level, which is going to take a while to dig out. Time-lapse time. And oh boy, that took a long time. Here we are though, all the way down on negative 58. And you know what? I can barely see the top. You can just about see the lanterns there. It's looking good so far though. And I did put this little staircase in the middle so we can run up and down just until we get some rails in. But I think before we do that, I just want to decorate the mine a little bit first. So I'm going to grab all of this spruce wood. And I think every so often we will just add some spruce pillars up the side here like this. And then these can act as support beams for the mine. And then we can just put another log across the top here like that. Then let's just add a few smaller details. And what do you guys think of this? I really like it. It incorporates quite a few things. We've got the spruce fence in here, we've got the signs, we've got the trapdoors, the stairs, and of course the barrels. So yeah, I think that is pretty solid, but we need to create quite a lot more of these, and I definitely do not have the wood for that. So I'm just going to grab a load of saplings and then pop down to our skeleton farm real quick, where we can grab a load of bone meal so we can just spend some time growing a load of trees and getting them all chopped down. And okay, check on the wood. So I guess now it's time to fill in this entire mine shaft with pillars. Oh, this is going to take a long time. And we are starting to make some real progress here. First of all, as you can see, I've added a little extra archway on the entrance here. And if we look all the way down here, you can see that we've got all of the different struts in. And just walking down this thing feels so cool. I love the support beams. Definitely doesn't feel like anything's going to cave in. So I'd say mission successful. But of course, walking up and down this thing is not really what I had in mind. So I'm going to sort out a rail system, which first of all is going to require a trip to our iron farm, where we can just go ahead and grab as much iron as we want. Now let's go ahead and craft a load of rails. We are also going to need some powered rails, and unfortunately I don't have any gold, which means we're going to have to fly to a mesa biome so we can dig a bunch up. Whoa, hang on a second, look at this mushroom island. Oh, I've not seen one of these in years. Oh wow, look at the size of it too. This is gigantic. If you guys have any idea what I can build here, let me know in the comments and I can come back to it. Anyway, let's get to the Badlands. Oh, and there it is. Alright, let's land this thing. Alright, let's get down nice and low in the world. And I know you're probably thinking, what's the point in doing this when we're currently building a mine back home? But the likelihood of gold spawning in Badlands is just so much higher than any other biome, so I think this is just going to save us some time. Alright, this should be low enough. Let's see what we can find. And okay, back home we have 39 gold ore and 23 Deepslate gold ore. So let's just stack these bad boys up. And let's see how much we can dig up with our Fortune 3 pickaxe. Oh, okay, that gave us almost 2.5 stacks. So let's get these bad boys chucked into the super smelter. Thank you very much. And let's go ahead and turn all of that into powered rails. Oh, I was kind of hoping for a little bit more there, but you know what? We'll work with it. Alright, let's just grab the rails that we made earlier. And we're going to want 2 separate tracks here. One going down and the other one going up. Oh, but now that I think about it, we don't actually need any powered rails for the downwards part. Gravity and momentum should basically do the job for us. So let's just run these all the way down to the bottom. And there we go. Oh, that's looking really cool. But okay, now we have to do the powered rails too. Okay, and the rails are all placed in now. We've got the normal rails down the left here, and now we've got the powered rails coming up on the right. I've also made a little semi-automatic minecart dispenser here too. So if we just click that button, that will send a minecart out. We hop in here, press the button, and that sends us down. Oh, I'm proud of this one. I just love the journey down here. This feels so immersive. And if we want to go back up, nice and simple, just hop back in the minecart, press the button, and off we go. Oh, this will never get old. But since we're up here, I'm just going to grab a bunch more wood, because we actually need to head back down to the bottom so we can complete the final part of the mine. So I'm just going to bring this wall back a few blocks, because we need to make room for our strip mine section. So let's just start by making some nice struts again, get them all stripped, then let's get them connected with some stairs and some trapdoors. Alright, looking good. And I've made this section big enough here so we can fit 2 separate strip mine tunnels in it. We'll do the same on the other side here, and I'm quite excited for this bit. What we can do is remove the top block here, place a redstone lamp down, attach a lever to it, and once we've decided that one of these tunnels has been fully dug out, all we gotta do is flip the lever here, and this will indicate that it's done. And I think that is really cool. And I do know it's not the most efficient strip mine in the world, since this is sharing the same block, but I don't really care. And then once I'm all finished with these tunnels, all I've got to do is dig through this wall here, and we can create the exact same room as many times as we want. And with that final stage put in, we can officially call our entire mine complete. Although I am pretty sick of building right now, so I'm going to go back down and strip mine for a bit. See you soon. Okay, that was actually kind of crazy. I just collected 57 Deepslate diamond ores. I also got over a stack of redstone and some nice gold as well. But I wasn't even down here that long. I only explored these 2 tunnels. But hey, I am absolutely not complaining about that. But let's just go ahead and get all these diamonds fortuned. And we can see that we are left with over 2 stacks of diamonds. That is crazy for one mining trip. So let's go ahead and get these safely stored in our storage room, because it's finally time to get started on the next bit of our mining village. And I think our next project should be the mining outpost. But we're going to need a lot of resources, starting off with some dark oak, because honestly, I just feel like we don't give this wood the love it deserves, and I think we could definitely use some more of it in our world. And just about 7 stacks should be more than enough. But while we're over here in the dark oak forest, I'm going to see if I can find a lush cave, because I also want to use bricks for this build. And to get bricks, I'm going to need clay. So I'm just looking for an azalea tree, which should lead us straight to one. Oh, hello, looks like we got one. Alright, now for the easy part, we've just got to dig straight down, and it should bring us out in a lush cave. Oh, okay, here we go. I see plenty of moss and glowberries, but no clay. Oh, okay, this is a big one. Oh, look at all this. This is perfect. I'm just going to take all of you. Thank you very much. And I've just realized that both of my shovels are silk touch, which means we have no way of breaking down the clay blocks into clay balls. So I'm just going to try my luck on the enchanting table real quick. Oh, okay, I'll take it. That was much easier than I thought it was going to be. Oh, what? I've just used up my entire episode's worth of luck there. And real quick, let's just get all of these placed down so we can get them all fortuned up. And let's get them all chucked into the super smelter. Now, all I got to do is grab some diorite, some andesite, some deep slate, and some extra decoration blocks like tuff and some light grey wool. And this might just be one of the biggest pallets we've worked with yet in this world, which seems appropriate because I do think it's going to be the biggest build of the world, unless you're counting that really tall tower. But anyway, for the foundation, I've gone with a nice... What the hell? Whoa! Whoa! But anyway, for the foundation, I've gone for a nice mix of light grey wool, andesite and cobblestone. Then we'll do a little lean-to on the side made out of brick and tuff. And then for the main body of the structure, we've got a nice dark oak and diorite combo with a spruce and cobblestone roof. I think this is going to make such a nice build. Oh, but I've got a feeling it's going to take a very long time to build. But that being said, let's get to it. After many hours later, it is all finished. And as usual, I am super happy with how this one turned out. And if we just come along to the inside here, let me give you the tour. So here on the ground floor is our entrance. We've got some nice storage units on the right here. Some nice sparkling ores on the floor as well, because, you know, it's a mining outpost. And then round the side here, we've got this nice workbench, along with some semi-automatic blast furnaces. Popped a little table here under the stairs. And if we come on up to the second floor, this is the living quarters. So if I've just done a long stint in the mines, we've got somewhere to rest our head. But if we just come around here, we have more storage. We've got these nice little crafting table pallets, which I think look really cool. And I'm not quite sure what to put here yet, so we're kind of just leaving this empty for now. Oh, but are you ready for the main attraction? If we come upstairs to the attic, we have a whole load of... nothing. Yeah, wasn't too sure what to put in this space either. I think maybe when we start to get some overflow from the mines, maybe we can just fill this in with some ores. But that will be a task for another day. But yeah, overall, really happy with this thing. But to finish it off, I think we should just add a little bit of interest on the grass area around the front. So let's just grab a bunch of coarse dirt, as well as some rooted dirt. And I'm just going to remove all of this grass around the side and get that all sprinkled in here. Looking good, looking good. Definitely more character now. But we've now got these blank spots of grass. So let's just craft a load of bone meal, and I'm just going to keep this nice and simple. I'm just going to go around and spam all of the empty patches, and what a difference that makes. I really like this. But the final step is just to sort these stairs out, and I think I want to keep it in line with what we've done to the mine entrance here. So let's just remove the sides of the staircase, and we'll just alternate spruce and oak wood. Let's get them all stacked, get them all stripped, and just finish it off with some stone brick stairs. And you know what? I would say that is a job well done. Oh, it looks so good. But with that, I think it's time to move on. And next up, I think I want to start connecting this area with pathways. I feel like it's just going to make visualizing the layout a little bit easier. Now, so far in this world, all I've done is dirt paths, but I think we should change it up a little bit for this area with it being a mining village. So let's just head back down to our storage room, because I am thinking maybe we build this thing out of stone. So let's grab a bunch of this, turn them into stone bricks, and we'll chuck these into the super smelter so we have the nice cracked variant. I'm also going to grab some andesite and And we'll take a little bit of cobblestone too. And okay, here is the palette for the pathways all laid out. I just wanted something nice and simple that gave a little bit of a rustic vibe. But of course, before we can fill all of it in, we're going to have to dig this out first. But with my trusty shovel, this shouldn't take too long. Let's do it. And okay, this is starting to look a lot better already, isn't it? And I've also raised up the stone to the workshop there, which looks a little bit strange right now, but don't worry, once we're all finished, we'll make sure the land blends into this properly. And you can see now that we do have the pathway in, it's created all of these nice sections of grass, which I think will be perfect for some crop fields. So I'm just going to grab a load of spruce wood from the storage room and just go ahead and craft a bunch of spruce variants, because I want to use these blocks to create a nice border around the pathway. Yeah, I think something like that will do. I kind of want to keep it looking a bit random. And then for an extra layer of detail, we can just come behind here and add some oak leaves like this. Oh yeah, okay, that makes a nice difference. I don't want every single block to have something on, so we'll leave little gaps in the middle here like this. But yeah, essentially we could just go around the border of the stone here and create a nice spruce frame. And things are starting to come together now. Look at this. I really like it. It just kind of adds so much more structure to the area, doesn't it? I also went around some of the corners here and just added a load of coarse dirt and rooted dirt too. I feel like it just gives a nicer separation between the stone and the grass. But speaking of the grass, I'm just going to go around and punch some holes in the fields here like this, so we can then just go ahead and fill it all in with some water and then get this all turned into farmland. Okay, looking good. Now let's just fly over to our farming island, because I want to grab a bunch of different crops like wheat, as well as some carrots and a load of potatoes as well. And I think we'll fill this field up with the carrots first. And you know what? I can tell that this is just going to transform the area so much when we've got all of these crop fields planted, because this looks so good already. But of course, that is only one patch of grass out of all of this around here. So I think I'm going to have to head back over to the island, grab a load of more seeds, and let's get this whole area planted. Oh, I think this is starting to look good, you know. We've got some nice wheat fields planted down by the mining outpost. And then we've just got a mix of potatoes and carrots dotted around. And I did go with a small peony field outside the mining entrance. I think the colour just breaks it up nicely. And then up at the top here, I've just planted some more potatoes. But of course, we're going to have to wait for all of this to grow in to actually look good. But we're off to a pretty good start. But I did leave this big patch of grass down here. And that's because I think I would like to make a nice pond. But we're not going to tackle that straight away, because I have a bigger problem. While I was doing all of my gardening, I was trying to think of what blocks we can use for the auto crafter factory. And one of the blocks that I want to use is the loom block. But I don't think I've even ever crafted one before. And the problem I have is that you need 2 bits of string to craft 1 loom. And I don't have any string. So I think it's spider hunting time. Which kind of brings me on to my next problem. I don't know where any large caves are located. It's been that long since we've gone caving. So I'm just going to fly around and hopefully we find a large cave entrance. Oh, I can't believe we're almost 1,000 days into the world doing this. Oh, hello though. Target acquired. Okay, this looks like it could be good. Oh, spiders. Let's get down here. Whoa, there's a lot of mobs. Bruh. Whoa, where do they come from? I'm just here for the spiders. Thank you. Ah! Oh dear, this is all going wrong. The skeleton's here too. Get away. Oh, more spiders. I'll take it. This isn't what I signed up for. I think we're okay though. Whew. Okay, that got a little bit hairy. Oh, but look, we've got 4 string already. Now, unfortunately, 4 bits won't get us too far. We're going to need at least a couple of stacks. So I guess it's time for an adventure montage. Ow. Bruh, look at the size of this cave. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this before. Oh! Oh, let's just get this over with. Oh, an abandoned mine shaft. That is going to be perfect. Oh yes, I can already see all the cobwebs up there. Let's get straight up here and hopefully we can find a spider spawner too. Oh, what is that over there? I think we found one. Oh, nice. This is so much string. And okay, we already have over 2 stacks of string now. And we found a spider spawner. This is perfect. I'm just going to chill here for a bit and kill some more spiders and then we'll head back home. Okay, and back at the base, we have almost 3 stacks of string. I did get bored quickly and call it early, but that does mean we can now craft a load of looms. Okay, never mind. How do you make these things? Oh, it's like that. Okay, that's even easier. Looks like we've got almost a stack and a half. That should definitely do. Let's just pop over to our build site and chuck them all in a box for now, because we do need to grab the rest of the materials for this build. And as usual, I'm just going to go with some nice stone variants, and I think I'll stick with some dark oak wood as well. I'm kind of enjoying that at the minute. And okay, I've just went ahead and laid the palette out for our next build, and I'll be honest, I may have gotten a little bit carried away here. This is quite a lot of blocks, but I feel like they all work super nicely together. I'm going to go for polished andesite base, and then for the first floor we'll mix in some nice mossy cobblestone, and for the second floor we've got a nice combination of woods as well as some brick, tuff and sandstone for the walls and roofs. But I am going to have to grab a few of those blocks since we are a little bit short right now, and the one I am shortest on is definitely sandstone, so I'm just going to mine up a load of this. I'm also going to grab a nice handful of oak logs, and lastly I'm just going to hop down into this lush cave that we found earlier. Oh god, that was close. But yeah, anyway, I would just like to grab a load of this moss. Alright, building blocks ready, let's build this factory. And if you're still watching at this point, prove it and comment the word diamonds. Oh, and just take a look at this thing. I love it. That has filled the area out so nicely. I love how all of those different blocks work together, and it's nice to see our looms in action as well. I'd say they were definitely worth the hassle. Oh, and I did also add a chimney on the back there too. I thought that would be a nice addition. We just used some pale oak trapdoors for the top of it. But yeah, I'm also loving the mossy variants as well. And overall, super cool building. But let me show you inside. So if we come straight through here, we have the entrance passageway. It's been left quite minimalistic. We've just got some nice tables out, a few shelves on the wall, and a ladder which goes up to the top floor, which I'll show you in a second. Because if we come through here, this is where we have the main crafter. And I'll be honest, I kind of had no idea how these things worked. I thought I would just be able to craft absolutely anything and have it spit it out with no need for a bunch of redstone. But that's not how it works. So for now, this is constrained to 3x3 crafting recipes. And what I mean by that is if we put all of our iron ingots into the top hopper here like this, the crafter will then organize all of those into blocks and spit them out at the bottom here like that, which is really cool because we can also have this work for things like dripstone blocks as well. But yeah, I need to do my homework a little bit more on these crafters, and hopefully we can have a few more of these with a bit more of a versatile use. But it's a good start. But as you can see, we've just got extra storage and decoration around the workshop area, and if we just mosey on up to the top floor here as well, this will bring us out to an attic space, which, just like the mining outpost, is empty for now. But as soon as the building starts getting more use, I'm sure that will soon fill up. I do have all this empty land out the front here though, so I'm just going to tidy everything up and get rid of all of these blocks that we've left out. And I'm just going to grab some water and get this all placed at the front of the build here, because I think we should just turn this area into farmland. That way it's going to match the rest of the village, and I think we'll just use wheat seeds for this one. Kinda gone a bit crazy on the potatoes and the carrots so far, and I'm just going around the corners here creating a nice oak leaf border, something to kind of contain the crops in. And last but not least, let's just get rid of these dirt blocks here and get them replaced with a proper staircase. And I'm going to call that complete. This is going to look super nice once all the wheat crops have grown in and they're just peeking over the top of the leaves here. Yeah, super happy with that. Now our mining village is coming along super nicely right now, and I am very happy with the progress. But to be honest, I've been spending so much time here that I think I need a short break. And there is one really big issue in this world that I think we should take care of as a little side quest. As it currently stands, I have no way of collecting firework rockets for our Elytra. So very often I have to spend the entire night hunting creepers for their gunpowder. And not only does this take a long time, it's also very dangerous. And hardcore is all about trying to stay out of trouble. So I'm just going to grab a load of materials and we are going to create a mob spawner. Okay, materials acquired. So let's see if we can find a nice place to build this thing. Now the good news about a mob spawner is that it is very easy to build. But the bad news about a mob spawner is that it is super ugly. So we're just going to fly far away enough from our base so that it doesn't become an eyesore. Okay, we've got a nice ocean here which is far away enough from our island, and it is recommended that you build these things above the ocean. That way you don't have mobs spawning on the ground interfering with spawn rates, because of course they are built all the way up in the sky. So first things first, let's get pillared up, and we are so high that I can barely even see the ground below us. But that is just what we wanted. So let's just create our kill chamber here like this, get some hoppers plugged into the back of the chest here as well. Now we've just got to make our giant chute going all the way up, then we can add a space for the mobs to spawn on, add some trapdoors, those, add some water to the trenches, get some walls on the side, and finally all we've got to do is put a roof on this bad boy. Oh, and look at it, it's so majestic in the air. It's almost day 1000 and we have only just built our very first mob farm. That is quite sad actually. Oh, but look, it's working. And already we have gunpowder. Yes. Alright, I'm gonna stay here for half an hour and let's see what we get. And already we have almost 2 stacks of gunpowder. I've got to be honest, that's pretty crazy for this little thing. Side quest successful. Let's get back home. But getting back to our mining village, we still have quite a few things to sort out. Oh, this episode's taken so long. But I think I would like to give this area some love. And I'm not sure what happened to the sign that we had down here, but I did say this was going to be the area for the crane. And this should definitely be one of the easier builds of the village. So let's grab some spruce logs as well as some oak and let's see what we can do. I'm just going to start off with a nice stone foundation. And of course, you know, we've got to get some barrels in there. And let's just pillar up with some stripped dark oak. Okay, that's looking like a decent height. And I do want the crane facing towards the water. So let's just build out with some dark oak slabs here. And I'm just going to lay a bunch of temporary blocks on the back here like this, because I want to run dark oak slabs back along it in a diagonal. Oh, okay, yeah, that's looking good. But of course, this is a crane and we're going to need a counterweight on the back here. So let's make a load of granite stairs. And I know this looks a little bit weird right now, but trust the process. Just going to add some granite to the wood here, and then we'll just get it rounded off with the stairs. Oh, there we go. That's actually looking quite decent, isn't it? I just feel like it's way too top heavy. We need something to balance it out at the bottom here. And I think we'll just go with the classic combo of spruce stairs and spruce trapdoors. Oh, okay, yeah, that's a big improvement. Still not quite there yet though. Let's maybe just wrap this thing in spruce slabs. Oh yes, that's making a big difference. And hold on, I've got an idea. Let's just finish the top off with a cobblestone wall and a spruce fence. Okay, yeah, I like that, I like that. But now we need to get the part of the crane and that actually holds the stuff. I've just realized I know nothing about cranes. What do you call that bit? If you don't know what I'm talking about, you will shortly. I'm just going to make a quick stop to my iron farm, craft some chains, which we can just use to run along the bottom of the crane here like this. Oh, look at that, that's so cool. Now let's just go ahead and get some spruce planks placed down here like this. We'll make a nice 3x3 pallet, and I'm thinking we just grab some ores from the storage room here. Then we can just get them all piled up. I did get some amethyst clusters too, and then to finish up, I'm just going to put some signs around the side here, and this should give us a really cool effect of like some cargo being delivered to the island. And you know what? I think that may actually be complete. Brings a nice bit of character to the area, doesn't it? Alright, crane complete. It's time to move on. And just looking around our mining village, it is coming together so nicely. And we only have a few things left to build. We have the mining workshop, which is going to go over there, the pond, which is going to go over here, and the mining equipment facility, which is going to go on the top over there. But I think I actually want to save that one till last. So how about we come over here and build the workshop instead? And this one is quite a small one, so it should be nice and relaxing. And okay, I've got a nice bunch of blocks together, kind of just going with the typical stone variants for the base. I want to get some dark oak and diorite on the second floor, and for the roof I think we're just going to go with some deepslate, and we'll go for classic granite and brick chimney. Sounds good to me. Let's get it done. And just like that, we have added yet another building to our mining village. And like I said, this one was always going to be small and cute. But that being said, I think it really works. And as usual, let me give you the tour. So if we just come on inside here, we have a nice bit of utility on the first floor. We got some smithing tables, we got a grindstone, a little bit of storage, and we have a repair station here. And the cool thing about this is once an anvil breaks, it just drops another one down straight onto it. And if we come upstairs, that does extend all the way up to the ceiling. So we can just restock them here. But anyway, at the top we just have some make-do workstations. We've got some more storage in the ceiling, a little sleeping quarter in the corner here, and a good old ender chest. And I've got to say the view out of this one is amazing. We can see our storage tower, our farming village, our home island, and our trading village all the way over there. And I think this is the perfect time to name our Elytra, because last episode I asked everybody to leave their suggestions in the comments, and my favourite was Thunderbird. But anyway, let's get back to business, because it's time to move on to the next build. And we only have 2 more things left in the village to build. We have this area here, which I'm going to turn into a nice natural pond, and we have the equipment facility at the top here. But I think I am fancying the pond. This big empty patch of grass has been bothering me for a little bit, so I think it'd be nice to get it all filled in. This should be nice and straightforward too. I'm just going to dig out a nice shape where we can place all of the water. And there we go. I think something like that will do. I know it looks like it's been hit by an asteroid, but we'll make sure it looks good. And the first thing I'm going to need to do that is some some sand. So let's just fly to this beach, grab a load of this, which we can then use to just fill in the bottom layer of the pond, which will give us a bit of a better looking floor. And I'm also going to make a quick journey to the mangrove swamp, which is kind of looking a little bit decimated these days, because I want to take a load of this mud so I can just sprinkle a little bit in around the corners here, which I think is just going to feel a bit more realistic once we've got the water in. Looking good so far. Now we've just got to fill some buckets up and get to work on filling the pond up with water. Oh, and look how cool that's looking already. I know we've already built a pond in this world, but I just like ponds. Probably build more. Now for the cool part though, we're just going to take some bone meal here and spawn in a load of seagrass on the sand. Oh, that already looks so much better. And with a few extra details like bamboo, sugarcane, and general foliage, I would say our pond is all complete. And what an absolute vibe. Which means it's finally time to move on to our final build of the mining area, the equipment facility. This is another fairly small one, shouldn't take too long. And to be honest, I'm kind of just feeling that we use the same palette as this house here, but we'll maybe add some spruce wood in as well. I just feel like this has already got all of my favorite blocks in, and it definitely suits the area. So yeah, I say we just go for it, and let's just get this thing built. And we officially have our final building of the mining village. And you know me by now, I tend to love all of the things that we put into this world. So of course I think this one's really cool. I went with kind of like an open plan here, so we don't really have too many walls on the ground floor. And I wanted to make that intentional so that you could just approach it from any side of the village and just walk on in. But anyway, speaking of the inside, because this is the mining equipment facility, basically just set the interior as a bunch of barrels with gear that we might use in the mines. So we've got some diamond pickaxes in here, a load of torches in there. We got some mine carts, some rails, and some powered rails too. Although I'm very low on gold right now, so I couldn't actually craft any new ones. And then if we just hop upstairs, we've got some nice balcony areas on both sides, some furnaces, a little bit of storage, and we've got a book and quill over here that we can use to note down anything significant that we find in the mines. And then of course on the ground floor here, we've just got this walkway into the village. And yeah, like I said, that is the final build of the village done. But we're not finished just yet. I have some really cool plans for all of these hills here that encompass the mining village, and it's going to be so cool. But just before we get onto that, I've got loads of these empty patches in the village, which I feel like are kind of an eyesore right now. It just brings the vibe down. So I'm going to collect a bunch of flowers, as well as things like these petals as well. I'm also going to grab a load of ferns as well, because I feel like we don't give these enough love. And then let's just start filling up these patches. We'll get some bone meal on here first. We should probably smooth this rubbish out of the way as well. Then we can just sprinkle some petals in, get a few of these ferns dotted around. Oh, and just look how good this is looking now. I've basically filled in every single patch of grass with some type of flower or fern. We've got patches of tall flowers over here. It all just looks so colourful and pops so nicely. And this is exactly what I wanted. I didn't want a dry, desolate kind of mining area that you usually associate these things with. I wanted something vibrant and fun to actually visit. And all in all, I am in love with this area. I think we've absolutely smashed it. It fits into the rest of our world so nicely, which brings me on to the final bit of the video. I want to plant a dense forest all the way above these hills and around the sides. That way the whole village is going to feel super enclosed and cozy. Alright, we've got our plan, let's get to it. And if you'd like to name our new village, comment your suggestion and I'll pick the best one in the next episode. And just a quick exclusive movie update. I also added several bridges and crop fields after the episode, and I think it makes the perfect final touch.